ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
AFL. What a stage. This game is coming to life.
The 2023 AFL Premiership season.
The roar will tell you the story. Fans are on their feet.
This game is electric.
Holds his arms out wide and tells them to get excited. Oh, the home fans like that. What a game. It's got everything. On the run. It's happening again. It's a whole new game.
Cause here it comes, here it comes.
One bounce at 60, one bounce at 40, one bounce at 20, and he goes.
He plays on from 52 out. The package bangs it through.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
On the left boot, he's welcome to the big time moment.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
Turn steady, go.
Something big is
The
coming.
2023 AFL Premiership season.
Durham to win it. Goal.
Fill your lungs, are you ready for it?
Gets onto it, and away it goes.
Tapped it twice with his left hand, gathered in the right forward pocket. That is brilliant.
Here they come.
That's class. Oh, he's a star. What a game. Brilliant.
He goes.
This kid is going places.
Hand pass to Sarong. Sarong pulls the trigger. Boom. Rioli with some magic. The check side finish. He seizes the moment. Curls it around. What about that?
Hand pass to Elliott, back to Hill. Superb finish.
55 out. He's given this plenty. That's a magnificent strike of the football.
He dribbles it along the ground for an incredible goal.
Grimes goes long. High altitude fly from Showbolt. Snap from 35 and boy does he love it.
Good by Humphrey. Here's Humphrey to put the Suns 8 points clear.
To take the lead. It never looked like missing.
Grandstand AFL
On ABC Radio
Sport Digital.
and now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
Melbourne will be aiming to make it 3 wins on the trot and remain 2 games clear of 5th when they host Adelaide from the MCG, with the Crows fighting for a spot in the finals equation. Adelaide have been in the top 8 for 8 of 11 weeks in 2023, but have fallen out after 2 losses to Essendon and the Giants in recent weeks, dropping from 9th to 12th. And without one of their best midfielders, Rory Laird, and injuries and suspension with Josh Rochelle now to miss for the Adelaide Crows, they need to try and get on a roll, having lost their last 7 matches at the MCG if they're looking to rocket back inside the top 8. While Melbourne's top 4 hopes were given a big boost over a thrilling 1-point win over the Brisbane Lions last week. A win today would have them just 1 win behind the Brisbane Lions in 3rd position. It's round 19 of the AFL. Melbourne taking on Adelaide on Grandstand AFL. A big welcome wherever you join us. It is a cool day in Melbourne today, around 13 degrees, and we had some rain this morning, but the good news is a little bit of sun is poking through behind the Shane Warne stand, so hopeful that it'll be relatively clear this afternoon. There is some late changes for the Adelaide Crows, with the team sheets just coming through. Nick Henry is out, and Patrick Parnell as well. They've been replaced by Luke Nankervis and Lockie Murphy in the selected sides, with Joel Smith and Jackson Haitley the subs this afternoon. Matt Clincher called the action alongside Corbin Middlemass this afternoon. Welcome to you, Corby.
Thanks, Clinchy. Nice to be here. As you sort of set up beautifully off the top, it felt like it wasn't that long ago we were watching the Crows play Collingwood here, and they had so much goodwill from the footy world for what they were able to achieve that day, and probably just handed back some of their tickets, I reckon, in the last couple of weeks. They've won only once since against North Melbourne, and a couple of disappointing showings last time out in Melbourne against the Bombers, and then GWS last week having led that game for large periods. So I'm looking at them today with a handful of changes. I'm keen to see what we get from them up against a Melbourne team who had their big one last week against a fellow top 4 team in Brisbane, whether they can just get them in a little come-down spot this afternoon and try and keep their season alive.
Our number 1 draft picks are here and ready to go. Former Carlton captain, one of the Blue Believers, Mark Murphy, welcome to you. Great to see you on a Sunday afternoon, Murph.
Good to see you, Clinchy, Corbin. It's good to be here. Looking forward to this game. I actually walked in today thinking that Adelaide, if they get a win today, are right back amongst it, but just a few of their outs have just caught me by surprise a little bit. And Roy Laird's the biggest one, to be out. He's an absolute star of the competition, certainly their best player through their midfield. So he's a big out. But Melbourne, they were terrific last week when they looked like they were done against Brisbane. But they just found a way, and Melksham obviously kicking that last goal within a minute to go of the game was pretty special. So hopefully for their sake and the Melbourne supporters coming out today, they can continue that ball rolling.
And alongside Murph, dual All-Australian, dual best and fairest winner with the Giants and the Tigers. Brett Delidio, welcome to you.
Thank you, Clinchy. Good to be back. Twice in the one weekend. I was here yesterday watching the Tigs get over the line late yesterday. I was a bit nervous at three-quarter time, but geez, they rallied. Must have seen my sprint against the Colonel.
Now, I missed all of this. I am very disappointed in myself that apparently, as we watch sometimes at three-quarter time, there's a sprint against the electronic
and I got roped into
outboard, the signage around the ground, and you featured at three-quarter time.
I did, yeah. And I thought, you know what, there was 12 seconds to the 80 for the 80-metre sprint. I thought, you know what, I'll walk that in. That'll be easy. And as it said go, I've looked up and the Colonel's already got 15 on me. He has got to turn a foot.
Are you hearing the excuses already?
I am.
Yeah.
We walked in today and I asked him, how'd you go? And he goes, oh, well, he had a 15-metre head start.
Got the long story or the short one? What the short one is, I've got the chockies anyway and the KFC voucher and away we went. And my little daughter was absolutely stoked with that, and my little nephews who got to come out in the ground, which is awesome. So, twice in 2 days, but looking forward to seeing the D's hopefully get a win and really solidify themselves today.
Just
Did you
beautifully
Did you
built it up.
handball the vouchers to the nephew, or you kept that one for yourself, Liz?
The kids all got a couple each, and I shifted a few off to the people in the crowd as well. So
He doesn't want a freebie for more reports too, Corbin. So you must be feeling all right.
You started early. I tell you what, it's 2:37 and you're already into me about, I'm going to go do some research.
So missed the start, but still won. That's the impressive part. And, and
smoked it.
No injuries?
Nothing, mate. A little bit domsy this morning. But, we're probably
Get a rub down later.
Yeah, I need a rub down, but
You're not going to the Tigers for a bit of that free physio that Nick Rewalt was accused of getting?
Mate, the only thing I got yesterday was a couple of slap-ups with a few boys and a couple of cuddles. That was it. But no, certainly no free physio for me. I'll leave that, even though Anthony Shack's one of the great men at that footy club.
Wasn't that juicy?
I was going to say, it hasn't been a bad week for Barbs, has it?
Yeah.
Braden Maynard and then the Ken Hinker response, the Nick Rewalt comments around St Kilda and the stage in which their list was and the standards in which they're setting, and a nice little response from Brett Ratton as North Melbourne set themselves to take on his former club, Brett Ratton,
Bit of spice
this afternoon.
Bit of spice from what I've heard from a couple of boys that I'm not sure Rats is overly keen on his exit there, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Clarko's going to return in a few weeks' time, but just not quite in time for this match. So Brett Ratton, being the great team guy he is, once more front up for the Kangaroos. How do you sort of see Melbourne? They were able to do the job against Brisbane last week. You touch on Jake Melksham kicking the winner, and Max Gorn was able to carry the responsibility without Brodie Grundy. So the question's now, Simon Goodwin was keen to sort of provide a bit more clarity that they don't see Brodie Grundy being a forward, but he needs to provide more of a presence forward of the ball. But then he kicked 1-3 in the VFL yesterday. We're playing predominantly as a key forward. So the question is going to be, how can they try and maximise what they hoped would be a point of difference?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Will he come back?
I don't see it, to be completely honest with you.
Doesn't come back.
I don't think he does, unless Ben Brown cannot fire at all up front, and you just need a key post up there. But I think that they are so much better with Max as just the one-out ruckman. And the way he performed last week. Now, that's to be determined whether he does that again today, but his form and history would suggest that Max is pretty good when he's one out. So I honestly struggle to see Brodie come back.
Yeah, it was tough for him last week, wasn't it, for Brodie Grundy? When you get omitted, you have to play forward, and then you see Max Gorn. Obviously, your fellow
But you're in a 15v15 game as well, down the Mickey Mouse game.
It's almost back to those COVID years where you don't play seniors and you're playing 9v9 or 12v12. It's hard to put your best foot forward. So it's a tough spot for Brodie Grundy to be in at the moment. It's equally interesting just that Melbourne haven't quite worked out their best forward dynamic yet either. And we're so far into the season. So they're still trying to work out what best works for them. Ideally, obviously they want Brodie Grundy to get some form playing forward. It's a hard one sometimes in the VFL because some players just aren't suited to playing that lower level of football either.
Feels like this is a 2-year thing for Melbourne. I mean, really, they had...
They've had a good solid forward set up for the last couple of years.
They had a 6 or 7 week period in 2021 where they sort of caught lightning in a bottle and they made it work with Brown and Fritsch and McDonald. They could never rekindle that last year, and they never fixed it. And on semi-final night, same thing happened. Mid-forward connection was an issue. The whole thing broke down. And then this year, the same thing's happened. that they haven't been able to address that.
Do you reckon that's what they need to target come the end of the year? And then there's a lot of speculation about Brodie being moved on, and does he want to be second banana playing as a forward? Well, maybe. I think there's a few teams out there that'll be looking for a big ruck to try and fill that void. And when you've got a dual All-Australian, couple of best and fairest sitting there in the twos, it's pretty enticing, is it not?
How's the irony yesterday too? So he kicks one goal in the VFL. Do you know how he kicked it?
Banana.
Forward 50 stoppage, grabbed it out of the ruck, snapped it through. So in the ruck role, the one part that they don't have the issue with him in, they're trying to turn him into a forward, is the score source for his only goal.
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it? But if he plays the remainder of this season in the VFL and doesn't go look in, surely he just asks to be moved on, doesn't he?
Well, I think I said this last week when we were talking about it, Corb, is that I think we need to be more open to that sort of stuff. If it's not working, don't just dwindle away for the rest of your career hoping that something might turn around. Make it happen. And as a society with the footy community, let's just be more accepting of that. It happens in the NBA all the time, NFL, the NRL even.
Yeah, they sign long-term deals and then for whatever reason doesn't work out and they move to another club.
So you joked about Lids before and his money and his freebies and everything else. Obviously, Brodie Grundy is owed the money that he's been offered in his contract. Does part of it come back to Brodie at a certain point where he goes, you know what, I'm going to take a haircut, but I'm happy to go and play somewhere else, even if you sign for the same years but for less money, so you're actually playing footy rather than rotting away in the reserves? Because the interesting point, and of course it's all going to come down to money, is apparently, if you believe the reports out there, there is a clause that it won't be a third club playing for his contract. Basically, Collingwood are off the hook if Melbourne move him.
Right.
So if Melbourne move him, they have to either pick up the remainder of his contract and work with the third club to pay him between the two teams.
So you can't get paid by three clubs.
So they can't take the portion from Collingwood, the portion from themselves, and then the third club comes in and says, look, we'll have him for $400,000 and he's already getting paid another large sum from two other teams. So I think that makes it a little more difficult for Melbourne, that they need to find
a suitor
that's got money, or they have to sacrifice a large portion of it out of their own salary cap.
How much money do they need to cover, really? Do we know? Is it all just speculation?
And you don't know how it's skewed, so I don't know whether it's back-ended or front-headed, but
I'll tell you, one person who's not taking a haircut from it is his manager. He's not saying, yeah, let's take a haircut. No way. He's like, because he's negotiated both those deals where he's trying to get him a...
Would you take a haircut being a manager if you were in this
I took
spot?
a haircut to go to the Giants. Then my manager wasn't overly impressed by it.
But there you go. That's a decision you made because that was the best thing for your footy at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's one. I imagine that'll at least come up in conversation with Brodie at some stage with his group, whether that's how they get a third club.
Yeah, given that you can't actually be paid by three clubs, which I thought was just the logical way. But anyway, is what it is.
Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy, Matt Clinch, Corbin Middlemouse and Ian Cohen to join you down on the boundary. We'll hear from Troy Chaplin from the Demons in the lead up to this afternoon's clash, round 19 of the AFL. Melbourne taking on Adelaide. Tim Silvers is the CEO of the Adelaide Crows in his third season at the Crows. He's been good enough to come and join us in our commentary position. Welcome, Tim. Great to see you.
Thanks, Clinchy. It's great to be here at the home of footy.
You wrote to the members during the week around the fight for finals and needing a spark. So I don't know if you need to be reminded of this, but your away record hasn't been that great in recent seasons. So what's the key in terms of trying to get a response this afternoon after a couple of disappointing results?
Yeah, there's no doubt we had a couple of disappointing games. We feel like we've been building all year, but our last 2 weeks we just haven't been able to string it together. So we're a young and experienced team, but we're wanting to take that next step, and part of that is developing sort of systems and a game style that wins away from home. So that's been a real strong focus of us. We've tried to change a few things up when we're away, but the reality is I just think we just need to play more games and just be more confident of our style away from home. So today's a big challenge. We've got to bring it against a really good team, but let's hope we can.
4 wins from your last 11 matches, changing the high performance manager at the start of the season. Are you fearful the side might have flatlined? They might have started to get a bit tired in the back end of the season?
Oh, no, not in any way around our high performance. Our fitness levels, they're terrific. We've got Darren Burgess, who's one of the best in show. So we're confident with that. But like I said before, there's just been a little bit of an experience and sort of flat patches during games that have really hurt us. Our consistency has been pretty good at Adelaide Oval, and we've been able to challenge the best, but it just hasn't been for long enough.
So 8 wins last season under Matty Nicks. Obviously, they're pretty passionate in South Australia, whether you barrack for the Crows or barrack for Port Adelaide. They want success and they want it as soon as possible. So what was sort of the expectations at the start of the season with the inclusions of the likes of Max Michelini, who's been a great pickup, Isaac Rankin coming across, Jordan Dawson in his first season as captain of the club? Where did you kind of hope Adelaide would be this season?
We didn't put a marker on it, but we're into the 4th year of a rebuild. Our focus was, and it's a bit like what I was saying before, was to be more consistent. We need to challenge the best, and we need to be in games, and we need to be challenging for finals. And I suppose just get a little bit of respect back from the competition. So a lot of those objectives we feel like we've achieved, but there's 6 games to go, and we've got a sniff of finals. We've been in the 8 for a lot of the year. Our fans and our members and our players and staff, we're desperate for it. So it is a big game for us today to sort of arrest our last couple of weeks.
It just sort of feels like such a long time ago. We saw that Adelaide side against the Blues, the start of gather round, the dominant first quarter, the contested and clearance style of game, which sort of had the whole AFL community, the whole industry on sort of note that this was the brand of footy in which Adelaide were wanting to play. And since then, it sort of hasn't been as consistent. Do you have a gut feel from the coaches as to why they're telling you haven't been able to find that week in, week out?
It was a big game for us. We hadn't played a marquee time slot for nearly 2 years. So for us to come and play that style of game, finals footy against Carlton to launch gather round was terrific. So we took a lot of positives out of that. But in terms of working with the coaches, we know that we just haven't lived to our structures and our contest method for long enough in games. And there is a little bit, and we don't want to use it as an excuse, but some of our players have got a little bit sore over the last couple of weeks, so we're going to rest a few over the next few, and just hopefully they can get up and provide a spark for the last 6 games of the year.
Tim Silver's the Chief Executive of the Adelaide Football Club with us on Grandstand AFL ahead of the Crows and the D's. The mob across town, Tim, I grew up in Western Australia and covered footy there for a period of time. I know what it's like in a 2-team town. Are you being upstaged by little brother at the moment, given how the Power are going?
Well, they won 13 in a row. It was pretty amazing. And old mate Tretters came out and said that they were that Ken was under all sorts of pressure, and there was like the Kennett curse over there. Tretters, they won 13 in a row. So they've been terrific. There is a massive rivalry in this town. We think that we're playing an attractive brand of footy, but look, they've been terrific. And watching the game last night, it was a terrific game, a good contest, but it was a little bit of deja vu with us. That's how Collingwood beat us. We were 22 points up at 3/4 time, and they came and got us, and they did that to a pretty good Port side last night.
Does it hurt you though, as this big proud club, multiple premierships? It's always mainly been an Adelaide Crows town, that you could be a 6th year without finals footy and they're fighting for top 2.
Oh, look, it hurts us to some extent, but we've also got to worry about us. Like, we committed to a rebuild. We've got to stick fat. Like I said, we're 4 years in. We think we're going to challenge for finals. We've got a brand that's going to play finals. We think we've got some good young talent. They're emerging. They're improving. And we've had some veterans that have really, really stepped up this year. With Sloan and Walker continue to play well, but even Jordan Dawson in his first year as skipper, he's been a terrific leader for us.
One of those young guys you've got is Jake Saligo. So I think the eyebrows sort of went up from a lot of people in the footy world, where he's, a 2nd or 3rd round pick, signs a long-term deal, and then was omitted last week with 6.5 years to run on his contract. I guess for people that are outside Adelaide and don't watch the Crows closely each week, why does a player like Jake Saligo need a 6.5-year extension?
Good question. We signed up both Josh Rochelle and Jake together. They're Victorian kids. We think they're going to be the base of our future. Like, Jake is such a good player. He's going to be a great player. He's going to be hopefully a leader of our footy club. So we thought that we'd approach those guys and get them on long-term deals, because we need to formulate a base and make sure they stick with our club for the long term. So Jake's had a not a bad year. He was a bit sore. He was managed last week, so he didn't play any footy at all. And he's going to have a stint in the sample and get his confidence up. But he is going to be a great long-term player for us.
Completely separate to Rochelle. He's not just a stable pony to try and keep Josh in town? No, they do live together and they're great mates. But strangely enough, I don't know if you guys have got the news, but we've got a debutant coming in who's Luke Nankervis for today, and he's the 3rd wheel. He lives in the same house and he's debuting.
and both his other mates who get all the plaudits, that they're not playing today. So it's strange how these things happen, but we think all three are going to be part of our future.
Speaking of contracts, your senior coach, Matthew Nix, he's off contract at the end of 2024. He's coached 4 seasons now. There hasn't been a trip to the finals in that time, but has obviously been the guy to go through the rebuild. Are you looking to try and recontract him in the near future?
What I can say about Nixie is that he is a terrific coach. He's building a wonderful culture. He's got a great set of assistant coaches around him. We're really happy with how he's going. We think he's going to be a long-term coach for the footy club. We haven't actually picked up what we're going to do with the contract status until the end of the season, but I'm sure we're going to sit down in the off-season with the board and discuss a potential extension there.
We've seen the narrative that's run concurrently with Port Adelaide given Ken Hinkley off contract in his final year. I know clubs are often reluctant to put their senior coach out there in the last year of a deal. Are you open to that, about the possibility of Nick's coaching in his last year without any guarantee beyond that?
Look, I don't want to speak on behalf of the club and the board yet, but it is something that we'll probably pick up in October and November and have a real close look at.
And regardless of whether you play finals or not, are you able to sell to your members, hey, this is our guy long term, even if it doesn't amount in a finals appearance in 2023?
I think it is a tough, very parochial in South Australia, but I also think that we've got some buy-in, that they understand where we're going and where we're heading. He's got a lot of respect from the competition, I think, now, Matthew. So I don't think it's going to be a sell for our coach. It's just going to be based internally. We've got to look, is he the right man to take us to the future? And we think he is.
Adelaide Crows CEO Tim Silvers has come and joined us in our commentary box here at the MCG. The gathering of the AFL CEOs during the week, led by the CEO-elect Andrew Dillon, who takes charge next season. What wacky ideas did you bring to the table? Did you have anything left of centre? Because it sounds like all good suggestions were put on the table.
Yeah, it was definitely a meeting of the minds. There was a few egos in the room, but it was good. Look, what we found was that you're not always together, and to have 2 days together with an agenda about the big issues that are hitting clubs as well as the industry was important to put your views to the forefront. The big talking points from mine were the soft cap. We want to keep the best staff and coaches at our footy club, and every other area of the footy world has increased. The player payments have gone up, as well as the administration, the AFL exec. Everyone's been able to rebound, but our soft cap hasn't. So that was a focus point. And I'm really attracted to some of the opportunities around the finals, wild card, and the fixture reset. I think is something that's worth really exploring. And there was discussion of a 3-game grand final, which was a little bit left of centre, but. That was interesting. I think a lot of interstate clubs were curious on how that might look.
Are you a proponent of that?
I'm a big NBA and a US sports fan, and I see how much excitement a series could bring. So, I'd support it, but you need to think it through, contracts and how it will work. And I just said we're at the home of footy. I think it's contracted for the next 40 years, so that might be a challenge. But, I think if we sit still as an industry, we'll get caught up. We're the greatest game, I reckon, in the world, but we've got to continue to evolve and innovate. So let's explore that.
Are you open to the idea of a wildcard system? What's the wrestle between the best entertainment value, economy, sort of bringing in the most money to the game versus making the product the strongest it can possibly be?
Yeah, it's a good question. I know traditionalists are probably going to be against the idea, but we do that finals bye week. I think it's just such a dead week, and there is an opportunity to play a couple of games and continue to bring new things to our fans. So look, I take on board that there's going to be some opposition to it, but I think it's worth of some great thought.
Your AFLW side has been so successful, the most successful side in recent years, 3 premierships across 7 seasons of the AFLW. You've got the longest serving captain. There's probably a bit of pushback that they're frustrated that they couldn't get more than 10 rounds. What was sort of the view of the Adelaide camp as to how you can try and continue to grow the women's game with such high participation numbers?
Yeah, so our camp wasn't that happy. They were a strong push for an extended season. But I also understand the AFL's viewpoint. We've grown so much in 7 years. It's been terrific. Participation is through the roof. So the women's game has grown and grown and grown, which has been great. But there were 8 teams. Now there's 18. There's so much more depth of playing lists, so that there's some challenges for us because our attendances have been down from year 1 to season 7, as well as the TV rating. So my view is that we need to consolidate, but I also want to work with the players that I understand they want to play longer and for longer seasons. So I think there's a compromise to be made over the next few years.
When you played your footy back in the day, you were a key forward, Ruck. Have you got a bit of a soft spot for Tex Walker? If you were to put in your vote, would you be keen to see him go around one more year if he's up for it?
Texans certainly got me covered at Park Footy, but he's what I can say about Taylor is that he's been terrific this year. Like what he's done, I think he's 33. He's a bit like Benjamin Button or a fine wine. He keeps getting better, so he's had a terrific year, and he's actually been great support for Jordan Dawson in his first year of captaincy. So, we're in negotiations with him about a further extension there.
Are they delicate conversations as to whether he's willing to play at SANFL level if he's not in the best 22?
You ask him, he'll never play SANFL, but look. We have to have those open discussions. I think once you get past 30, you got to be open and honest of where things could head. But I think, like I said before, we're talking to him and Rory Sloane about what it looks like in 2024.
He might have been having a beer the last time the SANFL side was playing, and he hasn't featured since then. Good luck, Tim. Always great to see you. Thanks for coming and joining us in the commentary box.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, the Adelaide CEO Tim Silvers joining you on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app, like the NRL, the Ashes with the cricket, the Women's World Cup. It's all available for you there on the ABC Listen app. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy are with you, and Ian Cohen is down on the boundary. We'll head into the Melbourne camp in a few minutes' time. It's interesting sort of the stage in which Adelaide are at, Lids, because everyone wants them to be a final side. The expectation is that they've got a list that doesn't seem too far away from it. But as you would know with the Giants, taking that last step and being a top 8 side, being able to win away from home, there's a few challenges they have to be able to overcome.
Yeah, and we heard Tim speak there saying we're 4 years into a rebuild. Well, not sure they would have set out for it to be that long. I don't think, and it'll be interesting to see what actually does happen with Sloane and Taylor Walker. I feel like while Taylor's played some really good footy, are they then hampering the development of some other younger guys coming through? Does that, when they do eventually pull the pin, those two boys, and I'm not a huge proponent of actually moving on older players. I think we do it far too quickly in our game, but sometimes, if you're not playing finals and consistently competitive, well, you might need to look at that, but... Yeah, it's a tough balance for them because I actually liked them 2 or 3 weeks ago. I thought, they're the next team to go in and step up to the 8, but they've just had a couple of really poor weeks, haven't they?
They have, and you're right. I thought, 3 weeks ago they were taking all the right steps, and it's amazing what a couple of poor games does to your momentum and the talk around your football club. I think going back to the senior guys, I think Tex Walker's certainly one you'd certainly sign up. I think he makes every other forward, especially those taller forwards around him, play much better. He's able to take the big key back every week, and he's playing football that's certainly well-deserved of getting another year, if not 2, almost at this point. Roy Sloane's probably another one where I think he's in the conversation of things can turn pretty quick, but if you're prepared to set the right standards, play as hard a football as you can, and if your opportunities in the SANFL from every so often, then I think he'd be open to that just by seeing him the way in which he presents himself. I think you can't have you always need to have your senior players around at your football club who hold really high standards in your professionalism and your preparation. You can't underestimate those types of guys, and he looks like a real heart and soul type of player. So if he's willing to go on, his body's feeling good, I'd give him another year. And if there's younger guys who, in that time, progress a lot quicker and play at AFL level, and he plays SANFL, then I think he'd be happy enough doing that.
Nobody really wants to play in the SANFL or the VFL when you're at that stage of your career. He's second in the Coleman medal with 50 goals for the season behind Charlie Curnow. But you touch on it with Darcy Fogarty and Riley Thilthorpe. They've got young forwards who would be keen to try and make more of their opportunities they're getting at AFL level. And it would just be an interesting conversation if they got to sort of the early stages of next season and they're not winning the games they would hope as to whether he's rested and picking and choosing the games in which he plays, or can he still be a leader at the lower level?
Yeah, I've watched him on 3 or 4 occasions live, and he still looks like he's got zip and jump, and he's kicking the ball as good as he's ever kicked it. It was probably an All-Australian form 3 weeks ago. So, he's still playing really good football.
He showed Darcy Moore like what it's all about and what he could still do. Today will be a different task for him. He hasn't, got to come up against arguably the two best key defenders, Lever and May, or 1-2 punch.
So it's such a tough game. Like Jordan Dawson gets that free kick, and they beat Collingwood.
Yep,
they're in an amazing position from where they are now to where they were then. And I'm not saying he goes back and kicks. So he didn't get the free kick. He certainly should have got it. But look at even Essendon with losing that tight game against Port Adelaide here after the siren. Yeah. It's amazing what one small moment can do in your season.
Yep. Even last night, I mean, a kick or here or there. We're talking about a different team this morning. Instead of talking about Collingwood, we're talking about Port Adelaide. Tex is a fascinating one. You could argue the best thing for the development at the moment is that Thilthorpe and Fogarty get the second and third best defender as opposed to the best. So as you're saying, Lids, today they're getting Lever and May if Walker's not there. Instead, at least he's getting one of them, and it allows them.
Penny or Tomlinson or whoever else is down there. But Sloane's a different story, if you ask me.
Just the other thing on Matthew Nicks too, which I asked Tim about moments ago. Clinchy, you've lived in Adelaide and probably able to give the best insight into this. Tim answered it really well. I reckon it's a hard sell to your members to basically say at the end of this year, hey, we're going to extend Matthew Nicks out. He's already the first coach in the history of the footy club to coach a fourth season, having never made finals previously. Ordinarily, the coach goes after a short period if they're struggling. I don't know how they handle that. And we've seen clubs really struggle with coaches off contract, coaching a team in their final year and the urgency that puts on the first 7 or 8 weeks of the season. How do they turn around to their members after missing the finals for a 6th straight year and say, hey, by the way, we believe in Matthew Nicks, we're going to extend him out for another 2 or 3 years? I think it's a delicate one and an awkward one for them to try and handle. Yeah,
the hardest part is, then throwing out all the work they've done over those last 4 years, even though they haven't got the rewards.
Yep.
Yeah, you'd like to see them. If they finish off this year really strongly, then I think that's a no-brainer. You'd probably just go and tick it off.
Even if they don't play finals?
Even if they don't play finals.
What if they just gave him +1? What if they just said, hey, so we don't have the Wolves at the door at the start of next year, let's make it till the end of 2025.
See where you're at then.
And at least then he knows that he's got a year after next, so it doesn't put the same kind of sting on the first 7 weeks.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because if you put too much pressure on the coach and it all becomes about wins and then less about development and whatever else, that pressure, that starts at the top and filters all the way down, and you see your players tighten up, you see you're not performing and executing the way you want to. So that's it's only a small thing. Like the coach is the coach, obviously he's not out there performing, but that pressure can filter through so quickly, it spreads.
What would you do, Clinchy?
Well, Brenton Sanderson was the example when I was in Adelaide, 3 seasons, and he was out the door having had a final series in his first year. But you're right, they're pretty unforgiving and they expect a high degree of success and more so just around the parameters that if they're in a rebuilding phase, how long are you going to be rebuilding for? So 4 seasons now in, I think the expectation would be that they'd be knocking on the door of the top 8 this year. Well, a bit more the other way. If they sort of slide out the trapdoor and finish sort of 12th or 13th, I think that's going to put incredible pressure on the club to make a decision.
What have they got in the last few weeks in terms of games that
they got West Coast? Here we go. I'll give it to you. They do have
North and West Coast.
Yeah. So they've got Port Adelaide at home, the showdown next, then Gold Coast.
That's a 50-50. Yep.
Gold Coast at home.
Yep. Oh, you'd think they'd get that done.
Brisbane at the Gabba.
Ooh, that's tough.
Not winning that.
Sydney at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, it's 50-50.
And then West Coast to finish in Perth.
So they probably need to win 4 of their last 6.
I'd say 4, to get to 12 wins, and then if you've got a healthy percentage, you're either in and out on percentage depending on where the rest of the teams are at. But
which means these 4 quarters in front of us are pretty big.
These are pretty
big.
They've
got to win today. Yep. They've got to win the showdown, or they need to win potentially Brisbane.
Yeah.
They need to win one of their 50-50s.
They've got to win one they're not meant to.
Yeah, to be on the right side of it. There is a match taking place at the moment. There's an ABC call of that game available on the ABC Listen app. Just click on the AFL Extra. It's the Giants leading in the third quarter, 11-8-74 to the Suns 7-6-48. So Toby Green with 3 goals for the Giants. What a season he's had.
Oh, superstar.
As the captain of the club now and very much leading from the front. So the Giants, after scores or level, or close enough too, the Giants led by 2 points at half-time. They've kicked 5 goals to 1 in this third quarter to take control with a couple of minutes to go to 3-quarter time. Matt Lynch, Corwin Middlemass, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with you. There has been a couple of changes for the Crows. If you've just flicked on the radio, Nick McHenry is out, Patrick Parnell as well, and Luke Nankervis comes in for his debut, and Jackson Haitley comes in for his first game of the season, and Haitley will be the sub for the Adelaide Crows and Joel Smith for the Demons. Speaking of the Demons, a chance to head inside their camp. We can head down on the boundary, and the final member of our team this afternoon is Ian Cohen. He's joined by one of Melbourne's assistant coaches, Troy Chaplin.
Yeah, thanks very much, Matt. Troy, obviously, conditions have lightened off a little bit. The rain seems to have gone, but it is going to be a fair bit of wet weather football today.
Yeah, I reckon early on especially, it just feels like it's a little bit soft underfoot. So Adelaide generally want to play via hand, play fast, but we might see a bit more surge early in the game. And same from us as well until the conditions maybe dry up. But hopefully the rain stays away, and yeah, it looks like it's going to be a reasonable day for footy.
We've seen some nail biters, obviously, over the last 24, 48 hours. Melbourne here, same venue against the Lions, another nail biter. What was the feeling, obviously, this week leading into this match?
Well, it's a different feeling because it almost felt like, okay, we're ready to get going now. Like it's almost like, all right, this time of the year, the best teams are starting to play their best footy. And not that we needed a scalp, but beating Brisbane here, who are in really good form and one of the premiership favourites, was obviously a great result. There's still a couple of things in our game, especially in that second quarter where we're a little bit off. But to the boys' credit, they fought it out, and I think for them now they get a bit of a sense of, okay, let's get rolling.
How important too for Jake Melksham in particular?
Yeah, look, Melky's been toiling away for the last couple of years at VFL, AFL, been in and out, and he's taken his opportunity ever since he's got back in. Obviously with Fritter going out, we lose a guy who's really smart, clever around goals, and Melky is that type of player. He played a pretty important role in Harris Andrews last week, who's been in real good form. But then to take his moment and kick that winning goal was just really great reward for effort, because he's been chipping away at that part of his game, and he was one of the reasons why we were able to win it last week.
Let's talk about that forward structure. There's been a lot of chat about Brody Grundy. Kicked, I think, 1-3 for Casey yesterday. Named as an emergency today, unless you're going to tell me there's a late change. But what's the theory behind that? How long's he going to sit there? And do you still have faith in Ben Brown?
Yeah, we do. Look, if we touch on Brody first, what we need from Brody is just to learn some forward craft. He's not going to be a genuine forward for the period of time that he plays at AFL. So he's going to have to still ruck, and we love that part of his game. Both him and Max have been rucking very, very well. But it's been their ability to go forward, and impact hasn't been there. So we just need Brody to go back and work on some forward craft. We don't want to turn him into a forward. He's still a ruck forward. He's going to spend maybe 10 minutes a quarter there at AFL level. So he was good yesterday. He had a lot of shots on goal and probably left a couple out there. But he looked a lot better and looked damaging. Now, there's a difference between VFL and AFL, so we need him to put some form together and string a couple together. But injuries, he could play next week, so we're not going to just say it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks and put a timeline on it. But we also know that our guys in the forward line at the moment need to keep chipping away. Brownie's got to continue to play well. Rui's got to play well. We've got some options if we need to go there. We can throw Harrison Petty back there, back down forward if we need. So, but the reality is we're getting towards the pointy end of the season. We need to sort it out real quick.
Where does Ben Brown sit then? Because obviously Brody and Ben Brown and JVR, can they all exist in that same forward line?
Yeah, look, it's a good question. I think at the moment we do like the mobility of our forward line. We don't want to have too many tools down there. So they're probably competing with each other. And then when Fritter comes back from a foot injury, it makes it even harder again. Tommy McDonald's very close to playing. I think he was meant to play next week, but the VFL have got another bye, which is disappointing. But we're starting to get some troops back, and that breeds some healthy competition as well. So those guys need to play well, and it's the same with our smaller forwards as well. You see Spargs go out, plays very well yesterday at VFL level, so puts a bit of pressure, selection pressure back on Nibbler and Kay Chandler as well. So it's healthy, but we need to make sure we find our right mix really quickly.
Well, Max certainly thrived, no doubt about it. You expecting a similar game again from him today?
Oh, I'd certainly hope so. He was fantastic last week, and we know what Maxie can do one out. He's been doing it for a long, long time. I think for Maxie, he's been very keen on working with Jacko in the past and Brody and sacrificing a bit of his role. And when needed, he's been able to take that number one mantle without any worries at all, which has been a positive as well, because Brody's probably taken a bit of load off him and kept him fresh at this time of the year. I think Adelaide will probably target Maxie a little bit today. Riley O'Brien's obviously a handy ruck, and both teams are going in with the one ruck. They might look to target Max, but we've got a plan for that as well. So we can't. Opposition teams just can't let Max run around and do what he wants. We know that, but we've got to look after him as well.
Last time Max was targeted, it appeared his teammates didn't necessarily step up to protect him. Has that been spoken about?
Yeah, we've spoken about that any time our captain is targeted, and it doesn't matter if it's our captain, Jake Lever, Track, Clayton when he plays, that we want to be a team that looks after one another and shows care for one another. So we've got some contingencies in place for when guys do get tagged, but it's a bit harder to tag Maxi. It's probably more when he's trying to get long down the line contests or ruck contests. He might cop a bump here or there. So our boys will be aware of that if they're going to try and do it.
The midfield battle there without Laird, obviously. Dawson has been very, very good. No Oliver. Petrarca's been starting up forward. It is going to be a different mix.
Yeah, it is. And it's a mix that we're happy with at the moment. We're actually exploiting a little bit of, or trying to get some time into Tommy Sparrow. James Jordan's gone through there. Vines has lifted his work rate around there as well. Obviously taking a bit more of a load on there with Clayton out. And obviously Track gives us a different dynamic forward. So he'll spend a little bit of time forward in midfield and maybe a bit more midfield if we need him in there. But we've been able to throw Taj in there as well. Trent Rivers, Gussie's been fantastic. So it's a different mix for us. Obviously, we can't wait to get Clayton back as he's a superstar, but it's made us think a little bit outside the square and not be too predictable in there, and it's sort of helping our game at the moment.
We spoke a bit about Grundy, but as I leave you, any late changes for the Demons?
No, we're ready to go. Joel Smith will be our sub, so selected and play as per that. So we're looking forward to it. Hopefully it's a decent crowd starting to come in, and as I said, hopefully this weather stays away.
Thanks, Troy.
Thanks, Ian. Cheers.
Thanks, Ian Cohen and Troy Chaplin on the boundary as Melbourne make their way out onto the MCG. The Crows a few moments ago. And just repeating those late changes for the Adelaide side. Ned McHenry is out, Patrick Parnell as well. Luke Nankerv is in for his first game. And Jackson Haitley comes in for his first game of the season. Joel Smith and Haitley are the subs. The floodlights are on here at the MCG. It's a cool day, but we're hoping the showers we had earlier this morning have passed and we should have a relatively dry game for the rest of the afternoon. And we heard there from Troy Chaplin, Murph and Lids about the attention in which Max Gawn may get this afternoon. Riley O'Brien with Riley Philthorpe to try and take it up to the premium ruckman in the competition. It sort of feels like the All-Australian title is still probably up for grabs, and if Max could finish the season with a real flurry, I mean the way in which he played last week, he might all of a sudden find himself at the top of the list.
Yeah, it's who else would you put up there in terms of the All-Australian rucks at the moment?
Tim English,
Rowan Marshall.
Rowan Marshall.
I'd have Rowan
He'd be
number
leading.
one.
Yeah.
You love him though.
I know there's a bit of a push for Mark Blitzhouse, but I don't think he's not
playing. He hasn't played hardly any ruck.
I thought English was really good early, and then Marshall was probably number two, and I feel like he sort of has held it down probably longer.
I just haven't watched St Kilda play for a fair while, to be completely honest with you.
We can Ross you on a few of their games if you're on Beach. Do some more. Beach.
Beach, oh.
Beach, sorry.
Put you with Beach.
He's at the St Kilda games.
Yeah. No, you can do that if you want. I think we've got one coming up, actually. Richmond Saints at either here or Marvel. But
well, fittingly, after our match, we'll be taking you for the second half of St Kilda and North Melbourne.
Go home and watch it. Can't I?
Taking in a bit of that as you make your commute home, and we'll get your thoughts on Rowan Marshall. But as Adelaide are going through their preparation and Melbourne as well, where do you see sort of the keys to this matchup being? Christian Petrarca has kicked 8 goals forward, so that seems to be working for Melbourne at the moment. Can they finally settle out their forward line issues over recent weeks?
Yeah, well, I think that's the key. And I was just looking through the team list just then, and it's Petrarca for Melbourne that I'm really keen to watch. And the other guy from Adelaide that I love watching is Jordan Dawson. Last time we watched him here live, Murph, he was just incredible against the Pies. You know, so I don't think the D's typically have a run with sort of role. I don't reckon they'll have anyone assigned for him. But what do you do if you are? Does Ben Keys go everywhere with Petrarca? I don't think he can.
No, he doesn't go play as a permanent back against Petrarca, but he will play forward for. Yeah, I reckon if he plays through the middle of the ground,
you sort of just let him go a bit, don't you?
Yeah, Keys might play to him at the stoppage and then just let him go from there. It'll be interesting to see who takes him, because at the moment he is warming up with the forward. So
I think he's so much more damaging. You just got to put a good back on him, in my opinion. I think you can let him go in the midfield because he'll get the footy, no worries. But he's not a laser by foot. But he's doing his damage forward of the footy at the moment and kicking goals. And he's averaging 4 a game for the last couple. You know, and that's where he's really cashing in for the D's. And they'll be looking to get that into him. But
it's just such a difficult matchup because he's not tall, so you can't put your tall man on him unless he's really agile. So it's going to be. We've talked a little bit about the makeshift Adelaide defence this year. So you reckon Hinge is probably the one that?
He looks like the type of size in terms of strength, because he's like 95 kilos or something, Christian. You know, his ability to out-body and out-muscle, be so explosive as well. So you've got to have speed, but you've got to be good in the air. So he's just a difficult matchup. But they're not going to be, a one-man band, that's for sure. You talk about Max Gawn. You know, Lockie Hunter played a really good game last week as well, whether he goes more inside again or just stays out on the wing. You know, Salem down back. They've got a lot of weapons as well as May and Lever. So, you know, it's going to be a tough game, I think, for Adelaide today. And they're just going to have to rely on pressure and a want to try and, you know, bring Melbourne down and not allow them to get a free-flowing game up and going.
No, the ruck contest is crucial because if Max Gawn's able to put it on a silver platter, which he can do at the best of times anyway, you've still got Brayshaw and Viney running through there with Hunter and Langdon on the wings. It's a pretty dangerous side with then Petrarca coming through the middle of the ground whenever he wants to come up from the forward line. So that contest between Riley O'Brien and Max Gawn's became real crucial because he's a terrific ruckman, O'Brien. I really enjoy watching him go about it. But Max Gawn, as we saw last week, when he wants to play at the level like he did last week, he just turns games single-handedly.
And the Demons last week against the Brisbane Lions, winning by a point. Jake Melcham stood up, but the first time in 8 weeks they'd scored over 100 points. So the question around sort of Jake Melcham and Bailey Fritsch, Ben Brown for the moment is getting an opportunity. Maybe Brodie Grundy to come in before the home and away season is out, and Jacob Van Rooyen as the young star who they're hoping will emerge in the next couple of years.
I think he can. I think he's going to be a great player, Van Rooyen. I really enjoy watching him attack the footy, but he gives them such a presence down there because he goes and he flies at the footy.
He's not afraid to just crack packs.
Exactly.
Like he throws himself at the contest. So you love seeing that from your young key talls when they have that ability to go, yep, I'm going to fly for this, and if I crash the pack, so bad, I'll bring the ball to forward and let your young small forwards go to work. And Pickett, we know how clever he is, and Neil Bullen's really underestimated, I feel. I think he's a really smart footballer down there who just gets really high up the ground, supports his defence, and works really hard forward the ball as well.
So we obviously saw Port Adelaide and Collingwood last night. It feels like they, alongside the Brisbane Lions, are the dominant three sides. Have you got Melbourne? I mean, there's a chance here that if they win today, they're 2 games clear of 5th. So it does start to open up a bit more of a gap, and they're only 1 win behind the Brisbane Lions if they win today. Where do you kind of have Melbourne at the moment?
I think they're off that top 3. I feel Brisbane is certainly ahead of them at the moment. Even having said that, they got beaten by them here. But it's all about where they finish at the back half of the year in finals. If Brisbane get a home game against Melbourne, I feel they're too strong up at the Gabba. But then it's whether or not Clayton Oliver comes back in and comes back in healthy when he does finally come back in, because I really rate Clayton Oliver as one of the premier midfielders in the comp. He's had obviously a tough period. Whether or not he can come back in and find that form, whenever that is the case. I'm not sure what you're hearing, Lids, in terms of when he's going to be available. It's still a fair way off, we think. But if he can come back in with a couple of games to go and just get that football running going, because you can do all the training you want in training and in terms of your running, but it's getting hit from contest to contest, and that's where he's such a beast and such an absolute superstar. His ability around the contest to hit bodies but then get on chain of possession plays. If he can come in and then release Petrarca to be even more so forward, then that's when they can go to another level. But they can just got to do enough, Melbourne, in the meantime, to try and solidify that top 4 spot.
Probably still 2 or 3 weeks away was the report from Simon Goodwin during the week for Clayton Oliver, and Bailey Fritsch had surgery, so he's probably still at least 3 weeks away and hoping to get back before the end of the home and away season. The other angle is Matt Crouch gets to play his second game for the season.
Where's he
so
at?
There's been some players who have been out, which gives him the opportunity with no Josh Rochelle and Rory Laird out through injury, so he's out of contract at season's end. You can't really imagine he's going to be at the Adelaide Crows.
But who's going to take him? Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, he's averaging 35 or something in the SANFL for the twos, but
he's only 28.
I know he is, but it's like the games doesn't suit him anymore. He'll find it, but you've got to have speed and power, and I just don't think that's Matty's strong suit. You know, he'll win the footy, but he's not a penetrating kick. He doesn't cut you up, even though. So it's like, we'll give you your 30, no worries. But what damage are you actually doing with it? So whether he can add that to his game, I don't know. But
whether or not he goes to a team who's crying out for that another inside player.
But where's that? Because even if you look at North Melbourne, right, they've got their young players that they're going to put in there.
Ben Cunnington's not getting a game at the moment.
And exactly right. Hugh Greenwood's on the outer a little bit as well. So they don't need another slowish, bigger-bodied mid. So where is that home for him? Like, I'm interested to see how he goes today, because I don't think they're electric in there in terms of speed, Melbourne, so it probably suits him a little bit.
He's just got to be a clearance contested beast, doesn't he?
Has to.
Get the ball to the outside players.
Well, he's great at doing that, but he's also got to play to the hands of his players around him and try and bring their strengths to the table. So releasing them by handball, but not trying to get junk possessions. He's got to stay, I reckon, corridor side and be almost like how Pendlebury plays Delidio, where he... Brett Delidio.
Well, I think we've met before, mate.
Yeah, where he just patrols the corridor. I know I'm saying he's nowhere near a Scott Pendlebury, but he can almost play that role where he can be a link player and let runners run past him and try and get use off him.
End of the final term between the Giants and the Suns. GWS 13,987 to the Suns 7,749. Ian Cohen sitting on the boundary this afternoon. Welcome again, Koza.
Thanks very much, Matt. It was Ed Langdon in game 150. Tossed the coin for the Demons, won it, and they will kick to the punt road end. The subs, Joel Smith for Melbourne and Jackson Haitley for the Crows.
A chance for Adelaide to try and keep their finals hopes alive. For Melbourne, a chance to move 2 games clear of 5th. It's the Demons and Adelaide on Grandstand AFL.
And Gorn wins the first hit out of the game. Comes down to Keziah Pickett as he hooks a kick down the broadcast wing. Hunter first one to the 40. He's tackled by Cook. Dispossessed. Cook wins it for Adelaide. Hand pass to Matt Crouch. His first touch. Handball away to Dawson. Kicks down the wing and May wins a one-on-one against Walker. First points for Stephen May. Hand pass to Hunter. Goes back to Viney by hand. Floats a kick down the wing. Miller hit in the air. Ball spills out. Neil Bullen sweeping hand pass to Brayshaw. Off his non-preferred left boot. It's a shocker. Slides away towards Worrell deep in defence for Adelaide. Hand pass to Dawson. And he just clears the defensive 50. Kicks up the Keys on the wing. Can't take the mark. Now lays the tackle on Viney.
Viney got the hand pass eventually clear, although Hunter turned it over. Rankin for the Crows. Works it forward. Fogarty tackled and gone. Adam Tomlinson back in the lineup for Melbourne. Gets involved early. And wins a free kick on the members' side. Tomlinson looks into the corridor. The options all of a sudden dry up, so he turns back on his right-hand side. Kicks towards half forward. It reached Melcham in the end. Might have slightly brushed the hands of Cook on the way through, but Melcham marks and sends Melbourne inside 50. Petrarca caught behind. Can't take the mark. A chance for Worrell of the Crows. Hard against the boundary. Melbourne trying to work it forward. Petrarca to Neil Bullen. Run down by Miller. Tackle laid hard against the boundary and now eventually across. At the punt road end, Melbourne deep into attack through the opening 90 seconds.
So given the late changes, 5 in total. The difference to the 23 for Adelaide that lost last Saturday night to GWS from the boundary throw-in. O'Brien wins the hit out for Adelaide in the defensive 50. Petrarca tracking it, grabs the footy, hand pass to Sparrow, he coughs it up. Jones for Adelaide, kicks out wide to right half back and just fumbling the footy professionally over the line. Rankin and the boundary throw-in half forward for the D's. So Cook in for his first game of the year. First game since round 19 last year. Matt Crouch in for his second game. Harry Schonberg in for his 6th. Luke Nankervis on debut. And Jackson Haitley, the sub.
Takes a bit of work with the 2 late changes. Ooh. Hunter for the Demons, trying to get the clearance at half forward. Can't do so. Keys for the Crows. Hand pass too sharp for Matt Crouch. Spills to Viney. Hand pass to Sparrow. Kick is smothered. So a volley forward by Cozzy Pickett, and that works. Max Gorn takes the mark.
Oh, this is his spot.
And he is within range, just inside 50, out to the left.
Well, over the last couple of years, how many times have you seen him get a mark right around here, knowing full well that he's just going to arc right the way round? Well, unlike Mark Murphy in his heyday, and just try and knock this one through.
Wouldn't do it from 50 though.
No, you wouldn't.
35.
30.
8 goals, 8 for the Melbourne captain, without Brodie Grundy doing the majority of the ruck work. Said he's been working on his goal kicking a lot during the week. Comes in and veers out to the right from just outside 50, sets fly,
bang,
and through it goes. Finger outstretched to the Melbourne cheer squad as he puts through the opening goal of the match, and the Demons are on the board. Through 3 minutes, they're 1 straight 6 to Adelaide yet to score, courtesy of their captain, Max Gorn. With Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy on ABC Sport.
Well, it's interesting because even without Brodie Grundy obviously not playing today, had a stoppage, a boundary throw in here forward of centre for Melbourne. It was Max Gorn just drifting forward, who got the end of that stoppage there, that stoppage win by Melbourne. So prepared to give it to Tomlinson, I think it was at that point, to take the ruck there and just drift forward. And maybe they say there's a chance to cause a little bit of havoc for Adelaide. But interesting play.
I love the hang time in the drop punt from Max Gawn. He kicks them higher, I think, than just about any other player in the game.
Boots it. And then he just fully boots. A big lever, though, that he's got when he's swinging through there.
Young Josh Worrell's got the job on Christian Petrarca as well.
So Melbourne with the first goal, 4 minutes in. Gawn palms it down to Viney. Familiar combination. Kicks inside 50 for Melbourne. Pass Petrarca inside that forward 50 and kicked out of there by Hinge. Bouncing footy up to the wing. Clean half volley pick up for Rankin. Right on halfway, hand pass to Dawson. Outer edge of the centre square, kicks to half forward and in front, Tomlinson. Nice to see him back at AFL level, takes the intercept mark at half back. In front of Darcy Fogarty. Demons all in the navy blue with the red V. Home game, so in the blue shorts, and Van Rooyen. The cries of Roo as he comes flying through to take a pack mark on the win. Hands it away to Brayshaw, kicks in the middle of the ground for Pickett. Handball away to Salem, and he flares his handball all the way out wide for Rivers.
He looks to work it wider, still by foot, finds Langdon. Between wing and half forward on the southern side. Turns the chips at inboard and Salem marks. Melbourne a goal to nil so far through the opening 5 minutes. Christian Salem looks to play on. Veers out to the left. Sends Melbourne inside 50 in the direction of Max Gawn. It clears the pack. And the mark is taken by Jordan Butts at the very back of the pack. Just 15 metres out from his defensive goal. Lining up alongside Jake Melcham this afternoon as he sends Adelaide long towards half-back in the direction of Pedlar. In the end, Sparrow worked his way to the front and takes an uncontested mark for Melbourne.
The kick comes inside the forward 50. Looking for Melcham. It flies past him. Pickett in the pocket. Turns, snaps goalward, and Murray just whacks it through for a rush behind. 1-1 to yet to score. It's all Melbourne through the first 5.5 minutes. Adelaide in red, by the way, in their clash strip with the navy and yellow hoops and the white shorts.
No long sleeves today.
I noticed Mark Murphy's banned the red long sleeve.
They were listening.
Not a single one out there, despite the fact your namesake Lockie Murphy is playing. And he's gone the short sleeves.
Giants leading by 46 points over the Gold Coast Suns in Canberra, so that game looks over. As Hinge brings the Crows back into play, finds Murray, who marks at right half back. Hand pass to Brodie Smith. Boundary side, he sends it long towards Fogarty. May and Lever both coming from the side. He gets to the back. Walker tries to punch it forward past Gawn. Into the puff and pick Riley O'Brien. He can't get after it. And it rolls out in front of he and Sparrow for a boundary throw in. Right half forward for the Crows. Melbourne leading by 7 points. The Demons inside 50 on 6 occasions. Adelaide yet to get inside their forward 50. Toss back into play. O'Brien tangles with Gawn. Gawn wins down the tap in the direction of Sloane, who now becomes the tackler on Brayshaw. And the umpire will ball it up 60 metres out from the Crows' goal at the city end.
First 7 points of the game for the Demons. O'Brien reaching over the top, hooks it down. Brayshaw soccers it forward down the wing. Van Rooyen comes charging through, left the footy behind. Pickett soccers it, but not to his teammates' advantage. Keys had it, lost it. Scrappy footy, middle of the ground. They all shepherd and wait for someone else to get it. Still no one able to extract it. Murray in the end for the Crows. Hands it to Schonberg, gives it to Sloane, kicks inside 50, Lever up strong. Marks against his old mates. He's got the footy inside the defensive arc for the Demons. 6th time he's played against the Crows since making the switch. He's won 4 of the previous 5. He finds his new partner in crime, May. And May, gee, too much on the kick, trying to hit Langdon on the boundary line. Put it over his head and it's out of bounds on the full. Free kick for Taylor Walker in that launch pad, 70 out at half forward.
Looks to stand Adelaide into the pocket. Melbourne get the numbers back. And in the end, Stephen May, with the support of Tomlinson, spoils it out of play. Throwing in the left forward pocket for the Adelaide Crows. Last 2 inside 50s after Melbourne had the first 6 of the match. Toss back into play. O'Brien tries to work his way to the front against Gawn. Paps it down straight to the boundary. Umpire says throw it in once more. Some of the matchups to keep an eye on. Stephen May is alongside Taylor Walker. Jake Lever's got the mismatch on Shane McAdam. Adam Tomlinson alongside Fogarty. And Rivers with Pedlar. At the other end, Worrell has Petrarca. Mentioned Butts alongside Melcham as it's thrown back in. O'Brien wins down the tap, but straight to Brayshaw of Melbourne. A clearing kick. Smith couldn't take the mark. That's Brodie Smith for the Adelaide Crows. Chase Jones's hand pass straight to Van Rooyen. Langdon almost too slow. Tackled, somehow got it away. Spills out towards the boundary line. Van Rooyen one direction, Jones the other, and eventually it goes across. A boundary thrown at left half forward for the Adelaide Crows. Melbourne 1-1-7 to Adelaide yet to score.
Pressure's been good so far from Adelaide. I think Melbourne have been first the ball. They've only had the 1 tackle so far compared to Adelaide's 11, but leading the clearances 4-1 at the moment, Melbourne.
O'Brien, more hit-outs in the game than anyone else this year against Max Gawn. The best ruck in the game. They both miss it here. Slides through to Rankin. Tumbles a kick inside 50. Clean bowls Fogarty. Socked away by Rivers, who's had a busy start out to half-back. And Hunter takes it for the Demons. Goes short along the boundary line to Neil Bullen. South Australian himself out of Glenelg. He kicks on the 45. Finds Petrarca, who started up front again today. Sloane stands the mark. Petrarca shifts the footy across the ground. Bad kick. Dawson intercepts it. Tackled by Brayshaw. Dispossessed. Ball comes out. Rankin hand pass inside the centre circles to Badler. Gets the Crows going back the other way. Hits up Walker. He marks. Looks inside the forward 50. Great kick. Put it out in front of his intended target. And in the end, McAdam able to hang on to it for the Crows. Right forward pocket. 25 out.
Sorry, you go, man.
That was really good forward craft there by McAdam. Once Tex Walker did have the football, it looked like he went to feign lead to come at the football and just caught Lever's eye and then double backed and just worked hard towards the space. And Tex Walker just had the composure and awareness to hold on to that football for half a second longer and put it straight into his space.
45-degree angle. Shane McAdam for Adelaide's first. He slides it across the goal face and Lever whacks it into the cheer squad. So we've got a behind to start the scoring for Adelaide. We're 10 minutes in. Melbourne are 1-1. Adelaide that behind. So it's the D's by 6 points after 10 minutes.
Third game of the season for Shane McAdam at AFL level. Has kicked 10 goals in the sample to get his opportunity this afternoon. No Josh Rochelli. Stephen May for the Demons. It's going to go long down the middle. Max Gawn's the target. O'Brien in from the side. Spoiled it down. Ricochets down towards Brayshaw. Couldn't take it. Pickett somehow gets it forward to Chandler. Looks up towards half forward. Kicks towards Petrarca. Can't take in the mark. Worrell spoils it down. It spills back to Petrarca with help from Ben Brown. Kicks inside 50. Melcham and Woden in from the side. Can't take the mark. Viney trying to burrow his way through, gets the hand pass away to Melcham. It's picked off though by Matt Crouch, gets it away to Nankervis, on debut, sends it up towards half-back. McAdam worked out of it by Salem. Melbourne takes the mark inside 50, kicks towards Ben Brown, can't take the mark, spoiled away. After it, it's Hunter for the Demons, hand pass to a stationary Bowie, and Jake Bowie is taken across the line by Rankin and out of play for a boundary throw-in. Melbourne by 6 points, 1-1-7 to Adelaide, one behind. 11 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
Gawn and O'Brien to go at it again for the boundary throw-in. Gawn wins the hit out down to Sloane though, the Crows. Feeds a hand pass back and the kick from Cook. Up into the front half for the Demons. Hands to it for Thilthorpe. Can't compete the mark. Tomlinson collects. Fogarty right on him. Got a hand pass away to McVie. Runs back onto his right peg. Dangerous kick inboard to Hunter. Can't quite complete the mark. Hunter's got to go in for a second time. Crouch forces the turnover. Sockers inside 50 over Walker's head. Hit it up. Top of the goal square for the Crows. McVie's back again to save the day. Sweeping hand pass to Langdon. Gives it back to McVie on the 1-2.
Sends it up to Ben Brown, who marks on his chest at right half back. He looks around the southern side. It's a good kick. It finds Chandler between wing and half back. The Demons leading by 6 points. 1-1-7 to Adelaide, one behind. Chandler turns and kicks inboard. Bowie marks for Melbourne. Floodlights on here at the MCG. It's a cool afternoon, around 10 to 12 degrees. Out to the southern wing. Ed Langdon marks on his chest in his customary long sleeves. All of a sudden it's stationary in front of him. So Ed Langdon tries to kick as far as he can down the wing. The target is Ben Brown. He flies against three. Hinge spoils it down for the Crows. Neil Bullen at ground level. Hand pass inboard straight to Sloane. Adelaide on the attack. He works it forward and Thilthorpe marks.
Thilthorpe, he's got Tex deep, but it's a 2-on-1. He's going to him anyway. May and Tomlinson down there. Hands to it from Walker. No mark. Tomlinson collects back pocket for Melbourne. Can just get it out of the danger area, and the defensive 50 goes long to Chandler, back in the team, flies over the back of Murphy, no mark. Murphy does very well for Adelaide. Off his knees, hand pass to Thilthorpe, away to Jones, hand pass back in, more dangerous, and Chandler wins it back for Melbourne. Hand pass away to Lever. Hooks a kick on the outside of his right boot down to Brown on the wing. Spills the mark. Pickett front and centre. Short kick to centre half forward. Petrarca's got it. He's 60 metres out. Turns, kicks it deep to a one-on-one. Good body from Melcham. Leaps up, can't mark. And Murray there for Adelaide in the back pocket. Feeds it quickly out to half back. And Smith marks left half back. That's Brodie Smith for the Crows. D's by a goal. The only goal in the game. 13 and a half minutes in.
Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, Crows doctor's just looking at Shane McAdam's hand. He's been off for 3 or 4 minutes now, and there's concerns about how his hand is operating, in particular around the thumb.
Case goes up. Smith up to Thilthorpe. Had a long time. Tackle trying to get it clear. Spills the way of Chase Jones. On all fours, he hand passes it forward. Bowie picks it up for Melbourne. Sends a high kick towards the boundary in the 50-metre arc. Melcham out in front. He can't pull in the mark. And off hands it goes out of play for a boundary throw-in. Melbourne leading by 6 points. 14 minutes gone opening term. Is it fair to say the game hasn't reached any great heights yet?
Hasn't yet.
Very fair to say.
So it feels like a bit of a game of chess as both sides are trying to get the game on the terms in which they would like. Thrown in. Gawn tries to flick it over the back against O'Brien. Brayshaw picks it up in front of Sloane. Hand pass to Langdon around the body. Gawn's gone forward with Brown. Brown spoils it down. Gawn's the crummer. Can't get a hand pass away. Brodie Smith's onto it. He dodges and weaves past Brown. Kicks up to the southern wing in the direction of Thilthorpe. It's spoiled down by Lever. Tomlinson, beautiful pickup. Hand passes it forward to Bowie. Sloane the other direction. Good tackle from the veteran. The former Crows captain locks him up. They turn to the umpire and he'll ball it up. Just inside the boundary between wing and half forward for the Demons. They lead by 6 points.
Tomlinson started well for the D's, but so's Cozzy Pickett. Another 3 goals last week, I think, really helped him, sparked him at the start of this game.
O'Brien wins the hit out. Dawson there for the Crows. They win the clearance here. Hand pass away to Matt Crouch and dishes it off to Brodie Smith. Kicks down the wing. Mark's going to be paid. Thilthorpe in front of Lever. Moves it on immediately to Keys. Hand pass to Rankin. Short kick. Misses Walker. Made it tough for him. Trying to soccer it forward. Bowled over. Keys goes back. Collects for Adelaide. There's 3 Demons there. Salem lays the tackle. Langdon's hand pass dangerous. Got it to Lever. Handball away to Salem. And now Jordan. He's trying to hit up Hunter. Gee, they've had a few targets missed, both by foot and hand. Goes all the way back to Hunter, who can just chip it short to Keziah Pickett. And he's put it out on the full.
Right on cue.
Trying to hit a 15-metre pass to Chandler, and now Adelaide will get it back, and it's the debutant Luke Nankervis to take it, 70 out half forward.
Comes inboard to Hinge, who kicks to Rankin on the lead. He marks on his chest on a 45-degree angle. He'll kick from around 40 metres out. And that might be one of the best passages of play we've seen in the opening 15 minutes.
He's give a bloke a rap and Cozzy Pickett, and he goes and does that on you. Check that footy. See, he doesn't usually waste too many disposals, but he's a beautiful kick inside from Hinge, wasn't it?
Beautiful kick. And that's the way they're going to have to try and deliver the ball inside 50. You're not going to get them place that all the time, but if you're just going to bomb it today against the Melbourne defence, it's going to come straight back out to you. So good ball use, lower the eyes.
32 goals of the season for Isaac Rankin, looking for Adelaide's first. It drifts left to right, just offline for a minor score. Adelaide are 2 behinds to Melbourne 1-1-7. Max Gawn, the only goal scorer. 16 minutes gone opening term.
Hurried ball into May, and he decided to try and move it too fast. Play it on, and Walker closed him down, affected the kick. One bounce out of play, half forward, and boundary throw-in for the Crows. Just on Luke Nankervis, who's on debut today, the 257th player to represent the Crows. His folks actually drove to Adelaide this weekend to watch him play in the Sandful. Oh no. Had to make the dash back to Melbourne, where he's from, played his junior footy for Sandringham, and gets the chance to make his debut today as a late inclusion for the Crows. From the boundary throw in, Adelaide win it. Miller, middle of the ground, kicks out wide to half forward. Rankin picking it up around his bootlaces. The old handball out in front to try and shake May. Fends off McVee. Rankin still going. Hooks a kick back inboard to Sloane. He'll give it back to Rankin. Rankin, the magician. Incredible goal. Straddling the boundary line, had to feed it to Sloane and get it back again. And Rankin good enough to finish it off from the left forward pocket. What a start for Adelaide's first. And the handshakes to go along with it too. 1-2 to 1-1. 17 and a half minutes into the opening term. First lead change, Crows by 1.
Well, a bit of individual brilliance there, wasn't it, Isaac Rankin? He's really taken his game to another level since coming back home. You know, I feel he was just scratching the surface up there at the Gold Coast, but coming here, I feel like he's gone to a complete other level. You know, ability to kick goals every week, but it's off the back of being involved more. I think that might have been out of bounds potentially. That left foot snap just dribbled inside. You can't
to do with the pressure as well, the focus that he would have had on him over there in Adelaide. Signing big money, long term. It's been terrific so far this year.
So much expectation, but he's on the board here at the MCG. Back in the middle, Jordan can't break clear as Matt Crouch lays the tackle. And the umpire will ball it up just in the outer of the circles.
Tackles 18-5 in favour of the Crows here. Exactly what we said before the game.
Here's a chance for another one to be laid as Petrarca tries to break away from Sloane and Matt Crouch. They lock him up. Still in the middle of the MCG. Melbourne had the first 6 inside 50s. It's 9 apiece now, so Adelaide with the last 9 inside 50s and a chance to try and wrestle some momentum in this game. Thilthorpe's into the ruck up against Van Rooyen. It spills down the way of Keys. Tackled and dispossessed. A chance for Sloan with his head down, trying to burrow his way forward. Petrarca lays the tackle in the midfield and will do it once more.
1 point game. Crows lead it. Approaching time on opening term. Thilthorpe wins the hit out, but straight to Rivers. Rides the contact. Got a hand pass away to Jordan. He releases Sparrow out of wing. Kicks inside 50. Straight to Melcham. What a bullet off the boot of Tom Sparrow. And Melcham can kick from just inside 50. 5 in from the boundary line.
Well, that's as good a service as you're going to see. Kicking a ball inside 50 there from Tom Sparrow. That's why he's up there in the midfield, because he can deliver the football like that. Jakey Melcham did not have to break stride.
A reasonably big goal late last week, Jake Melcham. And it come from behind. Victory over Brisbane last Friday night. Let's see if he's packed the kicking boots again today. From 50, low trajectory drop, punt on target, just a little short. And Thilthorpe helps it through. It's like a little tip-in basketball as he leaps up and just whacks it over the goal umpire. It scores level, 1-2, 8 apiece. Time on opening term.
Wayne Miller brings the Crows back into play. Not his best kick, set Sloan a challenge. In from the side, good mark.
Good hands.
In front of Tajwa Woden. He takes the mark at right half back. 1-2, 8 apiece, with Melbourne kicking the opening goal. Through Max Gawn. Isaac Rankin answering back for the Crows.
Shades of yesteryear, Rory Sloan taking grabs like that. That was when he was at his best. Always a really strong mark for his size.
Back to Brodie Smith, and now it's Nankervis who takes the mark. And Luke Nankervis, the 20-year-old, 191 centimetres, 85 kilos. From Victoria, making his debut on the MCG. Up to Thilthorpe, what a mark. Rising over the top of Stephen May. Kicks inboard to Schomburg, had to wait for it. And Chandler came charging through. He hangs onto the mark. Just attacking side of the AFL logo on the members' wing.
Schomburg, hand pass away to Nankervis. Spin move, got away from Chandler. Launch pad 70 out, kicks to a crowded forward 50. Top of the goal square, no mark. Spills through to Bowie, has a fumble. Hand pass to Lever. He just whacks it straight out of play. And that is insufficient intent. And the umpire right on the spot, up against the advertising hoardings, calls it. Lockie Murphy gets the free, retreats. Goes back to Pedler, who marks 40 out right half forward.
How many games Jake Lever played now, you reckon?
Lever has played 153 today.
Enough not to do that.
That's exactly where I was going.
So I've been really impressed by Luke Nankervis. Few disposals that he's had. He's really wanted the football. Sold a bit of candy. Calling for the football. Looks a good mover.
They like this guy too. Luke Pedler, high draft pick, moves in, left footer. This is near side. Set it up, didn't I?
He did.
1-3 to 1-2. 22 goal on opening term on Grandstand AFL. But just on Nankervis too, I mentioned his folks went to Adelaide, drove back here today. His dad Paul was actually on Melbourne's list. Played under 19s footy for them back in the 80s.
Not the most enjoyable drive, it must be said. I've done that a couple of times. As Bowie's long kick is touched off the boot. Dawson gathers. Hand pass to Brodie Smith. Inside 50. Charging out Murphy. Threw himself into the contest. He's worse for wear. And the clearing kick is intercepted, not 15, as Nankervis plays on, swings onto his right-hand side, sends it long towards the teeth of goal. A chance for Keys. He sockers it towards the goal mouth. Rushing back May. It trickles towards the boundary line, and Rivers keeps it in. Hand pass away to Tomlinson. In the right back pocket, sends it long towards half-back. Brought down was Van Rooyen by Worrell. Umpire says Adelaide free kick, and Brodie Smith has the footy, but he's going to give it to young Worrell. Josh Worrell will have it once everyone's clear on what's going on.
Oh, now the umpire wants the footy, and
Don't tell me the ball was out of play all the way back in the forward pocket for the Crows.
No, I think they're waiting for Lockie Murphy in the forward pocket.
You are right.
What?
So the trainer and the doctor have come out.
No, exactly right. Why? There's no stretcher on the field, so why are we waiting?
they've listened to your lids. They've given Worrell the footy, so he's going to kick it now to the top of the goal square. Dropping in the hole. Rivers had a fair piece of it. Mark's going to be paid. It's a good start, Rivers. Ian Collins on the boundary. Ian.
Yeah, Murphy's just making his way off, but he's doing so under his own steam at the moment. The doctors are assessing him. I reckon he might have been crashed by Stephen May in that contest and feeling a little worse for it.
Now 50. It's going to be marched to the middle of the ground. Trent Rivers. The yellow boots on. He goes short with the yellow Sharon to Jordan. James Jordan, appropriately, the number 23 on his back. He goes long inside the forward 50. Van Rooyen leaps up and rips it down from the sky. And the Melbourne fans on cue with the Roo chance. He'll go back and have a set shot here. 35 out, 45-degree angle.
Well, they found a good one here, I reckon.
Absolutely they have.
He's already taken 2 big grabs, but just looks really assured in the air and marks the football at the highest point every time.
You know what I love? What they've done is they haven't rushed him into the team. They've allowed him to develop his craft, get some size, some confidence in the twos before coming in.
Clermont's own Jacob Van Rooyen skips in, set shot is good. Demons back on top. And the D's cult figure kicks their second goal of the afternoon. 25 minutes in, 2-2-14 Adelaide, 1-3-9. D's by 5 points. Second lead change. Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio on Grandstand AFL.
Well, I think supporter bases in particular get impatient with their young draftees, and especially early draftees, and wanting to rush them in. You know, but what I've loved with Van Rooyen is their ability to just be patient, allow him to develop under Tom McDonald and Ben Brown when they were going really well. Don't bring him in when he's not quite ready. You know, yeah, it's good to give him a taste, but then can you...
especially when you're a key position player too. You need to have some sort of size. Otherwise, you're just going to come up against seasoned AFL football and just get ragdolled. So you want guys to come in, having worked hard through the VFL, if that's the case, get enough size on them so they have got that confidence that when they do get to AFL level, they can certainly match it.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you. Up to 18 goals for the season. Jacob Van Rooyen. Schomburg gets the clearance for the Adelaide Crows. Hand pass to Matt Crouch. Drives him inside 50. McAdam comes charging out. Fogarty's the crummer. Hand pass to Pedler. Snaps on goal and misses. Misses everything. Out of bounds on the full. Just the wrong side of the left behind post. And Adelaide are 1-3-9 to Melbourne 2-2-14. Full time in the match in Canberra. A 6th straight win for the Giants. They're up to 6 on the AFL ladder. 15-13, 103 to the Gold Coast Suns, 9-9-63.
Gee, that ladder's had a shake-up this weekend as the D's work it up the half-back, but Miller picks it off. Kicks to the top of the goal square for Adelaide. Rankin flies, hit him straight in the bonce. Ricochets out to Sparrow. Paddles it away for the D's. Devine had the blinkers on his moat down. Lost the footy. Schonberg got it out to O'Brien. Hurried kick goalward. Lever lets it bounce and helps it through for a rush behind. So 4 points is Melbourne's lead as we close in on quarter time. 2-2 to 1-4. D's by 4 points.
So the Giants win knocks the Tigers outside of the top 8 for now as Bowie sends it long up towards Hunter. In from the side, Nankervis. Hunter was impeded despite the good mark from Luke Nankervis. He's had a couple of good moments in his opening quarter on debut. And Hunter has it at left half back for the Demons. In the long sleeves, looks around the members' wing. Gawn's the target, it won't get to him. Crouch brought it down to the front. Fine, he got it. Hand pass forward for the Demons. Out in front of Jordan. He races after it. But not before it crosses the boundary line in front of he and Nankervis for a boundary throw in.
Just to be careful here, Adelaide, not to get too sucked in to the football. Melbourne is certainly holding their space a lot better at the moment. So make sure that they're not all attracted to the football, Adelaide, and cover off when it's their turn to cover off.
Toss back in. Keys tried to fend off the tackle. It might have been high.
It was.
And Melbourne are going to get the free kick, and Christian Salem will get to his feet and have the free kick between wing and half forward on the members' side. Footy just bouncing between his legs as it was returned to him. So Adelaide have had an opportunity to get players back behind the ball. Goes short to Tom Sparrow. He veers out to the right, sends it inside 50, looking for Gawn, setting himself in front. Rory Sloane floats in from the side. Well played. Just positioning himself, knowing exactly where the ball was heading. Sloane has it with Melbourne leading by 4 points, 35 metres out from his defensive goal at the punt road end.
No, really well done there by Rory Sloane. Smart, but also obviously courageous. Otherwise, that's another inside 50 mark for Melbourne.
He goes short to Worrell. It goes long down the line. It's whacked away by Lever out of play. So a throw in just forward of the wing for the D's. Tim Silver's the chief executive of the Crows, told us pre-game there are conversations already underway with not just Taylor Walker but also Rory Sloane about a new deal for 2024. Would you be happy to have them both again, Lids, in the new year?
Walker definitely. Sloane, wait and see.
Boundary throw in, Gawn. knocks it down. Brayshaw hurried handball inside. Viney paddles it back to Brayshaw. Hand pass away to Sparrow. Kicks into the pocket. Knocks from the target. Worrell does well. Spoils it away. Gee, a fumble there for Sloan. Put his teammate under the pump. Miller got a hand pass away to Dawson. Tackled. Hand pass to McAdam. He's under pressure too. Tackled and the ball held in. Says ball up right on the forward 50 for the Demons. Right on the stroke of quarter time. It's the D's by 4 points. In fact, that'll do us. As soon as the ball thrown up, Matthew Nix, he's got his down jacket on, chatting to Taylor Walker as they make their way out to the huddle at quarter time. The Demons by 4 points, 2-2-14 over Adelaide, 1-4-10. Story of the day, we've had a couple of lead changes. Gawn kicked the first goal, Rankin the second for Adelaide, and Jacob Van Rooyen the last for Melbourne. The only 3 goal kickers. And there was a bit of drama, Clinchy, before we even started with a couple of late changes for Adelaide. So McHenry, Parnell out, Murphy back in, and Luke Nankervis making his debut, the 20-year-old. So 5 changes in total for the Crows from the side that lost to the Giants last Saturday.
Jackson Haitley, the sub for the Adelaide Crows, and Joel Smith for the Demons. Sunday afternoon footy earlier today, it was the Giants who prevailed by 40 points over the Gold Coast Suns, 15-13, 103. To the Suns, 9-9-63, the 6th win on the trot for the Giants under Adam Kingsley, who are finding their best form at the right stages of the season. And the final match of the round is taking place from Docklands. It's the Saints taking on the Kangaroos. Great to have your company on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
A young woman stands in a recording booth speaking into a microphone. She's an audio describer. And she's here to tell you that audio description is now available on hundreds of shows on ABC iView, which means audiences who are blind or have low vision will never miss another detail, like who turns out to be the killer and all those longing glances in the romances. Audio description on ABC iView. Sounds like ABC.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Hunter for the Demons, trying to get the clearance at half forward. Can't do so. Keys for the Crows. Hand pass too sharp for Matt Crouch. Spills to Viney. Hand pass to Sparrow. Kick is smothered. So a volley forward by Cozzy Pickett, and that works. Max Gawn takes the mark. Been working on his goal kicking a lot during the week. Comes in and veers out to the right from just outside 50. Sets fly. And through it goes.
Miller at middle of the ground, kicks out wide to half forward. Rankin picking it up around his bootlaces. The old handball out in front to try and shake May. Fends off McVie. Rankin still going. Hooks a kick back inboard to Sloan. He'll give it back to Rankin. Rankin, the magician. Incredible goal. James Jordan appropriately. The number 23 on his back. He goes long inside the forward 50. Then Rooyen leaps up and rips it down from the sky. Jacob Van Rooyen skips in, said shot is good. Demons back on top.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Sunday afternoon footy from the MCG. It's the Demons leading by 4 points at the first break, 2-2-14 to Adelaide, 1-4-10. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Ian Cohen is down on the boundary. The thoughts of Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport.
Yeah, well, not one for the archives just yet, Murph.
Hasn't reached great heights.
No, skill error is probably letting it down. They're really sound defensively, the D's, in terms of the way they set up to try and catch it, to turn it back over. But the Crows pressure is what's making these teams, or making the D's, butcher the footy, essentially. So, well, I reckon that the 21 tackles already to 10 Adelaide. So Matty Nix would be really impressed with that. And we said that before the game. They need to bring that intense pressure and not allow Melbourne to get the game on their terms. I felt like early, the first 5 minutes, that Melbourne looked like they just had control. What did you say, 6 inside 50s to none, Clinchy. Then it's just like out it comes, Mark, back in it goes. But they weren't able to capitalise, Melbourne, on that early dominance. But since then, the Crows have been able to wrestle the game back on, but it's an ugly wrestle, and it hasn't had any free-flowing footy just yet.
No, they've pressured really well so far, Adelaide, but they've also covered off the outlets really well. For Melbourne on their D50 exits, they just found it very hard just to get 3 or 4 marks in a row. We've seen a few skill errors which are very uncharacteristic of a few players down there, but that comes back to some pressure up the field as well, and then pressure around that contest. So they're forcing them into some errors at the moment, Adelaide, that Melbourne we rarely see. So they've sort of got the game a little bit on their terms and more of a contest style, Adelaide. The D's are winning the clearances by 10-5, but they're obviously, as you said, they're out tackling Melbourne quite significantly, but sometimes that's because they're second in the ball. But I think it's also because Adelaide's game style is all just about harassing around the contest and just getting numbers and numbers across.
Yep.
So if they're going to be smarter with ball in hand, Melbourne, in terms of their handballs from contest, they can find some balance outside with guys like Langdon and Hunter who hold their balance really well. And if they're able to find those guys outside that initial contest, and they can do some damage going forward. I thought in the first 4 or 5 minutes it was going to be a pretty long day for Adelaide. I thought like Petrarca was just going to get on the end of quite a few, playing that deeper half-forward sort of role, being up the ground from the centre square, but then once the general play unfolded, he was just dragging his opponent deeper forward. It looks like he's just got too many tricks for whoever his opponent is. We saw him have numerous opponents in that first quarter, but we didn't really see him on ball, did we, Petrarca? Which I think now he's walking towards the centre square bounce. I think they need to get him in there just to get his hands on the football, get the ball more directly going inside 50 as well. But I think Adelaide will be really happy with their pressure to start this game.
And to tell you who else they'll be happy with is Riley O'Brien. His job he's doing on Max Gawn so far. Got the early goal, but that's the only touch he's had. So hit-outs, 9-8, I think. Riley O'Brien being very, very competitive so far against Maxi Gawn, and no doubt the coach would have been straight to his skipper and said, mate, we need a little bit more from you.
And Isaac Rankin with 8 disposals, 2 score involvements, a goal and a couple of tackles, leading the way for the Adelaide Crows. Melbourne leading by 4 points. As we're set for the second quarter to get underway, Gawn up against O'Brien. Gawn beautifully down to Pickett with speed. Can't get a clean disposal away. Trying to fight for the footy alongside Matt Crouch. It spills down the way of Isaac Rankin. Around the body towards half forward. Rivers got a tough bounce. He races after it with Murphy in tow. Quick 1-2 beautifully from Hunter. Back to Rivers and away he goes. Has a bounce around the southern side. Hand pass to Neil Bullen and now to Pickett. He looks up inside 50. Back with the flight. The mark is taken by Chandler. Melcham left the space, and some great work in the end, some endurance work from Kate Chandler to get up the ground and then come scampering back.
Yeah, we just spoke about it off air just in that break, Clinchy, about the injection of Rivers and what he brings. He gives him that dash and that flare off half back. It's exactly what the game's needed to open it right up. Then you get into ball users like Cozzy Pickett, apart from that little one where he chipped it out of bounds on the full. Great use inside, got it to Chandler, and they need to finish the work.
So he struggles in front of goal. He's kicked 7 behinds in his last 5 matches, despite 15-11 for the season. From the left forward pocket, that's a good way to get rid of the hoodoo. Comes in and steers through the first goal of the second quarter. And Melbourne with the last 2 goals of the match to open up a 10-point advantage. 3-2-20 to Adelaide 1-4-10. Took just a minute and 10 seconds to start this second quarter.
He's a really nice player, young Trent Rivers. I really enjoy watching him go, because when he does get the football, he just takes off and sees grass in front of him and just takes it. The 1-2 play there was really important. It just causes uncertainty ahead of the field. Adelaide just don't have that ability to lock away their opponent. They don't know where it's going to go next, so it just causes a few mismatches up the field. I really enjoyed Cozzy Pickett coming inside a few centre bounces as well today. He's been in a couple, which I've really liked. He gets that burst speed. He's always been the go-to so far today when he's been in there.
At 9 already.
Caused a little bit of uncertainty. Just gets him up the field just to get a taste of the football.
A crooked bounce back in the middle from umpire Nichols. Kate Chandler missed the last 2 games. A little stint back in the 2s and actually replaces Charlie Spargo. So Spargo omitted from the team. Of course, the Premiership Demon. Back in the middle of the ground. Schoenberg, first touch, hand pass away to Crouch, gives it to Brodie Smith, kicks inside 50, Lever spills the mark, centre half back, invites McAdam in, hand pass away to Rankin at half forward, kicks on the run but misses near side. Behind, Melbourne by 9 points, 2.5 minutes into the second term, 3-2 to 1-5, the Demons lead it.
It's fair to say we'd like to see a bit of Isaac Rankin or Cozzy Pickett spark this match.
100%.
Rankin is threatening to do so for the Crows as Bowie with a long kick out of defence up towards Gawn. Worked his way to the front, couldn't complete the mark, but spoils it down. Crouch wrestling. Can't break away from Alex Neal-Bullen and the umpire will ball it up. Just a right half forward on the southern side of the MCG for the Crows. Gawn tries to flick it over the back to Petrarca. Gets the hand pass back to Hunter. Kicks up the southern wing. It's over the head of Ben Brown and back with the flight. Butts takes the mark. Jordan Butts in his 59th game for the Adelaide Crows. Yet to kick a goal so far in his AFL career as he looks up the southern wing. Sends it as long as he can. In the end, Dawson decides not to fly. A hold going Melbourne's way. A few arms up in the air appealing for the free kick, but it's going to be Adam Tomlinson's back in the lineup for Melbourne at the expense of Harrison Petty. He'll have it left half back.
Yeah, first game since King's birthday against the Pies. He goes long down the wing. Brown decides just to whack it forward. Pickett's in play here, one-on-one with Miller. He goes to ground though, Pickett, and Nankervis wins it for the Crows. Hand pass to Miller, shakes one tackle, knocked out the second time in the contact from Neil Bullen. Pack forms behind him up, still says play on. Woden extracts it. Hand pass away to Viney. He's tackled hard and taken to ground by Nankervis. We'll have a ball up. The first gamer is now sat upon by Jack Viney. Always takes a little while for the bottom of that pack to untangle themselves. Now the ump chucks it up. Dawn, great ruck craft, straight down to Petrarca. High half forward for the Demons. Hand pass to Hunter. Kicks inside the forward 50. Worrell stands in front of Brown. Takes the intercept mark. He's got it back pocket for the Crows. He goes all the way back to Murray in the defensive goal square for Adelaide.
Switches it out to Braden Cook. Gets his opportunity for the first game of 2023 for him after some good sample form. Up to Miller. Kick just clears Bowie. Finds Schomburg at left half back. Short by 15. McAdam shows the footy to Ed Langdon running past. Not sure about that, Murph.
Oh, I didn't mind it.
Okay.
Something you would have done, Murph?
Try and liven up the game.
Now he needs to try and work his way around. Jake Lever has to drive it as long as he can. Big fly from Pedler. He got in the back of his opponent and gave away the free kick. Stephen May will take it at right half back for the Demons. Melbourne by 9 points. 3-2-20 to Adelaide 1-5-11. 5 gone second quarter.
So 6 scoring shots to 5, and yet the Demons lead it by 9 points as May goes long to Gorn. O'Brien stands in front of him, takes the mark. Got a bit of support from Worrell, who took care of Gorn in that contest. O'Brien doesn't trust himself to kick it. He lays it off to Hinge, goes along the boundary line. Salem took a juggled mark, but juggled it over the boundary. So that means we've got a boundary throw-in right on halfway.
Yeah, we're seeing not much run and dash because I think both sides are setting up really well defensively at the moment, setting up a really strong zone. There's not many gaps where they can try and penetrate to get through the zone. So full marks for the defences of both sides at the moment. They're full ground zone.
Toss back in front of the Crows bench. Neither ruck got a touch onto it, and Sloan is tackled. He couldn't get an arm clear, and Ed Langdon laid the tackle and wins the free kick. Hand pass away to Jordan. Sends Melbourne up towards half forward. Juggling effort from Ben Brown, not paid. Spills down the way of Petrarca. Hand pass to Chandler. Cuts back towards the wing. Hand pass to Salem. Spots Brayshaw free. He marks right on 50 out to the right. I think this is beyond him. But Angus Brayshaw might have other ideas. Hasn't kicked a goal so far this season. A centering ball which finds Max Gawn on the edge of the centre square. Still 2 kicks out from goal at the city end.
No one's standing the mark, though. Could just run to 50 if he wants.
They're trying to toy with him. So Gawn gives it everything he's got. It'll be a couple of metres short. O'Brien's going back. In the end, it probably did carry the trip. But offline to the left and a minor score. Melbourne by 10 points. 6 minutes gone. Second term. If you want to get in touch with us on the SMS, 0437 774 774.
Now, I don't understand the trend of just sitting off the mark. I understand it in the back half, but when you've got a bloke having a shot from 65, I would highly recommend standing the mark.
Hinge kicks it to half back, and McAdam's got it. You would have thought if you stand the mark, he's not in range, but if you don't, he is. And
pretty simple.
Yeah, it's obviously not so. McAdam goes short to Cook. Ugly kick down the wing. Somehow made its way back to Worrell. He's tackled by Brayshaw. Just got boot the ball. Cook keeps it alive. Slips over. His opposite number, Langdon, tackles him, holding the ball. He lost his footing. And it cost Braden Cook. And Langdon's going to take the kick. The customarily long sleeves rolled up inside the forward 50. Van Rooyen got to the drop. Takes a juggled mark. Right half forward, 40 metres out, and he can line up to try and kick his second.
I was here when he played Sydney earlier this year. I think it was a Sunday game too.
It was.
I reckon he kicked 3 that day. The crowd, when they got up and about, you could see everyone getting up to woo. They love it. Fantastic.
What were they doing?
Jake,
come on. That was his debut.
Was it?
Kick 3.
It's a big day.
The 20-year-old Jacob Van Rooyen. He moves in. He set shots out to the right.
Osdim.
Leaves it out there. 3 goals 4 to 1 goal 5, an 11-point lead for the Demons. 8 gone second term.
Adelaide look to bring it back into play. Cook receives the kick. Now Hinge was impeded. That should be 50 against Cosy Pickett. Right in front of the umpire.
Nick Dacos, type free kick.
I think Nick would have got it.
Would have
Mitch
complained
Hinge
and
didn't. No, he takes the mark. As Cook works it forward, but it's still at left half back for the Adelaide Crows. They're 1-5-11 to Melbourne 3-4-22. Kicks as far as he can in the direction of O'Brien. He palms it down on the members' wing. Shane McAdam can't break clear, and Brayshaw lays the tackle. Just feel like we're waiting for this game to open up. Tossed up in front of the AFL logo on the members' side. Gawn wins down the tap to Langdon. Salem receives the hand pass. Releases Jordan. Dodging and weaving away from Dawson. Hand pass to Langdon. Over the top to Neil Bullen. Wants to chip it inside 50. He's got Chandler all on his own. And pushing forward, he marks in the left forward pocket. Hunter wants it over the top. He decides against that.
Great footy there by Melbourne from the stoppage here on centre wing. Just a use by hand, just creating the overlap and then just drawing another defender up the field, and Kate Chandler finds himself sitting inside 50 all by himself.
In 2018, rookie Kate Chandler in his 5th season, finally getting his opportunities in 2023. Having kicked a goal already so far in this second quarter. Comes in from 45 out. It's a good kick from Chandler. He's in celebration mode. And Melbourne are extending their lead. The Demons by 17 points, 4-4-28 to Adelaide 1-5-11. Chandler with his second, Melbourne with the last 3 goals of the match at the 10-minute mark of the second term.
It's probably the best bit of play we've seen so far, where you called for it, Clinchy, waiting for the game to open up. It was exactly that. They got able to actually get back through the centre corridor, take a bounce and open that game. Neil Bullen, I thought, oh no, he's gone sideways instead of going forward, but luckily Kate Chandler working incredibly hard. There's that high half forward, nicknamed the Chin. You have a close look at him. He's got a decent size one, Kate Chandler.
It's
love the inside word here.
Oh, mate. He had an unbelievable start to the season, Kate Chandler. Obviously fell out of the team the last couple of weeks. Goalless in his previous 5 games and 6 of his last 7. So, couple for him on return. He'll be buoyed by that. 17-point lead for the Demons. Pickett comes tearing in off the square. Can't trap the footy. He's going to get a second go. Middle overruns it. Kazai Pickett, the centre bounce clearance eventually. Kicks out wide to Viney. Hand pass to Sparrow. Links up with Brayshaw. Kicks to Melcham. He marks just outside the goal square. And Kazai Pickett eventually won the footy. He was clean in the middle. And it results now in a Demon shot at goal.
Oh, again, wasn't it that ability to open up? Cosy Pickett, we've spoken about him in the midfield.
Melcham hooks across the body, whacks it through. And that's 4 in a row for the D's. They're pouring them in now. 12 gone in the second term. Demons by 23. 5-4-34. Adelaide 1-5-11. Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy, Grandstand AFL.
Ask and you shall receive, Clinchy. We wanted it to open up, and it certainly has. But probably the injection of Cosy Pickett in there in the midfield, that's his ability just to get out of traffic from inside, not just hack it forward where it goes to another scrap. His ability to open the game up has been the difference. And then wasn't sure about the extra handball. Thought maybe the kick was on early, but Brayshaw on his non-preferred just waited beautifully over to Melcham. Not unlike Jake Townsend back in the day, I reckon, for the Tigers when they won the flag. He's really making a late charge to, maybe stay on the list, be a key role in the forward line.
You're saying he could be Jacob Townsend one day?
No, I'm saying like Jake did in 2017.
He's out of contract at season's end. Max Gawn, one of his good mates, told us last week. The emergency for all 3 of Melbourne's finals in 2021. Sloan with a clearing kick inside 50. Adelaide into response. Fogarty can't take the mark. It spills away at Woden. Quick hand pass away. Links up with McVie. Gives it back to Lima. Beautiful sidestep around Rankin. He bought all of that. Sends it up the members wing. Max Gawn in from the side. Can't take the mark. Pickett with a volley forward to Neil Bullen. Everything's clicking for Melbourne. Kick inside 50. Brown slipped over. Spoiled away by Butts. Onto it, a chance for Chandler. Hand pass to Melcham. Snaps on goal. Bounces it through. Melbourne clicking on all gears now. And the Demons are the last 5 goals of the match. 4 goals to none in this second quarter through 13 minutes. And Adelaide are left flat-footed. 6-4-40 to the Crows. 1-5-11. Jake Melcham, like Cole Chandler, with back-to-back goals so far in this quarter.
His biggest supporter at the back of the room here, Brett Toledo's got the arm up, finger pointed. Very happy with what he's seeing from Jakey Melcham at the moment.
Townsend like that.
Well, Corbin, you don't be smart.
But they have shown in previous years, Melbourne, that when they do get on a run, they're hard to stop. And they might not have the big names up forward, but their midfielders, the way in which they spread hard from a stoppage or whether it's from turnover, and their ball use by hand is just far superior at the moment. They're just making Adelaide pay.
Well, I love it more that it's just a obscure player I haven't heard of for a while. So it's a
great man, Jakey Townsend.
Yeah, I like
a
it.
keg.
How many teams he played for in the end?
4.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Lids. I can see it.
Back in the middle, Salem got a hand pass away, went straight to Schomburg, goal of the Crows. Hand pass to Rankin, kicks inside 50. Rivers spoils away for the Demons, runs back to the back pocket, collects. Hand pass goes straight to Walker, though. Walker got a handball out under pressure. Keys tackles Salem. Pack forms forward pocket for the Crows. Up lets them work it out. Still hovers, and so Viney often does. Got it out to McVee. Floated a half back, and Murray inside the forward 50. What's he doing down there? Takes the intercept mark. 45 out from goal for the Crows.
No, it's good work. While the big key defender just getting eye up the ground, just covering off the outlets. And if your man's willing to go up there, you may as well go up there with him and cover that off. Otherwise, it's another Melbourne mark. So well done. He was actually right out of position, but just fought his way through and just used that big body, that big frame that he's got.
It's his goal kicking form like Murph.
I'm pretty strong from here.
46th game. He's kicked 1 goal in his career. Hasn't hit the scoreboard at all this year. Kicks from right on the 50. A right-footed drop punt misses near side. He's let you down, Murph. 1-6 to 6-4. 15 gone. Second term. Melbourne by 28.
He's built, isn't he? Oh, he looks thick.
Famously wasn't picked up in the draft and was one of the SSP players added to the Adelaide list in 2021. He was sitting on a farm and finally his phone rang and he was selected on an AFL list.
He looks like a farmer.
Kick is turned over though by Melbourne, and here's Nick Murray on cue once more. He marks between wing and half forward, sends Adelaide inside 50. Fogarty spoils it down away from Lever. Petrarca's in the defensive 50 for Melbourne. Hand pass to Viney. Kicks out to Ben Brown. Pulls it in with the big levers at left half back. Melbourne leading by 28 points. They've put on 4 goals unanswered so far in this second quarter. Brown kicks around the southern side towards Brayshaw. Pulls in the footy in front of Brodie Smith. Gets the hand pass away to Hunter. Hand pass back to Viney. Kicks around the boundary line. And it bounces out of play in front of Sparrow and Butts for a boundary throw in. With Melbourne leading by 28 points. The floodlights are on here at the MCG. Earlier the Giants winners by 40 points over the Gold Coast Suns. Their 6th consecutive win. And the final match of the round will take you to for the second half. It's North Melbourne and St Kilda.
D's with the last 5 in the game from the boundary throw-in. Van Rooyen wins it down, but Thilthorpe there for the Crows. Hand pass out in front of Matt Crouch. Shoots a hand pass away hurriedly to Schomburg. Feeds it back to Thilthorpe under pressure. Hand pass to Keys. Tackle as he kicks. Bounces away to Fogarty. He's got it at half forward. Hand pass forward. McVeigh chops it down. Fogarty a second go. And as he feeds a hand pass forward, he's taken high. Didn't even realise. Back pedals, takes his free kick, pokes it out wide, and Murphy marks. 2 steps inside the 50 at right half forward.
It's good work there from the contest by Adelaide. Just trying to work themselves back into the game. Obviously, Melbourne are well on top, but they've just got to go back to their pressure and their hunt around the contest and then just try and get some ball control and just try and get some yardage moving forward. So well done there.
Has your cousin got this in him, Murph?
No.
Lockie Murphy, a left-footed drop punt, sails goalward. He's got the trip, but he's offline. Tugs it out to the right, another behind. So Adelaide 1-7. Melbourne 6-4. D's by 27 points. 17 gone, second term.
Not getting easy shots, are they, the Crows? Makes it hard when you're kicking from 45, 50 out on an angle.
And Stephen May hugs the boundary line with a kick looking for Petrarca. It's just touched inside the field of play. Goes out in front of he and Brodie Smith for a boundary throw-in. So Adelaide with the last 2 scores in the match, but they've managed just 3 behinds in this second quarter. So Melbourne's 4-2. Kay Chandler with a couple, Jake Melcham with a couple. They both come in this second quarter. Matt Crouch from the stoppage. Swings onto his right, kicks towards the top of the 50. It finds Hinge. He looks laterally. Got Cook pushing forward. He marks just inside the 50. As Tex Walker was coming out, I would have thought he might have had right of way.
Would you ever do that to Richo Lidge? Just drop in front of him and pinch one from him?
100% I would have, yeah. But I knew my ears would have been ringing post it, especially if I missed.
Tex is trying to get Stephen May to run through the mark and get 50, but May was awake to that. So Braden Cook playing his first game of 2023. 3 goals so far in his 12 games. He comes in from 50, just hangs out to the left and a minor score. So Adelaide with 4 behinds in this second quarter, and Melbourne's lead is 26 points. Had a couple of chances in the last few minutes, but can't make them pay.
What about you, Murph, in front of Fev?
The croc.
Wouldn't get any space.
Not in the swamp.
How about Charlie Curnow yesterday? You would have been staying out of his way when he started to get on a roll, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's been delivering him to him. Clinchy.
Mark in the back pocket from Tomlinson. Oh, goes long down the wing. Awkward landing for Dawson. Landed high on the back of his neck. Gee, he's a little sore too. He flew for that footy and landed very awkwardly. Adelaide reload. Kick comes to McAdam at centre half forward. Trainer's out to Dawson now, but he's sitting up. Kicks for Walker, who marks top of the goal square. Hands to it, and Walker clunks it. And Jordan Dawson appears to be okay as he jumps up to his feet. It's a stinger on the top of his neck or high up on his back after that awkward landing. Toppled over. Had the full body weight come down on his shoulders and his neck.
Ooh. Over the back of Mitch Hinge, yeah.
So Taylor Walker, point blank range, pops it through and stops the wayward run of kicking by this Adelaide team. They finally got their second. Their first from a set shot, 2-8-20, Melbourne 6-4-40. D's by 20 points. Their set shot kicking previously 0-6 and 1 out on the full. We're now 20 minutes into the second term. Ian Cohen's on the boundary. Koza.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on Jordan Dawson. He seems to be okay. He's still moving that neck around. The doctor and the physio are both out there. They've assessed him as good to go. He's wandered back into the middle now. And for Taylor Walker, he needs just one more goal to equal Tony Modra's record at the club.
I don't think it was the greatest kick going inside 50, but he just read it so much quicker than everyone else down there. Big Tex got to the drop of the ball. Melbourne defenders are all at sea there. They lost him.
They were. He got a good 1v1, didn't he? It wasn't a pinpoint kick by any stretch of the imagination, but get those 1v1s in deep and give some opportunities to Tex and his other forwards closer to goal.
Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport. It's socket forward by Sparrow to half forward. Petrarca got a little sharp hand pass forward, regathers, swings onto his right, it's offline. Misses everything out of bounds on the full. Christian Petrarca, who's been pretty good as a key forward, 8 goals, 2 in the last 2 weeks. Normally his shot on goal accuracy was down the bottom when he'd been playing more midfield minutes, but predominantly as a forward he'd been pretty good. Butts for the Crows, sends it up towards half-back. Murray flies in from the side. Can't take the mark. Brodie Smith shovels a hand pass forward. Cook's almost too slow. Tackled and somehow got it away. Matt Crouch gathers, kicks up the members' wing. Working his way in front. The mark is taken by Shane McAdam. Looks inside. Dick Keys is pushed forward. Salem somehow got back. Made the spoil. Keys gathers though. Hand pass to Pedler. He misses. Trying to bounce it end over end from the left forward pocket. Ben Keys did a lot right, and in the end, Pedler just couldn't quite finish, charging towards the face of goal and bouncing it to the right-hand side. Melbourne by 19 points.
Pedler kicked 21 goals, 9 leading in. He's kicked 2 behinds and 1 out in the full. Short kick from Salem, trying to link up with Jordan, turns it over. Keys has got it back, hand pass to Schomburg, shoots goalward, it's across the goal face. 1 bounce and out of play. Boundary throw in opposite pocket. 19-point lead for the Demons. Time on second term. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch calling the footy. Ian Cohen on the boundary. And our number 1 picks, Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy on Grandstand AFL from the throw-in. Gawn wins it down. Bowley knocks it away for the Demons. Straight to Viney. Once, twice, trying to get it out of there. Spills to Woden. He's tackled and drilled into the ground by Murphy. The ball up half forward for the Crows. I feel like Tages are going to be the next runs of league footballers. Feels like we've had the Jais and the Baileys and the Jacks ready for a run of Tages.
Gawn wins down the tap. We go to some interesting areas sometimes on a Sunday. Dawson kicks it out towards the pocket for the Crows. It's locked in. Tim's been in touch on the SMS for you, Lids. 0437 774 774. A cheerio to Jake Townsend, who's playing for Broadbeach.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the best
QAFL.
option too, with the skin colour that Jakey's got.
Cheerio from your former teammate. You guys would have played together, Brett Delidio.
Certainly did. Got tackled by him a couple of times too, it hurt.
Rivers tries to find a way forward for Melbourne. Hand pass to Sparrow. He's locked up. Adelaide have it inside their forward 50. Melbourne have dominated the clearances in this second quarter, but Adelaide getting a bit more of it inside 50 after the time on 20-minute mark of this second term.
O'Brien wins it down into the path of Murphy. Hand pass goes away to Pedler. Sweeps a hand pass looking for O'Brien. Gorn breaks it up. Knocks it down to Langdon. Kicks out of the defensive 50. High bomb and Worrell's underneath it. There's having some territory wins here, the Crows, as Worrell from 70 out at half forward kicks inside 50 and McVee up strong takes the intercept mark. Rising star nom from last week. Judd McVee kicks down the wing. Hand on it from Nankervis. Brings it to ground for Adelaide, but numbers with Melbourne. Sparrow's hand pass couldn't quite get it to Petrarca. Sparrow does it a second time. Got it to him on this occasion. Petrarca's hand pass to Woden. Sweeping hand pass out to Neil Bullen around his bootlaces. Jumps on top of it. He's tackled immediately. Ball held to him in that tackle from Brodie Smith, and we'll have a ball up here. 70 out from the Melbourne goal at right half forward. Demons by 19 points, 25 gone second term.
Melbourne with 4-1 so far in this second quarter. As O'Brien and Gorn continue their battle. Gorn taps it towards the boundary line. Looking for Petrarca, but it goes out in front of he and Jordan Dawson. So Dawson didn't come to the bench for that awkward landing, so he stayed out on the field. The Adelaide captain with 8 disposals so far this afternoon. Rankin and Crouch with 11. Viney with 13 for Melbourne, and Salem with 12. From the throw-in, spills down the way of Sloan. Got it forward. Schomburg found Rankin. Hand pass to Sloan. Hand pass to McAdam over the top to Murphy. They've got it to left half forward. Kicks looking for Fogarty. It's wide of him. Racing back. Hunter gathers for Melbourne in front of Pedler. Gets the hand pass away to Rivers. Chips it back to the left back pocket. And Kate Chandler races back to take the mark.
On his return, a couple of weeks out of the team, he's kicked 2 goals in the first half, Chandler. As has this man, finds Melksham. Left half back for the D's. Game winner last Friday night against the Lions. Floodlights on, overcast day, cool afternoon in Melbourne. As you'd expect in late July, as Melksham goes down the wing, and throwing his body at that is our man Murray. Refrigerator with a head as he gets a hand pass away to Brodie Smith. Kicks inside the forward 50, and May takes the mark as Walker fell over behind play. And yep, May's going to take his kick. They're just taking a moment to reset the mark. Goes back to Rivers. On a bit of a stroll, not a heap of options. Goes short to Bowie. Melbourne by 19 points, 26 gone. Second term. Here's the redhead Bowie off halfback for Melbourne.
Tries to work it to Tajwa Woden. Can't take the mark. Dawson there. Careful not to fall on his back and sees it out of play. Our next stop on ABC Sport is St Kilda and North Melbourne. A late change for the Roos with Daniel Howe coming in, replacing Charlie Lazaro. The subs Jack Billings and Jack Siebel. It's the former North Melbourne captain, the sub once more. From the throw-in, comes down the way of Angus Brayshaw of Melbourne, up the wing. Petrarca caught behind against Murray. Worked it down to Smith. Hand pass from Brodie Smith back to Murray. Inside 50, looking for Fogarty. Good contest between he and Tomlinson. Tomlinson assumed it was bouncing out for a moment. Looked like it might stay in play, but eventually it did trickle out. Under the Olympic stand in the Melbourne forward 50, Adelaide forward 50 at the punt road end. The Demons leading by 19 points.
Expect to see Isaac Rankin here on the flight. Get a block from Matty Crouch.
Gorn and O'Brien lock up. Gorn wins it down straight to Crouch. Hand pass away to Cork. He gives it to Sloan. Hooks a kick to the top of the goal square. Skidding through Rivers. Can't trap it. Here's Rankin. Sockers it through for the top of the goal square. Adelaide still alive in this game. And a crucial goal on the stroke of half-time. He's kicked his second, but not before a bit of confirmation with the arc, or in this instance, maybe the VAR. The soccer attempt.
Has he got a finger on that? That's what they're looking for now.
So this is Bowie. He's getting across to try and cover. He doesn't react, Jake Bowie.
We can see the ball makes contact with the Adelaide attacker's boot. Decision on the scoreboard.
There we go. This will count. In the spirit of the Women's World Cup. Confirmation on the big screen. It is a goal. All of a sudden, a 13-point game. Gives Adelaide life again. 6-4 to 3-9. 28 gone, second term, Demons by 13.
Just some good forward stoppage movement there. I saw Rankin talk to Riley, the ruckman, and it was just his movement through the stoppage, and Matty Crouch was initially the blocker, but then usually
how often does that happen, Murph?
It comes back to the blocker, and he ends up with the clearance stoppage, and Rankin just keeps on working his way through the stoppage towards goal and just gets to the next contest before his opponent. And he's got such great forward nous and craft. He just can't allow a player of Isaac Rankin's skill and ability to have any space around goals.
Yeah, young McVee just lost touch on him, didn't he? Allowed him goal side, gave him first access to it.
He's doing his bit. Isaac Rankin, 13 disposals and 2 goals. In Adelaide's 3 goals, 9. Closes the gap to 13 points, leading towards half-time. Back in the middle. Umpire bounces it down. Gawn wins down the tap. It comes to Brayshaw. Got tackled by Crouch. Gets the hand pass away to Viney. Swings onto his left-hand side. Kicks inside 50. Melcham with the one arm. Can't pull in the mark. Petrarca's first onto it. Brought down by Nankervis. Hand pass back towards Jordan. Taken high by Sloane. And James Jordan on the edge of the centre square. At half forward for Melbourne. Gawn's gone to full 40. Puts it in that direction. It clears the pack. Great mark, Hinge. Got a nice little springboard, and he's left a fair pack in his way.
We've seen Hinge take a few grubs today, and Murray as well. They really back themselves in the air, the Adelaide defenders.
Josh Worrell's a bit worse for wear, and Max Gawn as well, but a good mark nevertheless.
Got his teammate's knee sort of right in the middle of his chest as the mark to Cook in the back pocket, long down the wing, and O'Brien takes the mark, defensive side of the wing. You ever been step-laddered in any game?
Eddie Betts got me one time down here in the pocket. I was filthy too. I was back and back thinking I was being all courageous, and next thing I know, knee in the back of the spine.
And he obviously took it?
No, dropped it, thank you.
Oh, so no replays of that. As McAdam goes short down the wing, pack forms around Jordan. Umpire says it's all okay. Ball up on the wing. Demons by 13 points. Murph?
I've delivered a step ladder to Cripper once. I put one just on top of his head and let Kocher just jump straight into his back.
13-point lead. The Demons, as we close in on half-time, Gawn goes up, wins it down to Neil Bullen, kicks up into the front half, knocked away by Petrarca, but straight to Rankin, hand pass to Hinge, flares a handball out wide to Crouch, now back to Nankervis, the debutant on debut, kicks down the wing, through the hands of O'Brien, Murphy hits it at speed, tackled by Brayshaw, never let him go, holding the ball, and a huge tackle from Brayshaw, right on the stroke of half-time, and he won't get to take his kick for that, but gee, he was not letting Murphy get through there. Melbourne by 13 points. Crows pegging it back late after they trialled by as many as 29 in that quarter. For Melbourne, 6-4, 40. For Adelaide, 3-9, 27. It's a 13-point advantage for the home team. Melksham and Chandler each have 2 each. They both, all 4 of those goals came in that second term, and then 1 for Van Rooyen, 1 for Gawn. While for Adelaide, Clinchy, Isaac Rankin has 2 and Tex Walker the other.
Melbourne by 13 points at half-time. The thoughts of Brett Delidio on Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
Well, it was a good fight back in the end there by Adelaide in the last 5 or 6 minutes, being able to kick a couple of goals and just try and wrestle back some of the momentum that Melbourne certainly built up. They kicked 5 goals on the trot then, Melbourne, in that second quarter, and certainly got their running game going. They were really strong from stoppage in terms of using their hands, getting great width, and then sometimes Adelaide just get caught ball watching a little bit, and they got caught quite a bit where they were just all in numbers around the contest, and Melbourne just drifted forward or drifted wide and just allowed them just to have that easy outlet option. But I was really impressed by the way in which Adelaide just got back to their pressure game in that last little period of that second quarter, and then their covering off of outlets as well has been pretty important and been pretty good really from mine. They have really defended the ground quite well, but
I agree.
Really impressed by the way in which Melbourne just put the foot down on their throat for a good 10 or 15 minutes there, where their game was back to that style that we've seen Melbourne over the years when they're at their best and they score really quickly and look really ominous. So they played some really good football there in patches, Melbourne, but Adelaide, to their credit, fought back.
Yeah, I think just to go further on your point about being able to hold up and lock it in, it's been the work of Worrell, who's had 5 intercepts, and Murray, who's had 5, the big farmer. You know, their ability to back themselves in the air, which has been the most impressive part. And I think that's where the game's going. You got to be willing not just to spoil and get it out of bounds, or keep the smaller players in it. You got to mark it, turn it back over, and be able to build some offense off the back of that. So they've done that. What they haven't been able to do is get shots in good positions. You know, they've had the 12 scoring shots, but they've been from 45, 50 metres out on an angle, which are tough, you know. So they're certainly generating enough inside 50 ball, but just not being able to capitalise enough. But that's probably the strength of Melbourne too, isn't it? They put you under pressure, but then they defend the corridor, make you have shots from wide. That's the experience of Lever, May, Tomlinson down there. Their ability just to force you into positions you don't really want to go into. So, you know, we've been impressed by the work of Rankin. He's had the 14, kicked 2 goals, 2 so far, doing his bit. Crouch, who we spoke about before the game, he's had the 13, 4 kicks, 9 handballs. That's probably about the right ratio, I reckon, for Matty Crouch.
Yeah, he's got to bring his teammates into the game. And I think he started off really well this game. I think he's been strong around the contest and using his hands and giving it to players who have got more leg speed, because obviously his bread and butter is in and around the stoppage and getting that hard contested football, but then offloading it to his runners around him. But he's started off the game really well. I think initially he was probably left a little bit flat-footed a couple of times, just getting used to probably the pace of the game again, considering he hasn't played much AFL this season.
Corby had to mention that Adelaide kicked 1 goal 7 from their set shots so far for this match, and they're 3 goals 9, 27, and Melbourne with 4 of their 6 goals in that second quarter. 4-2 to Adelaide's 2-5 to lead at half-time by 13 points. 6-4-40 to Adelaide 3-9-27. Some of your thoughts on the SMS, 0437 774 774. Bill says one day footy players shooting for goal will wake up and realise that when they run out to the right, mostly you hook it out to the left. It's the body mechanics. And Brennan says, I suppose Blues fans will expect 10 goals from Charlie Curnow next week, given they take on the Magpies.
Good luck. Game.
Good luck.
I wouldn't have thought so. If they kick 10 to a team, they'll be going all right, Carlton.
Sure, he's going to get the same run as what he had against the West Coast Eagles yesterday. Mo from Malden is putting in the argument for the highest Kick of the Year award and thinks Max Gawn.
That's Malden.
Malden, thank you.
Where's Malden?
It's a small country town, Central Vic.
Cool.
And Shane is loving the call. Would love to hear a bit more from Christian Petrarca and Tex Walker. Petrarca has certainly been quiet, spending more time in the midfield with 12 disposals than he has up forward. And a cheerio to a couple who are driving from Adelaide to Port Lincoln today, enjoying the company and the commentary. I wonder if you're going to end up in the shark cage like I did. Great place to go, Port Lincoln. That's where Mark Rasciuto owns the pub.
Do you recommend it?
I do. It's a long way to go if you don't get to see any sharks, though.
Did you see a shark?
I saw a shark.
Impressive?
Very impressive. We were you're out on the water for about 8 or 9 hours, so by the time you finally see some sharks, you're pretty keen to get in there, and I think you get about a 30% refund if you don't see any sharks. So it's not as appealing to go back out a second time if you don't get to see any. But certainly one of the great things to do in South Australia is to get out to Port Lincoln. And
so there's no guarantee you even see a shark.
That's what I'm saying. You can go out there and it can be a long experience to not see any sharks.
It's a big ocean.
They don't have them on collars.
All right, guys.
No fences. Nice lunch, but it's just not quite the same when you're out on the boat for that long.
I'm from WA, and our major animal or sea emblem or whatever they call it is the whale shark.
Oh, yeah.
I was lucky enough to
You've seen a few of those, have you?
Swim with a whale shark, and it was cool. I got to see it. I booked to go and see it, and so I saw it. Yeah. They found it.
Oh, that's good.
You're always guaranteed to learn a few things on Sunday afternoon footy. The Giants are winners by 40 points earlier today against the Gold Coast Suns. And still to come, it's the Kangaroos and the Saints from Docklands. Let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
This is ABC News with David Rowlands. Labor has accused the federal deputy opposition leader of lacking knowledge on legislation related to nuclear power. Speaking on the Insiders program today, Susan Lee appeared to suggest the ban on nuclear power in Australia has to be lifted as part of the AUKUS nuclear submarine deal. Communications Minister Michelle Rowland says that's not the case.
I would point out that currently there are exclusions in place that would apply to the AUKUS arrangements. And if she is not aware of this, then it does display an alarming lack of knowledge on something as important as AUKUS.
New South Wales Premier Chris Minns says those responsible for a triple shooting in Sydney's southwest will be met with the full force of the law. Emergency services were called to Greenacre in the early hours of this morning and found 3 injured people in 2 parked cars shortly after shots were fired. Police believe the victims were intentionally targeted. Mr Minns says significant resources have been allocated to investigate the incident.
Also assured that we've got a big funded police response in relation to these events, and I've got confidence in the New South Wales Police to arrest those who are responsible for these activities and others like them. And the penalties for violent attacks like this are huge in New South Wales, and the full force of the law will be brought down on those that commit these offences.
20 fire crews are working to contain a large grass fire on Queensland's scenic rim. Queensland Fire and Emergency Services say they've been monitoring fire activity in Clumber near Boonah since Friday. The current blaze has consumed more than 1,000 acres. No properties are under threat. Greek firefighters are battling blazes across the country as it swelters through its hottest weekend for at least half a century. Fires are burnt almost down to the sea on the popular island of Rhodes, where summer tourists and locals have been ferried from beaches aboard Navy and Coast Guard ships and private boats. Authorities say around 30,000 people have been taken to safety. They say the property damage includes the loss of some tourist hotels. However, no injuries have been reported so far. Spanish voters go to the polls later today, with some pollsters tipping a coalition of parties, including the extremist Vox, will form the country's most right-wing government since the end of the fascist Franco era in the 1970s. The BBC's Katja Alda has the story.
Spain's troubled Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez is hoping the prospect of seeing the nationalist far right back in government will frighten even reluctant voters to lend him their support. His party describes Vox as a movement of reactionary fanatics not seen in office since the days of Spain's military dictatorship. But it's a gamble. Despite a number of significant achievements, including reducing unemployment and raising the minimum wage, Mr. Sanchez's coalition with the far left, introducing new laws on transgender rights and relying on separatist parties to pass laws, have proved divisive.
The South Australian government says the success of its mobile phone ban in high schools will see the policy replicated around the country. Most schools have already told students to leave their devices at home or lock them up during the day, with the last few dozen to bring in the rule from tomorrow. Education Minister Blair Boyer says his interstate counterparts have agreed to a national commitment to ban or restrict phones. He says teenagers are all the better for it.
The schoolyard at recess and lunchtime looks like it did in the 1990s, and there was kids out playing sport, talking to each other, involved in extracurricular activities, and kids aren't using their phones and are instead looking for other things to do, which I think is really fantastic.
To sport, and the Port Adelaide Football Club has labelled racist online messages sent to forward Willie Rioli as disgusting and reprehensible. The AFL's Integrity Unit will investigate the messages, which were sent to Rioli after his side's match against Collingwood at Adelaide Oval last night. The 20-year-old shared screenshots of the messages, highlighting the abuse with the caption, "Smart Guys." Rioli was also the subject of racist abuse following Port Adelaide's win over Essendon in Round 8. The club's General Manager of Football, Chris Davies, says it's unacceptable.
We need to be better. Football should unite. It shouldn't divide. And the focus after last night really should have been one of the great games of the season. And unfortunately, this issue keeps coming up. It keeps happening, and we need to be better.
In May, the league announced that fans found to be responsible for racial vilification would receive lifetime bans from AFL matches. And that brings you up to date with the latest ABC News. For more news at any time of the day or night, you can download the ABC Listen app.
ABC Listen.
The story of stuff the British stole started with artefacts in museums and galleries, but it's spread from a basement in ancient bottles,
the oldest known rum in the world.
You have to follow the money, to a manuscript lost between dueling nuclear powers.
We don't know what it is yet.
So it changed everything.
I'm Mark Fennell. Join me for the new season of Stuff the British Stole. You can find it now on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Jordan dodging and weaving away from Dawson. Hand pass to Langdon. Over the top to Neil Bullen. Wants to chip it inside 50. He's got Chandler all on his own. Pushing forward, he marks in the left forward pocket. Comes in from 45 out. It's a good kick from Chandler. He's in celebration mode.
Kazai picking the centre bounce clearance eventually. Kicks out wide to Bonnie. Hand pass to Sparrow. Links up with Brayshaw. Kicks to Melcham. He marks just outside the goal square. Melcham hooks across the body. whacks it through.
Max Gordon from the side. Can't take the mark. Pickett with a volley forward to Neil Bullen. Everything's clicking for Melbourne. Kick inside 50. Brown slipped over. Spoiled away by Butts. Onto it, a chance for Chandler. Hand pass to Melcham. Snaps on goal. Bounces it through. Melbourne clicking on all gears now.
Gawn wins it down, straight to Crouch. Hand pass away to Cook. He gives it to Sloane. Hooks a kick to the top of the goal square. Skidding through Rivers. Can't trap it. Here's Rankin. Sockers it through from the top of the goal square. Adelaide still alive in this game.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Sunday afternoon footy from the MCG. Great to have your company on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. So much is available there. The game this afternoon between North Melbourne and St Kilda. If you're looking for the first half of that match, it's on the ABC Listen app. Just search for the AFL Extra button. And earlier today, it was a 40-point win for GWS, 15-13, 103 to the Suns, 9-9, 63. Toby Green led the way with 3 goals for. Jack Lukosius with 3 goals for the Suns. Brent Daniels with 2 goals for GWS, and it means the Giants are inside the AFL's top 8. They bump Richmond out for the moment, and a chance to try and really secure their first final series under Adam Kingsley. They're coming good at the right time of the season, Lids.
No, they certainly are. Basing a lot of their game and the game style of pressure, a bit not unlike probably the Richmond game style back when they were in their era. So it's really apply pressure, and they've got the talent though that goes with that. So when you get your talented players doing that as well, it bodes well for them, and they're reaping the rewards at the moment.
And the Saints can jump back inside the top 8 at Carlton's expense if they're victorious this afternoon against the Roos. Of course, there's matches in the NRL this afternoon. Coverage is also available on the ABC Listen app if you want to tune in. This afternoon it was the Penrith Panthers who prevailed 44-18 over the Bulldogs, so winners by 26 points. In the later match, it's the Manly Seagulls who lead the Cronulla Sharks 10-0. 28 minutes gone in the first half there in the final match of the weekend's National Rugby League. In the cricket, Australia 5 for 214, trailing by 61 runs. Our former cricketers Brett Delidio and Mark Murphy with their thoughts in just a moment. But Mitch Marsh is on 31, Cameron Green is on 3, Marnus Labuschagne with his 11th international century. He's second overseas, and he's provided the platform for Australia there. They're still in it for the minute and hoping that weather will play a part again tonight.
What's the forecast tonight? Is it heavy rain again?
Same as yesterday, yeah. So the forecast yesterday was wrong. Said it was going to rain all day. They obviously got 2.5 hours in, 30 overs.
Session, 30 overs.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, even though it's forecast to rain tonight, there's no guarantee it will.
We've just got to hold on, don't we?
So they can't start play earlier over there, is that right?
Yeah, they add time on later in the day rather than earlier.
So I think they can play till about 7:30 at night, but you have the issue around lights, as we had yesterday, that England finally got the umpires to change the ball, 1 over of swing, and then all of a sudden they came and said the light wasn't great. Joel Wilson with his sunglasses on, the prescription glasses, which probably isn't the best look. And as it turns out, Joe Root was able to pick up a wicket, and it all ended up working out okay.
It might work out perfectly if Australia have to bowl, obviously, and England have to get the runs. And we can't see it, so you need a bowling spinner, and we don't have a spinner. So it's game over.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, or someone...
So Smudge can't come on and roll his...
We say he's got a sore shoulder.
Travis.
Or Labuschagne.
Well, that was the argument that Ben Stokes could have said, well, you know what, if I can't bowl my fast, we might as well go off. Which I don't think would have ended up helping England's causes, and that would have played right into what Australia wanted. So, the tactics, the captaincy has been so closely scrutinised. Of course, the Grandstand Cricket podcast is available under the best of ABC Sport, with Corbin Minimas and Ed Cowan wrapping up all the events at the end of this 4th test as to whether Australia retain the urn or the series is locked at 2 apiece heading into the final test. This is of course, Grandstand AFL Sunday there as well under the best of ABC Sport, and the lead yesterday featuring Marcus Bontempelli and the interim Richmond coach Andrew McWalter. It's all there for you under the best of ABC Sport, wherever you get your podcast from. The disappointing news earlier today was the confirmation that Will Ashcroft has suffered an ACL, the Rising Star favourite.
Still think he wins it.
Leaves some big shoes, doesn't it, for the Brisbane Lions, who have added, obviously, he and Josh Dunkley this season.
Yeah.
Part of their expanded midfield that's had such a great start to the season.
Yeah, it's terrible news, and you don't want to see anyone do a knee, let alone a first-year player who's such such been so important for Brisbane this year. It's a big loss for Brisbane as well. He's played some really good football. He's one of those midfielders who just looks like he has more time with the football than most, and he gets forward and gets dangerous and kicks goals. So he'll be sorely missed for Brisbane's chance of going on deep in September as well. But yeah, thinking of the young fella and his family, tough period to go through, but I'm sure he'll come back stronger and bigger after his time out from the game. He's obviously a real professional and really diligent with the way in which he goes about his football, so I'm sure he'll come back bigger and stronger.
In the British Open at Royal Liverpool, it's American golfer Brian Harman who holds a 5-stroke lead heading into the final round. A third round of 2 under par 69 put him clear of fellow American Cameron Young and world number 3 John Rahm. So the best of the Australians was Jason Day, who's tied at 4th position, while last year's champion Cameron Smith is tied in 24th position. Tour de France is starting to reach the business end of the event, and the Women's FIFA World Cup coverage on the ABC Listen app for all the Matildas games. So their next match comes up on Thursday night, in the match taking place this afternoon. Sweden and South Africa, it's 1-1 after 84 minutes. Netherlands and Portugal on later on this afternoon, and France and Jamaica tonight. So Ned Hall is leading up our commentary team, but coverage of so many of the Women's World Cup matches, including all the Australian, the Matildas matches, is available on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the World Cup button. The players have made their way back out onto the MCG, the Crows and the Demons. Adelaide will feel like they had a good finish to the half, but Melbourne will feel like when they can have a period like they did at the start of the second quarter, they can put on 4 goals in 13 minutes and they might be able to blow Adelaide off the park.
Well, and that's what they need to do early in this third, I think, to put this game almost out of reach for Adelaide. But, geez, I'll tell you, I haven't seen anything just yet other than that little burst of 4 or 5 minutes where they did go bang-bang to suggest that they're going to do that, Murph. And I think, it's down to those couple of players we mentioned just before the break, Worrell and Murray, their ability to intercept, but it's also the pressure that they're just applying in and around the footy. That's what's keeping them in this. It gets them better looks on goal. They're certainly well within this game.
Oh, certainly. I think Melbourne's best is much better than Adelaide's best. So if they're allowed to play the type of football that they did for that 15-minute period, then Melbourne in that second quarter, they'll be just too strong for them. But conversely, if Adelaide bring their pressure and their hunt, which they've shown at times throughout this year, they're really strong at, and then get these opportunities inside 50, but they get the ball deeper and some scoring opportunities a bit easier than what they were in that first half, where they were getting those shots, as Lids was saying, wider and further out. If they can get the ball in and have great composure going inside 50 and hitting up those leads and getting 1v1 opportunities, you never know. But I was really impressed by the way in which Adelaide fought back at the back half of that second quarter. Be a really important start here to start the third.
Tell you what, I reckon Brodie Grundy would nearly do a better job than Big Benny Brown. Though we've got to give a little shout out to Butts. I reckon he's played a terrific game on him so far, kept him to just a 2 disposals. So I tell you what, if you're watching Brodie and you had a good game yesterday, there'll be a chance.
Kicked 1-3 yesterday in their VFL match. And Darcy Fogarty with just the 3 disposals yet to hit the scoreboard, so they'd love a bit more out of some of their main men, Adelaide, inside their forward 50. Melbourne by 13 points. Into the second half we go.
Ruck Sherritt in the middle, comes down to Dawson of the Crows as he runs and waits for a runner to pass him by. Gives it to Hinge off the back edge of the square. Deep kick forward and intercept mark for Lever. That's what he does in the defensive arc for Melbourne. D's by 13 points. Crows have kicked the last 2. Melbourne did lead the game by as many as 29. Long kick to that outer wing. Spills down off the pack. Melksham knocks it away to Chandler. Short kick down the wing. Van Rooyen collects. Hand pass to the runner Pickett. His handball missed Sparrow. Picked up by Brodie Smith. Pickett tackles him. Rips the footy from him. Short kick to Chandler. Involved again in the chain. Hand pass releases. Langdon runs, carries, pulls his kick inboard. Viney the one-hander. Takes the juggled mark. 15 out right forward pocket.
Good bit of play, wasn't it, to run the ball in? I wasn't sure where he was going with that kick though, Murph. It sort of looked a little bit like he's had so many options. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go for. Luckily, Viney was good enough. Stuck the mid out and it just bounced up nicely for him.
A strong work rate from Jack Viney then from the stoppage, just getting hard forward. Really important that these midfielders run hard, trying to get on the end of them.
He's going to snap it from a slight angle, 15 out, left peg, through it goes. A time setter to start the second half for the Demons. They move to 7-4-46, Adelaide 3-9-27. A 19-point lead for the D's, 90 seconds into the third term. Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy.
I was just thinking about their last inside 50 entry, Adelaide. They just look like they need more support in the air for Tex Walker down there. It just feels like with Tomlinson and Lever and May, you might need to swing one of these key defenders for Adelaide up forward and just try and create a contest. At very worst, just bring the ball to ground because
they're very small down there at the moment, aren't they? Well, Fogarty, I suppose, is there, but where's Thilthorpe? Is he on the bench?
Well, it's tough because you've got McAdam who's had the job almost playing on Lever all day, and he's pretty 178, 180, just trying to do his best to bring the ball to ground. So whether or not you try and bring in Murray, who's currently playing on Melksham, down back up forward and try and get him to try and clunk a few.
Melbourne with the opening goal of the second half. Gawn wins down the tap, unable to take it. Dawson, and Petrarca's onto it, takes a bounce through the middle, hand pass to Sparrow, back to Petrarca to finish. Good pressure from Riley O'Brien. The big ruckman just put a lingering tackle at the end, put Petrarca off his kick, and it bounces out of play up against the left behind post.
Impressive from O'Brien, wasn't it? Out of the centre to then chase a midfielder down, just put enough pressure on.
Petrarca's smiling, he didn't think the ruckman could catch him. Was able to put a glove on him, thrown back in. Van Rooyen wins down the tap towards Melksham. Can't get a disposal away. Butts his hand pass to O'Brien. Trying to win in. Down hard low was Matt Crouch. Footy stuck is underneath Petrarca. And Brodie Smith comes over the top of Jordan Dawson, and the umpire will pull it up.
Tees by 19 points. Another forward 50 stoppage. O'Brien swats it down, but Van Rooyen's got it for Melbourne. Hand pass away to Hunter. Look away, hand pass over his shoulder. Viney knocks it away for the D's. Van Rooyen's on it again. Same three players. Hand pass to Hunter. Sweeping hand pass touched on the way through. And Cook for the Crows. Away to Crouch to Brodie Smith. Hand pass to Hinge, and now back to Butts. Kicks down the line. Gawn hands to it, no mark. Spills to McAdam. He's tackled, dispossessed. Ball comes out, up says play on. Fogarty, hand pass to Schonberg. Short kick to Pedler. He marks and he's taken down and slowed up by Salem. Has it on the members' wing for the Crows.
He's darting into the middle of the MCG. No obvious short options. So Luke Pedler on the left sends it long in the direction of Walker. Wrestling with Lever. The two former teammates, it spills to the back. McVie punches it forward. Tough bounce for Fogarty. Onto it Brayshaw. Almost run down by Rankin. Gets a kick out to Salem. Just found a second when he needed it most to deliver this kick. And Christian Salem marks it left half back. Melbourne 7-4-46 to Adelaide 3-9-27. 4 minutes gone, third term. Christian Salem looks up the members' wing. Waiting for it is Dawson. He marks uncontested in the end. Van Rooyen couldn't get there to lay a glove.
What a season he's had, the Adelaide captain. Cool afternoon, 12 degrees. 23rd of July. As the kick from Dawson is not a good one.
It's almost like a kick for touch, wasn't it?
Yeah, rolls out of play, 70 out from the Crows goal.
Just trying to set up rather than just kicking it long into the Melbourne defenders who love the ball high and long.
Mark Murphy on Grandstand AFL alongside Brett Delidio, Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch and Ian Cohen on the boundary. From the throw-in, Gawn wins it down. Straight to Crouch though. Hand pass away to Dawson. Handball to Millerer. Back to Cook, who kicks to the top of the goal square. May spoils. Live footy forward 50 for the Crows. McAdam picks it up. Schonberg was held. It's coming back to Harry Schonberg. He was tackled, trying to pick up the footy.
I don't think so.
Had Hunter sweating on him, and the ump says that's a free for the Crows.
I think because he lost his footing, that looked like he was pulled further off the ball than what he actually was. Hunter was sweating on him, but not a lot in that one. Feel a bit hard done by, I think. But he this goal though, the Crows.
Played one game since round 7. Harry Schonberg, drop punt, can't squeeze it through. Gee, they've been wayward with the set shots today, Adelaide. You can make that 1 goal 7. Their set shot kicking, and they haven't been the most difficult chances. 3-10 to 7-4. Melbourne by 3 goals, 6 minutes into the third.
Stephen May looking to bring Melbourne back into play. The Saints are the opening 2 goals of the match through Owens and Sinclair against the Kangaroos. We'll take you there for the second half. May long down the middle of the crowd, and Max Gawn takes the mark in front of Worrell. Gets to his feet, spots a free man in Chandler in the middle of the ground. Takes the mark to the right of the centre circles. He's got Salem free on the members' side. He spots him now, sends it out in that direction. He has Hunter further afield. This is some loose checking from the Adelaide Crows. Hunter takes the mark at left half forward. Had Neil Bull into the pocket, missed him. Over the hand of Ben Brown, and Cozzy Pickett takes the mark. Left forward pocket, 10 metres in from the boundary. He's 35 metres out from goal.
Well, it's an effective kick, but I don't reckon he was going for Cozzy, was he?
Nope.
No.
Cozzy Pickett, few steps out on the right, snaps around his body. A superb finish for Melbourne's number 36. The Demons with the opening 2 goals of the third quarter to extend their lead back out to 24 points. Melbourne 8-4, 52 to Adelaide 3-10, 28. 7 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
It was a nice pure strike of the football there by Cozzy Pickett, but I really enjoy when Melbourne just goes straight up the guts to Max Gawn and they just get numbers at the fall of the ball. Then he was able to take that contested mark, and then it was just basically just a change of angles. And
it was a bit slow though from the Crows, wasn't it, to actually get up there and defend, because Salem free, then Hunter all by himself, and he just had time.
They just expected it to go long, didn't they?
Yeah.
So rather than cover off those small little outlets like they have been doing today quite well, Adelaide, they just sort of zoned off a little bit too much there and guarded a bit of grass, and Melbourne was smart enough to use the free and just build it up.
Melbourne 7 goals 2 from their set shots today. Adelaide a 1 goal 7. A little bit of the game right there. 24 points Melbourne's lead as Gawn palms it down. Sparrow passing through, held up straight away. Tackle from Dawson. Do it all again alongside the centre circles. Giants winners earlier today by 40 points over the Sun, so they're 6th on the premiership table as it sits at the moment. From the restart, Langdon hand pass away to his mate Brayshaw, kicks to half forward, Chandler's onto it, high ball out wide, close to the boundary line. Melcham makes contact on Murray. The ball carries out of play anyway. It's out on the full. I mentioned Ben Brown's barely sided so far today, Lidge. Just the 2 kicks. Oh, Murray, dangerous ball. Goes all the way back across the goal face, finds Miller. Short kick to half back, and then Curvis marks for Adelaide.
Now pass out to Miller and left half back. Cozzy Pickett almost got him. Breaks the tackle. Doesn't get a second look. Pickett got him. Swooping onto it as Langdon. A centering kick over the head of Brown. Almost takes the mark. Spoiled away by Murray. Schomburg gathers for the Crows. Hand pass to Cook. Looks out to left half back. Murphy takes the mark. Melbourne almost looked like they had it inside 50. But the Crows repelled through Murphy up towards Thilthorpe. Had a big piece of it before Gawn came late to spoil. And the mark is paid as Max Gawn stumbles over the top.
Yeah, professionally.
Of the young Crow, just restricting him from getting up. The 21-year-old Riley Thilthorpe in his 3rd season.
They tend to be a little bit clumsy, the ruckman, don't they, getting up?
Oh, inboard he comes and finds Sloan. It's just wide of Bowie. And Rory Sloan wants to switch it out to the southern side, where the mark is taken by Murray. He sidesteps Ben Brown, gains a few metres, sends it long inside 50. Walker's the target, Lever marks in front. And all eyes are on Tex Walker when Adelaide go inside 50. It makes it easy to cut it off.
No, it's just not the entry. They need to get the ball a bit further up the ground before they get it in long. It's easy for Lever to come off and intercept, and May and Tomlinson. They just love the ball being banged in.
Lever to Brown, and then an ineffective kick trying to find Pickett. Hinge knocks it away. So Ben Brown, this is his 4th game back. He's kicked only 2 goals since being recalled. The 30-year-old premiership forward. He's had just the 3 kicks today. None of them leading to a score. From the boundary throw-in, Gawn palms it down. Schomburg, bottom of the pack, extracts it, but straight to Sparrow of the Demons. Hand pass to Brayshaw, handball out wide for Gawn. Feeds it along the boundary line, and in the end, Nankervis collects and is pushed out of play. It's Luke Nankervis for Adelaide, the 20-year-old on debut this afternoon. It's Melbourne who lead the game by 24. They've kicked the first 2 goals of the second half, which is about 11 minutes old this third quarter.
Thrown back in, Gawn wins down the tap against O'Brien to Brayshaw, kicks towards half forward. Melcham has it swatted away by Bunce onto it. Miller, hand pass it straight to Petrarca, who swings onto his right, bounces on goal and misses to the right hand side. Lucky not to pay the cost there. Wayne Miller is loose hand pass. Melbourne lead by 25 points.
Quick kick back into Hinge. The former line sends his kick out to half-back but turns it over. And Taj Woden takes the intercept mark. His first goal in AFL footy last week against the Lions in his 2nd game. He lays it up top of the goal square. Big pack mark for Hinge. Stood in front of all the Giants who are coming behind him.
They back themselves, don't they, Corb? Down there in the last line. Love it.
A nice year. Mitch Hinge goes short to Butts. Got it against the boundary line. Back pocket for the Crows. D's by 25. Oh, Butt's told to go. Forced to kick under pressure and puts it straight out on the full. Tajway Woden, that big heavy number 40. He's actually offered number 22, which is the number his old man wore, and turned it down. Didn't want it. Make his own run at it. He turns it over here, unfortunately, and Nankervis with the intercept mark, halfback for Adelaide.
Debutant switches it to the left back pocket where Josh Worrell marks, sends it up to the southern wing out in front of Jones. Chase Jones runs onto it, chasing him as Langdon lays the tackle, gets a kick up the southern wing. Tomlinson takes it in front of Walker, hand pass to McVeigh, sidesteps around Ben Keys, sends it back up the wing. Ben Brown comes crashing out, brings it down to Petrarca, hand pass to Rivers, breaks away from the Schoenberg tackle, hand pass to Neil Bullen at 50, inside 50 to Chandler, has two already, spots up Cosy Pickett, who marks in almost the identical place in which he kicked his first. He'll waste no time, swings out on the right, it's curling back. Not enough. Wrong side of the right goalpost and a minor score. The Demons leading by 26 points. It could have been a few more in this third quarter.
He should have just settled then, Cosy Pickett. Exactly the same shot that he had about 5 minutes earlier. Just take his time and go back rather than rush himself.
Jones goes on a bit of a trot and then kicks long up to the wing. Murray flies for it, no mark. Fogarty sits on top of it, he's tackled. The ball up on the wing. Docklands clinchy, 8 minutes to go in the first quarter. 2 goals, 12 apiece, Saints and North. And Bradley Hill out of the game, so involved in what looked like a rather innocuous bump. Looked like it took the wind out of him. Unfortunately, it may have shaken him up a little more than that, so he's already changed. He's in his civvies and his day's done, so St Kilda making their sub in the first quarter. And the restart here at the G. Melbourne by 26. Chase Jones with the clearance. Kicks down the wing. Tomlinson turns Dilthorpe inside out. It's a hand pass away to Hunter for the Demons. Short kick to Brayshaw. He marks right on halfway.
Hand pass to Hunter. Draws an opponent and gives the hand pass to Salem. Up towards Ben Brown. He takes the mark. Left half forward. Possession number 4 coming up into the pocket for Melcham. Can't hang on. Cosy Pickett swoops in. Battling with Nankervis. Pickett found another gear. Swings onto the right. What a finish. Hard to stop Cosy Pickett when he's in this sort of mood. Missed the set shot a few minutes ago. There was no stopping him once the ball hit the deck. And Melbourne lead by 32 points as Pickett kicks his second. The South Australian having shown his skills. Cosy Pickett, and now with a couple of goals here at the MCG. Melbourne 9-660 to Adelaide 3-10-28. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
It's been a funny day for the crowd here at the MCG. It's almost like they had too much Sunday roast for dinner. They've been having a sleep on the couch with one eye on the footy and just getting stirred every now and again with a couple of goals. Suddenly Cosy Pickett's there and we're awake. The eyes are open. We might be doing some cheering. Funny day at the MCG.
Hopefully he keeps doing that too, Cozy, because he's woken us up a little bit too. It's been fantastic from Cosy. They've lifted their rating though, I reckon, the D's. Their tackle pressure's gone up a notch.
Third time today a player's kicked back-to-back goals in the game. So Pickett with the last 2. Earlier Chandler and Melksham both kicked back-to-back goals. Sloan with the centre break here. Kicks to centre half forward. Keys in front. Hear a whistle on play? No, the umpire says play on, and now we've got a ball up. Half forward for Adelaide. That's a new game high too. 32 points Melbourne's way. Halfway through the third quarter. And Adelaide 1 goal 7 this afternoon from the set shot, so they haven't helped themselves when they've had opportunities. From the restart, Gawn wins it down. Langdon's hand pass back in dispute. Clever from McVeigh. Crucial touch. Knocks it back to Langdon. Hand pass to Hunter. Tumbles a kick out to Chandler. Tried to knock it forward. Brodie Smith there for the Crows to intercept. Keeps it in the front half. 1-2 with Miller. Kicks across the ground and then Curvis marks. Outer edge of the centre square.
Oh, trying to squeeze a kick forward to O'Brien. Van Rooyen slides in, takes the mark. Hand pass around the back to Brayshaw. Looks up towards Ben Brown. Can he get it to him? Butts in from the side. Gets a fist on there. Spoils it out. Nankervis gathers. Keen to redeem himself. He chips it forward. And Jones takes the mark. Between wing and half back for the Adelaide Crows. They're 3-10-28. It's Melbourne 9-660. Comes back in more to Murray, who's going to go back inside the defensive 50 to Worrell. Works it now to centre half back to Butts. He's got Wayne Miller all on his own. Members side at right half back. He takes the mark.
It was good to see from Nankervis before. Made the error by foot, but then worked really hard back to support his defenders and be on the end of that turnover.
Up towards Ben Keys, who marks middle of the members' wing. Swings onto his left, kicks towards Rankin. And McAdam flies, brought it down to the front. Rankin swoops onto it, fires on goal, and he's got it. First goal for the Crows since the 27-minute mark of the second term. And that came through Isaac Rankin. He has 3. He's the one-man show for the Adelaide Crows. 3 of their 4 goals in the match. And the margin is back to 26 points Melbourne's way. 9-6-60 to Adelaide 4-10-34. 17 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
I'll be very thankful Adelaide's recruiters getting Isaac Rankin across. He's just a class above at the moment. Got Cozzy picking up one end, who just moves unbelievably well. Isaac Rankin's on a similar type page in terms of just being there at the right time. Just his forward craft there to hit the front and centre from the side, and then just to steady up and kick a relatively easy goal. Just got this innate ability to be at the right time, the right place.
Mark Murphy on grandstand AFL. Melbourne by 26. Restart back in the middle. Van Rooyen leaps up, wins the hit out, but Crows go forward again. Crouch with the break. Kicks to half forward. Tomlinson spoils. Bowie grabs it for Melbourne. Jams it on his non-preferred left boot. Bouncing footy down the wing. Here's Sparrow. Collects. Taken high. The tackle from Crouch will get it on the wing. Number 32. Handball off to Bowie. Red goes faster as he goes flying away through the middle. Short kick to Woden. Woden turns, kicks inside himself to Neil Bullen, who marks. Centre half forward, 35 out.
Yeah, foot skills on show there, wasn't it, Murph? The ability, Bowie just to lower his eyes and hit that little one, keep going. But it was a beautiful pass to Neil Bullen.
Yeah, Woden wasn't it? Who took 5 or 6 metres, just took that grass in front of him and just put a lot of doubt in the Adelaide defenders up the ground about where he was going to use the ball next, and then just spear one straight at Neil Bullen's chest.
In he comes. Neil Bullen to get that goal straight back. He knocks it through. And Melbourne restore a 32-point buffer. 19 gone, third term. 10-6 to 4-2. Just snuffs out any kind of momentum the Crows are trying to build.
Yeah, it was. They had that chance, didn't they, to try and nullify that ball and get it back inside their forward 50, but been really impressed with Tomlinson today and his job that he's done on Fogarty. He just has not had a sniff, Fogarty, today. Would love to see him work, just to get involved, to hit higher up the ground maybe to try and work over. The problem is Tomlinson's got a huge tank. Know that from experience playing up there at the Giants with him, but their foot skills then on show from Melbourne, getting back to that real prime time of the D's when they were at their best. Bowie coming off half back. Woden we saw there. Just the space that Neil Bullen was able to find in forward 50. That's what would not please Matty Nicks.
Voice of Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport at Docklands. It's the Saints 3-2-20 leading North Melbourne 2 straight 12. Approaching quarter time there. We'll take you there for the second half. Back in the middle, a chance for Jordan. Can't break the tackle. He's penalised holding the ball. Just as Viney was about to break clear, Matt Crouch gave the hand pass to Dawson. Heard the voice. Kicks out to the southern wing. Picking it up Sloan. Almost a little bit slow in his transition. The kick towards half forward. Rivers spoils it away from Pedler. And out of play.
It's a poor entry. Going so deep.
The wings sometimes, Adelaide, don't they?
They didn't need to go that handball to Dawson, I don't think.
No, get that free kick in the centre of the ground. If you get an overlap handball and get it going straight and try and get it within 25, 30 metres out from goal, that's the ideal spot. Not out there on the 50 emblem.
Adelaide with just the 2 goal scorers. Isaac Rankin with 3, but midfield work like that doesn't help your forwards. Back inside the defensive 50 for Melbourne. Rivers bounces off an opponent, kicks up towards Pickett. Almost what a mark. He hit the ground awkwardly. As did Schomburg for the Crows. Spills into the middle of the ground. Miller with a hand pass to Nankervis inside 50. Bounced off the chest of Tomlinson like he was the leading forward with Fogarty behind him. Now Hunter trying to break a tackle. He's locked up by 2 Crows. Centre half back for the Demons.
What happened there? Just lost it in the lights, or?
He lost his arms.
Barrel chested it. Watermelon seeds all over his chest. 32-point lead.
Oh, wow.
For the Demons. Rankin, clean from the stoppage. Takes it out. Hands it to Jones. He shoots goalward but misses on the run. And behind for Chase Jones. Happy with that bit of work at the stoppage, Murph?
Oh, just knows where to position himself, doesn't he, Isaac Rankin? Just around the stoppage there. Just the smooth movement. Just the one step
Oh, May went short, trying to find Rivers. It spills away on Murphy. Swings onto his left and puts it through for Adelaide's 5th goal of the match. An unforced error from Melbourne on the last line. And Adelaide will take that. Lockie Murphy becomes their 3rd individual goal kicker. Wasn't originally part of the selected slide. It was a late inclusion. With Parnell and McHenry both out. And Adelaide are able to get one against the trend. Melbourne by 25 points, 10-6-66 to Adelaide 5-11-41. It's 4 goals to 2 Melbourne's way in this 3rd quarter.
Still a bit of life left in this Lids. They're up and about at the moment.
25
Adelaide.
points.
25 points, but they just feel that the energy is still there from Adelaide. The last couple of goals are getting around each other, supporting one another. Usually when you're this far down, sometimes you can just go through the motions a little bit. So good to see some energy from Adelaide.
Joel Smith and Jackson Haitley, the 2 subs, neither of them used so far. Has gone, pumps it down to Brayshaw, trying to swing a kick forward. Keys goes in, collects for Adelaide. Hand pass to Brodie Smith. Jams it on the boot up into the front half. Salem went without it. There's Lockie Murphy again. Hand pass ends up with Sparrow. His hand pass, a turnover. Here's Rankin racing away through traffic. Kicks to half forward, up strong. Fogarty taken high by Tomlinson. Free kick Adelaide, and Fogarty's going to get it right half forward. Mark Murphy, who's called a comeback already, and now Darcy Fogarty's going to get a set shot here just outside the 50. He'll kick from.
Just saying there's a little bit of life still in this, Corbin.
Well, a few more brain farts from Melbourne and they'll be a chance. Yeah, they just handballing it straight to the Crows, giving it back to them. Stephen May kicking it to him from full back.
Has been known from here, and especially listeners will know it's the shortest way home this side of the ground.
The set shot kicking's been wayward today. Darcy Fogarty strikes it clean, sneaks it through to kick it into gear. Here come the Crows. They've kicked 3 of the last 4, and Melbourne's lead cut to 19. 24 gone, 3rd term. Adelaide moved to 6-11-47. Melbourne 10-6-66. Mark Murphy, Brett Delidio, Grandstand AFL. How about that, Murph?
Oh, Murph, what are you doing? That was a fantastic kick from Fogarty, given where they've been so far, the Crows, and their inability to kick a set shot. Corbin has absolutely thrown Murph under the bus. Mouthful of jam donut. But how good's that strike from Darcy Fogarty from outside 50 on the angle? Just snuck it home.
Don't choke on us, Murph.
And my eyes are watering because I was trying to speak, but I had a full mouth of donut. I didn't expect him to kick it.
That's what you need friends like that for. O'Brien wins down the tap. Dawson almost broke away, holding the ball. Tackle lane. Sparrow takes the free kick from Melbourne to Viney inside 50. Neil Bullen was racing back to goal, and Hinge takes the intercepting mark for Adelaide. Floats the kick out towards half-back. Schomburg couldn't hang on to it. Langdon spoiled it down. Brodie Smith trying to provide good support. In the end, Schomburg did it all himself. Sends it up towards the wing. Great mark. One-handed by McAdam. Leaning back like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and then a great kick that spots up Fogarty leading up, who all of a sudden is starting to grow in confidence.
He's done well a couple of times, McAdam, on that matchup we've talked about with Lever. Today in the air, he's always going to be undersized, but he's just fought through it a couple of times, and on that occasion takes the mark and then just wheels around and just identifies a space in front of Fogarty. Great ball use inside 50.
Why are you going hot, Murph? Does he kick it?
Of course he does.
Darcy Fogarty looking for back-to-back goals for both he and the Crows. Out to the left, 55 out, he lets fly. It's just to the left-hand side and a minor score. Melbourne's lead is 3 goals neat. 25 minutes gone, 3rd quarter, as this match has come to life at the MCG. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Jackson Haitley just warming up, waiting to see who the technical sub is going to be, but Jackson Haitley looks like he's going to be put into this game in this 3rd term for the Crows.
Thanks, Koza. Here's Bowie on the kick out, runs, takes a few metres, drives it up to the wing. At the drop is Neil Bullen, hand pass to Jordan, hurried handball away to Brayshaw. Finally bowled over by Millerer. Millerer wins the footy, hand pass knocked down, spills to Schomburg. He can kick it forward for the Crows, a set of one-on-ones. Hand to it from Pedler, no mark. 3 of them went down, Bowie keeps his feet, wins the footy, kids. Hand pass away to Sparrow. Handball to McVee. Gives it to Salem. Kicks down the wing. And there's Petrarca hitting up to take the mark. Shakes Hinge. Moves it on by hand. Neil Bullen 70 out. Kicks it deep. The Roo Van Rooyen flies. No mark. Falls down to Ben Brown. Chucks it on the boot. There's Max Gawn. He marks 15 out. 45-degree angle. And Max with a big-time kick late in the third term here for the Demons.
Well done, Jacob Van Rooyen, initially to make the contest, but then also well done, Ben Brown. We've been on his back a little bit in this quarter, but went back to where the fall of the ball was and didn't blaze away. That's what I liked. His ability just to see Max Gawn, who's drifted forward, find him for a nice, easy little set shot here. Only about 25 metres out.
Crows with a bit of momentum. They fell behind by a game-high 32. They've kicked 3 of the last 4. And Max Gawn, the captain for Melbourne, moves in, settles this game down. Through it goes, post high. And Melbourne back out by 24 points on the stroke of three-quarter time. 11-6-72, Adelaide 6-12-48. And Max Gawn kicks his second for the Demons.
Yeah, it was a big goal, that, because Adelaide have certainly had the run of play over the last 4 or 5 minutes, but as you said, great contest from the youngster there, just drawing 2 Adelaide defenders, just bringing the ball to ground, and great composure there by Benny Brown to find Max Gawn just sitting there about 15 metres out on a relatively easy angle. But he doesn't really like those ones a bit closer in, does he, Max? He loves them from 45 to 55, but good skipper's goal going back and putting that one through.
Mark Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Good to see the Reverend Neil Danaher's in the house this afternoon as Max Gawn kicked that second goal for him. A throw going Melbourne's way in the middle of the ground. And Christian Petrarca will take it. Releases Rivers with speed from half-back. Drives it long. Gawn thought about going back with the flight. Murray spoils it down. Miller is first onto it. Ran into a dead end. Now it's the challenge of Hinge. Hand pass to O'Brien. He works it out to Sloane. Kicks a long ball up to the southern wing. Charging out. McAdam trying to get involved. Got a fist to it. Fogarty gathers to the Crows. Hand pass to Dawson. He breaks the tackle they're on. He chips it further afield. Rankin's push forward. He marks in the left forward pocket. Has Keys in the corridor. Isaac Rankin might be thinking, I've kicked 3. I might be the best kick here.
No, he certainly is the best kick here. And great work rate by Isaac Rankin to get up the ground as well. And then once he realised that Adelaide were going to win the football, there's no point hovering around and just get forward hard towards your own goals. And Dawson, the skipper, just had the ability to have that composure to see him at the corner of his eye.
3 goals 2 for Isaac Rankin. This has been the area Adelaide has struggled. 2 goals 8 from set shots. It's out to the left from 45 metres out. Isaac Rankin comes in, leans back on it, and he misses. Could be a different game. 2-9 from set shots. Melbourne's lead is 23 points at the 29-minute mark of the third term.
Yeah, 19 scoring shots, 17 Adelaide's way, and yet the D's lead the game by 23. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, it looks like Jordan Butts is the man to make room for Jackson Haitley.
Praised his game early at Lids, but Butts out of the game. Haitley in, a bit more run. A long kick in the middle of the ground to Gawn. Takes a nice contested mark, lays it off to Petrarca. Kick smothered. Spills to Neil Bull, and he's rolled over in the tackle from Dawson. All fair, all okay, and we'll have a ball up on the wing.
He's not really a key position defender, is he? So you imagine Mitch Hinge might have more of a lockdown job.
Sub for Melbourne is Joel Smith, unused so far as we tick towards three-quarter time from the restart. Hunter, hand pass to Rivers, comes out wide with it to Viney. Kick looking for Brayshaw, can't complete the sprawling mark. Jones extracts it, hand pass to Haitley, the former Giant who's involved. Gives it to Dawson, short kick to Keys. Can Adelaide pinch one here before three-quarter time? Short kick inboard to Murphy. Handball away towards Sloane. Gives it to Haitley. Back to Murphy. Murphy goes long with the contest kick. Pack collapses. Ump says play on. Langdon back, saving the day. Hand pass to May. Dumps it on the boot, and Hunter marks at half back. Demons by 23 points. Half-hour mark. Third quarter.
Hunter around the wing, looking for Petrarca. Reaches up in front of Jones. Can't take the mark. Some appeals that there was a high tackle from Brayshaw on Haitley into the action, but the umpire didn't see it that way. So Haitley's the sub into the match. He's in the midfield alongside Jack Viney here as O'Brien wins down the tap. Non-officiating umpire's blowing his whistle just as Viney lays the tackle on Sloan, and Sloan's pushed into the MCG turf, and it's coming back to Max Gawn. Got the shove and the free kick, not the free kick, Rory Sloan. As Gawn kicks up to Van Rooyen, he's worked underneath it. Jones tried to take high contact from Petrarca with the tackle. The ball goes out of play and a boundary throw-in as Murray is slow to rise and he's going to hobble to the bench. Melbourne leading by 23 points.
Giants by 40 earlier today over the Suns, so they're in 6th spot. Richmond spent 24 hours in the 8, but they're out for the time being, and the Saints in action at the moment trying to win back their spot. They lead by 3 early in the second term. From the ball up here, Rivers, hand pass away to Brayshaw, kicks inside 50 for the D's. Van Rooyen trying to spoil, ball hits the deck, Pickett snaps, hits the post. Oh, Cozzy didn't take long, grabbed the footing, rolled onto his right side, hooked it goalward, just caught the woodwork halfway up. And as a result, it's the Demons who lead it by 24 points as we turn for home. 11-7 to 6-13. 73 plays 49. Melbourne by 24 points. Busy quarter. 5 goals to 3 Melbourne's way. So the Demons actually win the term after that hot start. They got it out by 32 points on 2 separate occasions. And Adelaide kicking 2 of the last 3 goals just to keep themselves in spitting distance. The goal kickers, Max Gawn's got 2 for Melksham, Pickett and Chandler, and then 1 for Van Rooyen, Viney and Neil Bullen. Meanwhile for Adelaide, 3 goals for Isaac Rankin and then 1 each for Murphy, Walker and Darcy Fogarty. Ian Cohen is on the boundary. Koza.
Yes, the man you call the fridge with a head has just been wheeled downstairs. They're obviously going to check out exactly what happened with Murray. It looked like an ankle or a lower leg injury. He clashed with Van Rooyen in the air, right on that near side wing, and has obviously got up hobbling. So we'll find out whether he takes part in the 4th term. But of course, Butts is out of the game already.
That's a huge injury, given the player they sub out. So they sub out Butts, who can play key back, and then they lose Murray with what do you say? Looks like an ankle injury. Ian just mentioned. So that's rotten luck for the Crows.
So 3/4 time here at the MCG, Melbourne by 24 points. Earlier it was the Giants recording their 6th win on the trot. 40-point winners over the Gold Coast Suns, in which Toby Green booted 3 goals, 15-13, 103 to the Suns 9-9-63. And just a couple of minutes into the second quarter at Docklands, it's the Saints 3-3-21, leading North Melbourne 3 straight 18. So the Roos able to answer back after the first 2 goals went the way of the Saints. So Ford, Larkey, a couple of goal scorers are now Taron Thomas for North Melbourne, while Mitch Owens has 2 for the Saints alongside Jack Sinclair. Great to have your company on Sunday afternoon footy on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Protecting our planet.
Breaking down barriers.
Supporting new migrants and refugees.
Lending a helping hand.
These are some of the ways we became Australians of the Year.
The Australian of the Year awards are nominated by you.
So come on, reflect, respect,
and celebrate
Australians who are making a real difference.
Nominate them now at australianoftheyear.org.au.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Salem up towards Ben Brown. He takes the mark. Left half forward. Possession number 4 coming up into the pocket for Melksham. Can't hang on. Cozzy Pickett swoops in. Battling with Nat Curvis. Pickett found another gear. Swings onto the right. What a finish. Hard to stop Cozzy Pickett when he's in this sort of mood. Up towards Ben Keys, who marks middle of the members' wing. Swings onto his left. Kicks towards Rankin. And McAdam flies. Brought it down to the front. Rankin swoops onto it. Fires on goal and he's got it. Oh, May went short trying to find Rivers. It spills away on Murphy. Swings onto his left and puts it through.
Here's Rankin racing away through traffic. Kicks to half forward up strong. Fogarty taken high by Tomlinson. Free kick Adelaide and Fogarty's going to get it right half forward. Darcy Fogarty strikes it clean. Sneaks it through to kick it into gear. Here come the Crows.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Highlights of the second quarter in which Adelaide got back within 19 points. They kicked 3 of 4 goals on the trot before Max Gawn steadied for the Demons with his second, and the Demons leading by 24 points at three-quarter time, 11-7-73 to Adelaide 6-13-49. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Ian Cohen is down on the boundary as we're admiring the Demons dash, which was exactly where we found Brett Delidio at three-quarter time yesterday in the match between Hawthorn and Richmond. He's alongside Mark Murphy.
Good to see a bloke get in front of the bloke dashing.
He cheated. My bloke, the Colonel, mate, he shot out of the blocks. And he had wheels, genuine wheels. Anyway, we won't go on with that. Let's go to this game, Murph.
Yeah, let's do it.
Mate, radio silence is not good. Anyway, we saw a little bit of a fight back, didn't we, Murph, in terms of the Crows and their ability. And we called out Dusty Fogarty and just said, mate, Can you get on your bike a bit more? Can you test out Adam Tomlinson? And he got a couple of shots and he got involved.
He called it.
Yeah, well, but he then... he created even some more scoring opportunities for his side. Rankin, if he hadn't knocked that one through, but it's been a bit of a shoulda, coulda, woulda day, hasn't it, for the Crows in front of goal. Had a lot of shots, just not able to finish their work, which would have made this game a hell of a lot closer. Just having a look at the highlights of Murray go down, hurt his ankle, gone down underneath, as we heard from Coase. It'd be interesting.
I think he's just come back up. Let's head back down to Ian Cohen.
Yes, he has. He's wandered up. He's got the left ankle very heavily strapped for Joel Smith, the other sub. On the other side, he's just headed downstairs, so he might be prepping and getting ready. The question is, who do you take off for the Melbourne Footy Club? But Nick Murray at least looks like he can partake in this final term.
Oh, that's good.
That's good news.
Dialogue with Matty Nix at the moment. He didn't look all that much confident when he made his way back out to the field. The team was being addressed by the coach and he just hung off the back.
Yeah.
Just kind of gave the indication he might not return, but looks a bit more promising there.
Well, we'll
so
see,
Adelaide, if they could find a spark, they wouldn't be that far out of the match, and yet it sort of feels like they've been their own worst enemies.
Yeah. But I think Melbourne have been a bit the same too, though. Like they've looked likely to break this game open, but then skill errors and little...
Just leaving the door ajar a little bit, aren't they?
100%.
Melbourne lead by 24 points as we head into the final term on ABC Sport. Gawn and O'Brien set themselves. Bounce which favours Gawn, who flicks it over the back, works it to Viney, kicks around his body, sends it towards Sparrow at half forward, can't pick it up cleanly. Brodie Smith right there with him. Smith on his back, tries to get a hand pass out, can't link up with a teammate. Onto it, Sparrow gets the hand pass to Viney for Melbourne, kicks inside 50. O'Brien getting back. The Crows ruckman takes the mark. Feeds the hand pass around the back to Worrell. No real clear indication where to go. So gives the hand pass to Nan Curvis, who now goes short. And Brodie Smith marks in the left back pocket. Inboard on the 45. A risky kick that found Hinge. Just in front of the tall Ben Brown. The kick through the middle of the ground. Found Millerer just over the fingertips of Petrarca. So maybe Adelaide with the intent to take it on. That's not a great hand pass to Jones. Hand pass back to Dawson. Links up with Miller at right half back. He looks around the southern side. The kick down low and the mark is taken by Haitley.
Jackson Haitley, the sub, swings a hand pass away to Dawson. Kicks from one side of the centre square to the other, and Cook marks. He turns and goes long inside the forward 50. McAdam's all alone. Hands to it. Mark's going to be paid. Got a nudge late from May. But McAdam had a heap of room 30 metres out from the Crows' goal and hangs on to it.
Now, judging by that play, I think I know exactly what Matty Nix has said. We want to go down swinging here. Rather go down by 7 or 8 goals, having a go at our kicks and going through the corridor rather than just losing the game of footy, which we saw a couple of weeks ago, Corbin against Essendon, where they just went down really slowly. So back themselves in, go through the corridor, get it quick out the back to your forwards.
2 goals, 9 from the set shots. McAdam moves in. No problem. Through it goes. And the Crows will not go quietly into the night. Melbourne's lead cut to 3 goals. Perfect start to the final term for the South Australians. It is Adelaide 7-3-55. Melbourne 11-7-73. That's 7-13-55 Adelaide. 2 minutes gone, final term.
I was trying to work out where the breakdown happened there. Watching from behind the goals, you can see Lieber press across to Taylor Walker, who'd worked really hard to try and provide an option for Braden Cook. But we know that McAdam's had the job on Lever all day.
He's done really well.
He has, but no one replaced. So McAdam just sat there all by himself. May come across late. I'm not sure where Tomlinson was with his man that just couldn't quite get to him. So well done to the Crows, and well done to McAdam and his job that he's done on Lever today.
And he's had the 10 disposals, kicked a goal, and Lever's only had the 5 disposals.
course, last week the Giants kicked 5 goals to 1 behind to win against the Crows. Back in the middle of the ground, Viney gets the clearance towards half forward. Pickett beaten by Chase Jones, sends it long towards half forward, clears to the back, Pedler knocks it past Walker, inside 50, fighting for it Rivers. Adelaide have the numbers, Keys onto it, kicks around his body, another one. Adelaide with 2 quick goals to start the final term inside 3 minutes. And the margin is back to 12 points. This could be just starting to get interesting. Melbourne 11-7-73 to Adelaide 8-13-61. Wasn't pretty, but they got it inside 50 and Keys was able to finish.
No, it wasn't pretty, but it was just getting yardage and getting the ball forward and then just putting your opponents under enormous pressure, and that's exactly what Adelaide did. I think it was Chase Jones off the half-back line who was streaming off the centre square bounce and just took the grass in front of him to get it as far and as long as he possibly could, and then it was just weight of numbers just coming forward of the football, just trying to knock it on forward, and then great pressure to disrupt the Melbourne defender, and great finish by Keys.
Mark Murphy on Grandstand AFL. Melbourne by 2 goals. Hot start for the Crows. First 3 minutes of this final term, they've kicked 2 in a row. Back in the middle, gone down to Brayshaw. Can't get boot the ball, trickles away to the front edge of the centre square. Hately extracts it off his knees to Crouch. Hand pass to Brodie Smith, handball to Dawson. Adelaide free through the middle of the ground. Gives it to Millerer, has a bounce, lays a hand pass out wide. Schomburg off balance. Kicks a high bomb into the forward pocket. He was dealt with after he got rid of it. Schomburg was cleaned up by Lever. Downfield free. Keys will get it, right forward pocket. Tight angle for the Crows.
Oh, well, it was downfield, but
there's a lot of
second
three
in it, wasn't it?
Inside the forward 50 for Melbourne. They had the 3, Adelaide had the 1, so it's a fortunate whistle. It was probably late by Lever.
Ben Keys, who kicked the last goal to make it 3 in 3 minutes. Yes! Adelaide are knocking on the door. From 32 points down, they're within a straight kick. And the Crows move to 9-13-67. Melbourne stalled on 11-7-73. 5 gone final term. Melbourne by just 6.
Well done Wayne Miller up there. His ability to come off half-back. But isn't it funny when you start to take the game on and take some risks, how the ball just bounces your way? That ball just popped up to Jordan Dawson as he's coming through. Then Miller, he's flying off half-back. I thought he could have gone potentially forward then, but then saw Schoenberg on the outside. Maybe a little bit fortuitous, that free kick. It was late. Maybe just try and put a tackle on there, Jakey Lever, I reckon. Or attempt to smother rather than bump. I never understood that one, Murph.
So Adelaide, despite Melbourne dominating the clearances, continue to charge. Gorn one down the tap. Dawson for the Crows, socks it out to the wing. Schomburg tried to hit it with speed. A chance for Melbourne though through Brayshaw. Hand pass away to Hunter, turned it straight over. Hand pass to Jones for the Crows. Inside 50, Lever comes charging out. Spoils it forward with a double fist. Straight to Salem. A good decision in the end. Worked it forward to Rivers, and now Hunter ringed in the turf. Jones lays the tackle. It's up right half forward for the Crows. Melbourne by 6 points. Ian Cohen.
Well, the Crows revival may have to happen without Nick Murray. He's gone back downstairs again. That lower leg injury still troubling him.
And that back line hasn't been tested yet. It's entirely been in the front half for Adelaide in this first 6-7 minutes of the final term. We've got repeat stoppages here. High half forward for Adelaide. Crows have only trailed at three-quarter time on 6 occasions this year. They haven't won any of the previous 5. Trying to reel in a 24-point deficit. They've made serious headway already. Crouch, hand pass away to Sloan, kicks inside 50. Walker shoved out of the way. Tomlinson kicks out of the defensive arc into the safe hands of Viney, who marks at half-back for Melbourne. Just a 6-point game. D's led it by 32 on 2 separate occasions in the third quarter. They lead it by just 6 now as Viney goes long with the contest. Kick down the wing. Gone out after it. Takes a powerful mark on the City wing. 5 in from the boundary line, right on halfway.
Viney skirts around the back, receives the hand pass from Gorn. From the southern side, sends it towards Melcham. Had to spoil from behind. Got it out of the hands of Sloan. Sloan first back on it though. Hand pass to Schomburg. Around the southern side to Matt Crouch. He chips a kick further afield and Fogarty marks. Schomburg kept running. He receives it back. 2 bounces as he runs the southern side. Gets to right half forward. Looks inside 50. Takes against the field. Lever in front. Spoils it down to May. Walker's back onto it. Somehow got it in the right forward pocket. An incredible goal. Tex Walker able to put through his second against the odds. And Adelaide all of a sudden a level. 73 apiece. The Demons 11-7, 73 to Adelaide 10-13, 73. The Crows with 4 goals in the opening 8 minutes of the final term.
Well, they've just got all the run at the moment, Adelaide. Just watching the last passes to play when Melbourne did have an opportunity to play an uncontested mark style of game. They just weren't working hard enough to try and create some numbers to just work the ball up the ground. They just bombed it and just hoped for the best. And on turnover, Adelaide just had all the run and just worked harder forward. And Melbourne did work back significantly well, but they just didn't get the ball out. They're just not getting the basics done well enough at the moment, Melbourne. They're not getting repeat stoppages to allowing Adelaide to play this run and gun ball movement.
They've led only 5 minutes of game time this afternoon, and that was way back in the first quarter. Adelaide scores level. Dawson first touch in the middle, hand pass and turnover. Viney got it out to half forward for the Demons. Onto it, Chandler turns, drives it, top of the goal square, huge mark. Joel Smith, the sub, his first involvement, pulls down a pack mark, and now he's going to be marched to the goal line. Crows penalised for the 50. And Joel Smith, what a loud start to this game. The towering mark from point blank range puts it through. Melbourne back up by a goal. And importantly, breaks the run of 4 consecutive Adelaide majors to start this final term. This game has sprung to life. We've had 5 goals in less than 10 minutes. 12-7, 79 Melbourne. Adelaide 10-13, 73. D's by 6. Ian Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, Joel Smith had just come on. Ben Brown is the man that is sitting in the back row now for the Demons. But Smith straight on and straight into it. And probably straight what the Demons needed as a little settler.
Yeah, absolutely, Koza. Couldn't have called it better. I think that what I love was Jack Viney's ability to fight and scrap from the centre bounce, get out, just get that handball free. Then Chandler playing his role as a half forward, gets it in there. And good way to enter the arena, isn't it? Take a big contested mark.
And sitting on the pine for 3 quarters and come in just to assert yourself in the contest. Well done, Joel Smith.
Channeling his old man as he's able to take a big mark. Gawn wins down the tap. Petrarca with the clearance. Hand pass to Jordan. Melbourne away with it once more. Jordan's long kick inside 50. Back with the flight now. Curvis. Good mark on debut. Hasn't looked out of place.
Has done some really nice things, Nankervis, today.
Short to Worrell. He marks at left half back for the Adelaide Crows. Members side. Turns and comes in more to Hinge. With Butts out of the match, having to play a more pivotal role rather than the loose defence creating the run. He'll receive it back here though with a kick to Keys. Hinge gets it back, sends it as far as he can to the southern wing. Sloane takes the mark, pushed out though Bowie. Free kick going Melbourne's way, and Bowie might have hurt his wrist here. Adelaide had kicked it forward, so Melbourne fans want 50. Jake Bowie in a fair bit of pain as he gets the free kick, middle of the southern wing.
Having a nice year, the 20-year-old. Oh, that's a daring kick. Got it into his intended target. That's Bowie finds Jordan. Middle of the G. D's by 6. Adelaide kicked the first 4 goals of this final term. Melbourne with the last. Adelaide come from 32 down to draw level moments ago. Before that, Joel Smith major. Kick comes wide from Gawn to Lever. He goes long down the line. Melksham the target. Gets to the drop. Takes the chest mark. That's a big one-on-one win. He stepped around Hinge. Oh, and Melksham's pointing to the sticks at the city end and says, I'll like my chances to the short end.
Well, it's not the short end.
It's been seen
also when you're in the centre of the ground, it's a bit shorter, McCorby, but not out here. It's a tough kick, even though it's near the race.
Has he got it in him?
No way, I don't think so. This is going on the top of the square.
Okay. So the man on the mark would be, what, a metre outside the 50?
It's a 55, 58 metre kick.
I'm going to clear the line.
Jake Melksham, 31-year-old Lex. He's kicked 2. He moves in, right on cue, lids, perfectly forecast, top of the goal square, hands to it from Petrarca. Oh. It's through to Smith. He's kicked 2 in 2 minutes. The super sub. And Smith is running to set up as if it's a behind. He thinks it was touched. The soft signal is touched, and the arc is going to decide this. It certainly floated through the middle, but this will be touched on the way through, and a 7-point lead for Melbourne, unless the video can overturn that theory.
It's going to be interesting to see whether or not Adelaide still play this really quick style ball movement. It's got them back into the game now. They're only 7 points down. Do they continue to take the game on and play on at all costs? Because that's what's got them into this game in this last quarter, is that run and handball, go through the corridor. I'd love them to keep on playing that way, but sometimes when you get a goal back within it, you just settle back down again.
I'm confident the vision will be inconclusive. Jackson Haitley's laying the smother on the 1%er. Soft calls are behind. Let's listen in. We'll get the feedback from the arc. Meanwhile, 4 to go before half-time at Docklands.
At these angles, there is insufficient evidence to say whether the ball has been touched or not. Decision on the scoreboard.
The self-call will stand, so behind. At Docklands, North by 7 points over St Kilda. So we'll take you there for the second half. At the completion of our game, but a behind for Melbourne. As they say in the classics, Clinchy, it's a handy point. It's a 7-point lead for Melbourne. 12-8 is 10-13. 13.5 gone final term.
Brett Ratton coaching against his former side, the Saints. So the Roo boys bringing their best. We'll take you there for the second half. The clearing kick for Adelaide up towards half-back. Rankin couldn't take the mark. Campos over his shoulder to Worrell. There's contact below the knees, though. It's a Melbourne free kick. Worrell had his head in the hole. Viney will take the free kick. He sends it long towards the teeth of goal. In front hinge. In fact, it was Rory Sloane, the blonde lookalike. Less known for flying across the front of Paxton. Turns it over. Touched off the boot. Langdon had to feed the hand pass back to May. A centering kick down low for Smith. Can't mark. Brayshaw's onto it. On the left, he misses. To the left-hand side. Melbourne by 8 points. 4 behinds of the season for Angus Brayshaw. Not a known goal kicker. Demons lead by 8 points.
Game's on the line, which means Jack Viney's come to play. He's had 7 disposals, 4 contested, 3 clearances, 2 inside 50s for the first 14 minutes of this final term. Melbourne by 8. Long driving kick up to Walker on the wing. No mark spills to Salem with the Demons. Out wide to Chandler. He gives it to Langdon. Kicks into the forward pocket. Worrell spoils but goes to ground. Pickett knocks it away to Joel Smith. Tight angle. Kicks top of the goal square. Woden takes the mark. The second generation Demon hangs on to it, top of the goal square.
It was well done by Lockie Hunter, who was playing on that far wing, who just engaged Brodie Smith, who was trying to
it's clever, wasn't it?
Contest the football. So just locked him down and allowed Woden to swing in front of him and take the mark.
Taj Woden, number 40 on his back for his second goal in AFL footy. He skips in. The son of a gun kicks it for Melbourne. D's with a comfortable lead. It's a 14-point break. 15.5 gone final term. Melbourne 13-9-87. Adelaide 10-13-73. Grandstand AFL. Brett Delidio, Mark Murphy.
Yeah, it was a clever play. It wasn't in that forward pocket. Smith really injected himself onto this game.
It's been good.
Yeah, probably could have had 2 goals, but then another goal assist, essentially, just popping it to the top of the goal square. But you made mention of Lockie Hunter, just a clever footballer, understood what he needed to do. Wasn't going to allow Brodie Smith, one, to jump if it was just him one-on-one, but could see Tajwa Woden all by himself, float across the front. A good finish from the young fella. Settled here, haven't they?
Roos by 13 points at Docklands over the Saints. We'll take you there for the second half. And Cohen on the boundary.
Yeah, real concerns for the Adelaide backline. Nick Murray's now got his knee strapped up and there's been several rotations. He hasn't been any of them.
Thanks, Koza. Brodie Smith trying to gather from the back edge of the centre square. Could have been Trip Millero. He will get the free kick. Gets to his feet. Has Jones running behind. He ignores him. Ran into Pickett. Has to get rid of the footy. Hand pass turns it over. Neil Pullen for Melbourne. Dodging and weaving through the middle of the MCG. Out in front of Chandler. He marks directly in front. 45 metres out from goal. They made a mess of that, the Crows.
Well, Cosy Pickett take a bow. Had a few opportunities today where he's run down and tackled and harassed and caused turnovers. Another one on that opportunity. Malira, I think it was again. I reckon he got him earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Up the other end of the ground. But
he's been on today, Cosy Pickett, hasn't he?
He's just been so clean with ball in hand. And then that just pressure, just to try and cause a turnover. Just terrific work.
Okay, Chandler kicked 2 goals in the second quarter. from pretty much directly in front, 45 metres out. He comes in, sets fly, he's got it. And Melbourne with the last 3 goals of the match with an emphatic response to Adelaide's challenge. The Demons by 20 points, 14-9-93 to Adelaide 10-13-73. The Demons with 3 goals to Adelaide's 4 in this final term.
Yeah, we made mention of Cozzy Pickett, his ability both sides of the footy today. I reckon that's what almost starts it for him. You know, you get involved defensively. Yeah. You know, if you're not going to sniff it, with kicks and handballs, get involved defensively. And he's tackled, he's chased. But it's not just always about the tackle. Sometimes it's just that implied pressure. Yeah. You know he's got wheels. He's going to hunt you down. But that was great.
He's the number 2 tackling player inside attacking 50 behind Lockie Schultz. So that's his bed and runner, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what brings so much energy to their forward line.
Back to 20 points, Melbourne's way after Adelaide drew level earlier in the term. Restart back in the middle. Thilthorpe wins it down. Crouch sockers it forward. Picked up here by Jordan. Hand pass ends up with Murphy, who's crunched in the tackle from Salem. Says ball up. Still in the centre square, of course. Melbourne still missing Clayton Oliver. This long run out of the team continues. Missing a 9th week, but an 8th game for a bloke that missed, one of the previous 145 from the stoppage. Sparrow kicks out to that outer wing. Picked up by Van Rooyen. Hand pass to Viney, who's been good in this final term. Kicks to half forward. Pickett grabs it under pressure. Hand pass to Smith. Tackled, taken down. Well, the ball up again right on the D's 50. In addition to that, Fritsch, McDonald, Petty, all out of this Demons team. They lead by 20 points. They've been held off a Adelaide challenge so far in this final term.
Thilthorpe wins down the tap for the Crows to Cook, back to Thilthorpe. Hand pass to Keys at right half back, feeds it back to Worrell. Kicks a long kick up the southern wing. Gawn's underneath it, wrestling with Fogarty, gets to the back, Walker gathers, kicks a barrel, it's going to work! Lands in the lap of Shane McAdam, a couple of metres in front of Lever, and Tomlinson was waiting for the kick over his head. He hand passes to Walker, he cruises through 50 and bounces it home. Tex Walker for his 3rd. He stood up in a couple of big moments late here for the Adelaide Crows. And the decision for Shane McAdam to lay off the hand pass to all the experience of Tex Walker proved a good decision in the end.
How's the confidence just to call for that on his non-preferred and just slot it from 50?
I was just about to say, I don't think there's been a key position player almost ever who's been so good either side of their foot, of their body, kicking the ball. Jason Ackermanis is probably the best one, left or right foot, but I'm talking in terms of key forward, key target, being as good as he is on his left and his right.
Fraught with danger, making big calls like that. We'll have Tex
you name one.
Goal number 589 for Taylor Walker. Surpasses Tony Modra with 588 moves to 38th outright in the all-time AFL leading goal kicking list.
0437 774 774 the SMS. Best key forwards that can kick both feet. We want one that's better than Taylor Walker. 0437 774 774. Free kick for the Demons in the middle. Viney taken high in the tackle from Dawson. Again, Adelaide decide not to stand the mark as they've done all day, even in dangerous territory in their defensive arc, as a long kick forward from Viney, and O'Brien's back to take the intercept mark. He's not allowed to kick it, so he lays it off, and maybe Hinge might lose his rights too. He turns it straight over, and Ed Langdon takes the intercept mark, 45 out, just right of centre.
Yeah, well, unfortunately for Hinge and for Adelaide, he's just completely shanked that. You could see where he was trying to kick it, but
skinned it, didn't he?
Just completely missed his foot almost, and straight in the hands of Ed Langdon.
Yeah, nice when you get those little rewards as the offside winger, just playing your role. The opposition laces you out, especially for a shot on goal. Nothing better.
82nd game as a Demon after the first 68 with Freo. In his milestone game, his 150th, Langdon can't get a goal to celebrate. He misses out to the left.
Suggestions coming through from Malcolm Blight on the SMS. 0437 774 774. Adelaide sensing now time is against them. So Brodie Smith kicks as long as he can in the middle of the MCG. Clears Walker and Dawson. McAdam tries to knock it forward. Rivers this hand pass over the top. Keys is over the top of the footy. Hand pass to Sloan in the middle of the MCG. Can't clear it. And Melbourne lock it up in the outer of the centre circles with Alex Neil-Bullen on the bottom of the pack and Jordan Dawson tackling him. Melbourne by 15 points. Next goal for Adelaide will make it interesting. Jones tries to get a little topo, clears the congestion. Salem couldn't gather. Walker can. Hand pass to Schomburg around the body towards the teeth of goal. McAdam and Fogarty pushed underneath. Rivers' kick just got past Haitley. Crouch tries to gather. Can't come up with it. Haitley over the footy and Neil Bullen over the top of him. He's going to be penalised, holding the ball. Jackson Haitley not showing enough intent to try and knock it out. I think that's a tough call. Neil Bullen will take it.
I'm not sure what you're expected to do there when you've got third man coming in, locking the ball under.
Haven't seen too many of them today at all. They were rife on Friday night, holding the ball roll as the kick heads down the wing. Brayshaw grabs it, tumbles the kick into open space, half forward. Petrarca's out after it, collects, shakes the tackle, tight angle, misses. Oh, that would have been some ending. Petrarca with the behind. Doesn't kick one today. Spent a lot of his time up front. Demons by 16 points, 23 gone, final term.
Adelaide working in to Schomburg, who takes the mark. Hand pass to Brodie Smith up towards Thilthorpe. Tomlinson coming the other direction. Thilthorpe got a hand to it. Tomlinson first onto it. Hand pass to Langdon up the members wing. Looks up to Viney at 50. Takes the mark. Sloan in from the side. Viney had enough of it. Front on contact. And Jack Viney hard out to the right. It's about 15 metres out in from the boundary, 50 out from home.
He's lifted, hasn't he, in this last quarter? Possession number 10 coming up. Just finds a way, wills his team almost, doesn't he? Just lifts.
Yeah, just understands the moment when it requires him, and they were getting beaten around the footy start this last quarter, and he was significant in getting the ball forward and winning some of those clearances.
Gorn has gone to the goal square alongside Joel Smith. Jack Viney can't kick this far, but he's taking his full 30 seconds, so stand by for the chip to the top of the square. Viney sends it in the Gorn direction. Melcham works his way to the front. Smith flying from the side, ends up in the hands of Gorn, and O'Brien lays the tackle. With support from Chase Jones. Only 15 metres out from Melbourne's goal.
16-point lead for the D's. Up it goes. O'Brien wins the hit out down to Schomburg on his knees. Hand pass to Hinge. Fumbles out of play. Throw in forward pocket for the D's. Is he underrated, Jack Viney?
Underrated.
A free kick here, by the way, to Hinge at now 50.
I think he's certainly rated amongst in the AFL as an elite on baller, isn't he, Liz?
Yeah, it's absolute contributor every single week. You know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So Hinge from centre-half back comes wide to Schomburg. Marks in front of the benches, pokes his pass to a dangerous one-on-one. Viney's there to defend. Spoils it out of play. This is his go. Game on the line, final term. There's the blue-collar stuff all night long.
He just gives effort, doesn't he? He's not the one who's going to take 4 or 5 bounces and slot one through from 50 or 60, but he'll give you effort like that. Put a hand in just when you need him to.
Brett Delidio with you on ABC Sport from the throw-in. Gorn down to the front. Keys works his way there. Kicks around his body towards half forward. Langdon racing back to support Rivers. McAdam put the pressure on. Rivers gathers. Can't get past McAdam. Forces him out of play for a throw-in. Left half forward for the Crows. Melbourne by 16 points. 14-11-95 to Adelaide 11-13-79. Just under 5 minutes to go. Adelaide with 5 goals to 3 in this final term. They only managed to behind the week before against the Giants, who overran them. Gorn takes it out of the ruck. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Charging out Smith, can't gather. Haitley onto it for the Crows. Hand pass to Pedler. Off balance, squeezes the kick forward. Finds O'Brien. He's got a free play at Keys at the top of the 50. He marks still 2 kicks out from goal. Hand pass to Brodie Smith. He can get there on the run. From 50, bang! Through it goes. Adelaide are still alive. Back to a 10-point ball game. The Crows 12-13-85 to Melbourne 14-11-95. 26 minutes gone, final term.
Great composure there by Adelaide. I thought when Riley O'Brien had the football, he was just going to get the ball and just go long and as far as he could, but just had the awareness to see Keys by himself, lower the eyes, hit it, and then Keys to see Brodie Smith just streaming past him. He's the type of bloke that you want from 50 to 70, getting the ball in his hands, because he very rarely makes a mistake. Great finish.
You don't give a half-back a sniff around goals, mate. They cash in more often than not, don't they? Great finish.
Certainly do.
Haven't got a key back in this final term. They subbed Butts out. And then the injury, which is looks like a knee complaint for Nick Murray. And Adelaide, luckily, have played the majority of the quarter in their front half. They've kicked 6 straight. 10 points, Melbourne's lead. Back in the middle of the restart. Pedler got a hand pass out. The ump says it wasn't one. A throw. Free kick, Melbourne. And Brayshaw goes wide to Petrarca. 27.5 gone final term. There's still 4 minutes on the game clock. Petrarca hits up Max Gawn. Leading lane, right half forward. Max comes out to meet it. And it just sticks right in his big mitts. He'll kick from inside the 50.
It was a nice kick, but equally as good with the hands. That was coming in hot, that ball from Petrarca. It was the right call too, that tackle on Pedler. He had the arm pin, couldn't quite get it. I just wanted to get the ball out. Great lunging tackle from Brayshaw.
The premiership captain spins the ball in his hands. Just better than a 45-degree angle to try and shut the door on the game. His drop punt sails goalward. He misses. Near side, narrowly. The math still works for Adelaide. They're 11 down, 28.5 gone final term, but still over 3 minutes on the game clock.
All of a sudden it's Melbourne who's got the yips at 3-5. Long clearing kick from Hinge into the middle of the ground. Dawson can't take the mark. Murphy got the smother off the Rivers kick and they're away. Rankin gathers, takes them on, takes a bounce, looks at Tomlinson, chips it over the top and Fogarty marks. He's got Tex in the goal square. He can't get it to him as May holds him up and
Rankin's done a bad hammy or bad cramp.
He's done a hamstring. Yeah, you're right, cramp. He's grabbing his left hamstring and that does not look like cramp.
I wouldn't say that's cramp.
He was lighting up the MCG and they're going to pause while he makes his way off the ground. Ian Cohen?
Not ideal. Isaac Rankin now in the hands of 2 trainers and getting shoulder lifted off the ground with his arms around both of the trainers. He's getting a round of applause from the members' stand, but Isaac Rankin, after such a good effort today, not good now.
Darcy Fogarty with a goal already. Adelaide have kicked 6 straight in the final term. Out to the left from 45. Fires on goal and misses. To the left-hand side. A 10-point lead Melbourne's way. At the 29-minute mark, approaching half an hour of the final term. There's 2.5 minutes to go. The Demons by 10 points.
They've gone 4-10 from the set shots, Adelaide. Melbourne are 12 goals, 5. That's the difference in the game in which Melbourne lead by 10. 30 minutes travelled final term. Rivers to Lever and then out wide to McVie. Marks right half back.
Just can't zone at the moment, Adelaide. Just need to get a man. I know it probably goes against their system, but in moments like this, they're just going to hit up the free at every opportunity, Melbourne. So don't worry about zoning. Just get a man.
2 minutes to go. Short kick to Langdon. Langdon along the boundary line. Long contest kick. Floated in for the side. Dawson. Just when they need the captain to do that, and Keziah Pickett in no man's land wandering through the mark. What is he doing there? And the umpire says, come with me, Cozzy. And Jordan Dawson is now at high half forward, 65 out. Goes to Tex, one out the cage. Walker's got it. Had one man to beat, steps around him, hangs on to it, top of the goal square.
Well done. Jordan Dawson getting it in there. I thought he might have had the handball. Brodie Smith sneaking around for another one. Murphy calling for that one, but nice kick to the favourite side. But the strength of this bloke, give him another contract, that's for sure.
We are set for a grandstand finish. Walker to make it 3 in the last. It's a 1-score game. Walker kicks it. And Adelaide have put on 7 in this final term. Walker's got 4 for the afternoon. Then Melbourne lead it by just 4 points with 90 seconds left on the game clock. Adelaide 13-14-92. Melbourne 14-12-96. The Crows just will not roll over.
No, they won't. They've got their last 5 or 6 minutes. It's spot on, Adelaide. They're creating space for one another. They're grabbing men on the defensive end. Just not allowing Melbourne to use the free. Been really intelligent football, and then that ball use and decisions have been terrific inside 50.
Melbourne by 4 points. Big centre bounce coming up. 33,122 in at the MCG. Taylor Walker's kicked 3 of Adelaide's 7 final quarter goals. O'Brien and Gawn. O'Brien wins it down to Schomburg. Hand pass looking for Dawson. Matt Crouch. Hand pass to Miller. Burst of pace. Edge of the centre square. Long kick to Fogarty. Can't take the mark. Off hands it goes through for a minor score. Tomlinson got a fist in there. Melbourne lead by 3 points. And the Demons get back the footy.
Which is a great fist by Tomlinson, not just to get the spoil, but to get it through over the goal line. Allows them to have the ball back in their hands. Melbourne playing in front this week, having run down Brisbane last. Rivers on the kick out, long to half-back. Nankervis flies, no mark. Falls to Hunter. Hand pass to Petrarca. Kicks down the wing for Melbourne. Brayshaw trying to get to the drop card. Pickett breaks it up. Wins the footy for Melbourne. Death kick over to Van Rooyen, who takes the mark between wing and half-forward and says pump the brakes against the boundary line City side. And now he retreats with a drop punt back to Petrarca on the wing. Southern side of the MCG. Melbourne by 3 points. He loads up and kicks to a pack at half forward. Gawn's down their hands to it, no mark. And off the pack, it trickles out of bounds, half forward for the Demons. Melbourne lead it by 3. 34th minute of the final term. Demons by 3 points.
Adelaide haven't won at the MCG since 2017. Last roll of the dice. Thrown in. O'Brien over the back to Sloan. Kicks into the middle of the crowd. Hack has it. Kick. Lever takes the mark. It's touched off the boot. Hand pass over his shoulder. Petrarca. Quick kick inside 50. A bouncing ball towards Van Rooyen. Knocks it towards Pickett. Off the deck. He misses. To the left-hand side. Melbourne by 4 points. Adelaide get the ball back.
In it comes from Dawson, straight onto the chest at Nankervis. The debutant at centre half back. They run out of time, the Crows. Melbourne ensure there's still space between the top 4 and the rest. And for Adelaide, it's a what might have been afternoon at the G. The Demons by 4 points.
It's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue, and we sing this song to you. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
They'll be kicking themselves because they kicked themselves out of it. 5 goals, 10 from the set shots, Adelaide, in a game in which they fall 4 points short. Melbourne converted their chances, 12-5 from set shots, and in the end the Demons 14-13-97 beat Adelaide 13-15-93. The Crows led for much of the day. Adelaide wiped off the deficit halfway through that final quarter. They got within 4 in the last couple of minutes but couldn't get the go-ahead score. It's the Demons who get out of here by 4 points.
Flag, it's a high-flying flag. It's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue, and we sing this song to you. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
It was a hell of a final term from Adelaide. They wouldn't roll over. They fell 32 down in the third quarter. They kicked the first 4 goals at the last, got scores level, and then Melbourne hit back, got it out to as many as 20 points time on in the last. The Crows with the last 3 to make it a 7-goal final quarter, and yet ultimately fell 4 points short. For Melbourne, they're 2 games clear in 4th spot. They get to 12-6. They've won 3 in a row. While for Adelaide, it's not a moral victory league, unfortunately. They're 8-10 on the season. They've now lost 4 of their last 5. The goal kickers, 3 for Chandler, 2 each for Gawn, Melcham and Pickett, 1 for Van Rooyen, for Viney, for Smith, for Neil Bullen and Woden. While for Adelaide, Taylor Walker kicked 4, 3 of them coming in the last quarter, 3 for Isaac Rankin, who appears to have done his hamstring in the waning moments, 2 for Keys, and then 1 for Murphy, McAdam, Fogarty and Brodie Smith. Another close run thing at the G for Adelaide. The Clinchy, as you touched on in the call, that losing sequence here at the home of footy extends to an 8th game for Adelaide back to the 2017 season. Full time, Melbourne by 4.
And around 7 minutes, we'll take you to Docklands for the second half. North Melbourne leading by 2 goals against the Saints. But first, the thoughts of Mark Murphy and Brett Delidio on ABC Sport.
Yeah, firstly, very impressed with both teams, to be honest. I thought Melbourne, were terrific, but to Adelaide's credit, they just kept on fighting, didn't they? And it was probably in that last quarter to start the quarter, they just went bang straight through the corridor on 3 or 4 occasions. And I think it was Matty Nix at 3-quarter time who grabbed the Adelaide team in before going off to their little huddles, and you could just tell him that he was telling his players with a direction with his arms just to go through the corridor and rather lose by 10 goals rather than losing by a couple. But to their credit, they just kept on finding a way. But Melbourne just had the response, didn't they? Time and time again. And there was some terrific individual efforts all day. I loved watching Cozzy Pickett today and Isaac Rankin, a couple of small forwards, certainly at their brilliant best today. But these are the tight margins in AFL at the moment. Adelaide have 2 opportunities, one against Collingwood here a few weeks ago where they just go down and almost could have had an opportunity to kick a goal with Dawson that last 30 or 40 seconds, and today they had their opportunity again, but they come here and unfortunately can't get the result again at the MCG, the home of football, where they so sorely need an opportunity to put these big teams on the MCG to the sword, and they've just been so close, and it's probably been the tail of their year, unfortunately.
So you'd probably say they're on the right track then, wouldn't you, given how competitive they are and where they're at? They just haven't got that cream to get over the top of these better sides.
Yeah, I think the balance around stoppages is something they need to look at. They tend to ball watch a little bit, and I think Melbourne got them at various times today. And it's one thing about their game where they're terrific at is their contested ball and their pressure, Adelaide.
Yep.
But sometimes they can just get caught ball watching a little bit.
70 tackles today, really good.
And midfielders can get forward of the football or get width, and then they can hurt you. And sides like Melbourne, who have got experienced players throughout, they're
bigger bodies, weren't they, really, when you look at it? You look at Viney, Petrarca, Brayshaw, they've had 13, 14, 16 contested balls.
Yep.
Versus, your Dawson, Schoenberg. It was pretty good today, Schoenberg, 23, 10 of them contested. And Crouch. I thought Crouch was okay. I only had the 22, not his normal numbers, but still 10 score involvement, so he was pretty impressive.
I thought he was very good today, Matty Crouch. It'll be interesting to see if he holds his spot for next week, but I thought he was probably one of their better players today.
Funny old last quarter. Adelaide kicked the first 4 goals of the term. They draw level. Melbourne answer back, kick the next 3, get out by 20 points. Then Adelaide come charging home with the last 3 of the match, and Wayne Miller are bursting out of the middle. Went for Fogarty one-on-one with Tomlinson. Tomlinson gets a fist on it. It's through from behind.
Yep.
Could have almost gone for goal. He was in that sort of range. And yet both sides would feel like they probably had opportunities where Melbourne could have made it far more comfortable for their supporters, and Adelaide could have almost pinched it.
Yeah, you're right. We saw in the second quarter when it looked like Melbourne were just going to run away with the game. They kicked 4 or 5 goals, I think, in a row in that period. But Adelaide, to their credit, fought back and kicked the last couple and gave themselves a little bit of hope. And then at the start of the last quarter, we probably looked at a similar type thing where we thought Melbourne were again just going to run away with the game, but Adelaide had a bit more run and dash and played with more dare, and I think Adelaide supporters would probably be asking, why don't we see a little bit more of that at times? But yeah, I was very impressed by the way in which they just kept fighting out the game, and both sides really had a crack all day, and it was a really good spectacle in the end.
So the prize is big for Melbourne. 2 games clear of the Western Bulldogs in 5th position, with 5 rounds to go in the home and away season. Are the votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year, Brett Delidio?
Yeah, I've gone with Murph's votes here today. No, we collaborated. But one vote I've gone for Jack Viney. I thought his last quarter was huge. 27 disposals overall. Didn't kick at his best today. 18 kicks at only 39%. But that effort and just getting a hand in wasn't always a big tackling day.
He stood up late in the game, didn't he, when Melbourne looked like they were almost getting run over the top of. He just found a way.
That's it. 2, I went to Isaac Rankin. I thought he was special for Adelaide today. Hopefully that's not a bad hammy. We would hate to see that rule him out for the rest of the year, but it didn't look great. And then 3, the live wire up forward. Love watching this kid play. Cozzy Pickett, 20 touches, 11 score involvements, 2 goals, 3. Could have had a big day, but 4 tackles, but it was his implied pressure and pressure that he put on the opposition that really ignited, I felt, the forward half of the D's.
3 to Cozzy, 2 to Rankin, 1 to Viney. Here go the D's.
Keep your eye on the
Melbourne winners by 4 points over the Adelaide Crows, 14-13-97 to Adelaide 13-15-93. The Demons have the Tigers at the MCG next Sunday, while for Adelaide that makes it a little bit harder. They now need to win probably 4 of their next 5 if they're to feature in finals, with the showdown against Port Adelaide coming up next Saturday night. So I can't wait for that. The Giants winners by 40 points earlier over the Gold Coast, and the third quarter just getting underway. North Melbourne lead by 13 points over the Saints.
Getting it done.
Thanks, everyone. We're going to go join them at Docklands. To Ben Cameron, to Andrew Mays, Luke Ball, Nathan Burke and Jess Webster. We'll record an interview from the Melbourne rooms. But with that match very much alive at Docklands, let's take you there, Taryn Thomas, with another one for the Kangaroos to extend their lead. They're 7-2-44 to the Saints 3-7-25. From the MCG in Melbourne, we bid you farewell. The Demons winners by 4 points. Off to Docklands we go.
Go back and compete with my opponent, and the kick was just too good. As high as he jumped, couldn't get a finger to it, and Taryn Thomas, lovely kick around the corner.
That's the voice of Nathan Burke. Luke Ball with us. Welcome to those of you that are joining us from the match between Melbourne and Adelaide. You might not believe this, but North are leading by 19 points. That's right, 7-2-44 plays 3-7-25. They've kicked the last 5 goals of the game after trailing by 9 points at quarter time. Taryn Thomas with the last goal. Out of the middle goes Wood for St Kilda. Kicks towards full forward, leading out Caminiti. Can't take the mark. Picks it up at ground level. Shovels out a handball. Follows up again. Clark goes in for St Kilda. Picks it up. Gets it on the boot. Snaps towards goal. Bouncing ball. There to mop up Tucker. He's tackled. He's driven out. He's backpedaling. Holding the ball. Free kick going to St Kilda, and it'll be Higgins.
How many steps did he take before he was over the boundary line? It was 4 or 5, I think. I'm not sure it was prior opportunity.
Higgins wants to play on quickly and give the Saints a much-needed goal. They cut it back to 13 points, just their 4th major of the afternoon. Their first since the 20-minute mark of the opening term. North 7-2-44, leading St Kilda 4-7-31. 5 minutes played, third term grandstand AFL.
You could see what he wanted to do, Darcy Tucker. He was probably just a bit casual, and he technically stuck the arm out into Jack Higgins' chest, which gives the umpire the cue that that's an attempted fend off, and the boundary line just wasn't close enough, was it? There was probably 1 or 2 extra steps, and probably fair enough in the end. Big call, because it was a crucial goal, really, for the Saints. First one since quarter time.
Ball back in the middle. Good bounce by the umpire. Over the top, Davies Uniacke. Won it nicely. Down to Phillips. Kick inside, attacking 50. Jumping there was Sherry. He was shoved underneath it. Nice defence here by the Saints. Hand pass comes the way of Sinclair off the outside of the boot. And Davies Uniacke was strong in the back of Bytel. Probably lucky not to give away 50. Bytel took a good mark in front. Next kick has been the challenge for St Kilda this afternoon. It's a high kick. McDonald won it down. How's the roving front and centre from Butler? Launches, goes inside 50. No mark taken. Filippo spins out of one. Went off the outside of the left boot. It's going to land in the forward pocket. It pitches. And it's out of bounds next to the right behind post.
Interesting that we've seen Rowan Marshall push forward twice now. First time was a bad kick and Goldstein intercepted it. That one in general play, again, he was the target inside 50. So whether he's got that instruction to get himself forward and make a contest.
A critical game for the Saints if they want to play finals. From the throw-in, we'll get another ball up.
It's electric front and centre, wasn't it, from Dan Butler? We haven't seen much of that tonight.
Goldstein trying to take it out of the ruck. Can't do so cleanly. Caminiti picks it up, throws it on the boot. Misses to the right-hand side. A minor score. The Saints pressing. 12 points, North Melbourne's advantage.
Quick kick out is okay as well. Finds Howe. It was a late inclusion this afternoon. He goes short to Scott. Still at right half back here, the Roos. They kick 4 goals to nothing in the second term to grab the lead from St Kilda. Long kick up the line, no mark taken. Sherry fought hard. Can he get his arms free? Not quite. Should have been Owen ball. Umpire says play on. St Kilda away now through Clark. Kick inside 50. It's a 2-on-1. Mackay floating at the back. He's always going to take that mark, did nicely. Centering ball is okay to Sheasel. Loops a hand pass over the top to Phillips, who wants to go out wide. Bit of work here for Goldstein to do. Oh, he did everything but take the mark. He followed up at ground level, though. Almost got it to Harvey, who turned tackler in the end. Did nicely to lock the ball in. We'll have a stoppage in between wing and half forward here for North Melbourne.
Yeah, well done by Harvey, because the Saints had the numbers. If he didn't lay that tackle, they were back into their forward line.
Winning the tap, Marshall. Down to Bytel. Kick smothered. Ricochets to the Roos. Through Tucker to Shields. Davies Uniacke kick nearly a turnover. Dropping the mark, Billings. Gets support from Gresham. Kicks inside 50. No one there. Except for Mackay, who marks for the Roos. He kicks into the middle of the ground. Mark taken by Young. Young will move it out to Howe. Forward of the wing. Chips it to half forward. Sherry marks. Kangaroos looking inside 50. Sherry will set it up. Looking for a big pack mark. Launching Goldstein. Marshall in front. Takes the defensive mark. The big St Kilda ruck.
Called to play on. Moment of nerves there for St Kilda fans, but he finds Windhager. He goes further wide to the right back pocket where Owens has it. Can dart back inside if he wants. He's going to go a little more conservative towards the wing. Clark in a one-on-one, almost outmarked by Young of North Melbourne. Hand pass by Phillips back inside wasn't great. Shields made it good. Back to Young. Fires from 55 to the top of the square. Larkey got a hand on it. At ground level, Curtis tries to keep it in. And he's out of bounds next to the right behind post. Not a bad result there for North Melbourne. They'll get another crack deep inside attacking 50. They lead this one by 2 straight kicks.
Hasn't minded the game of Lockie Young and Goda back there. It's been really impressive to see them.
Forward 50 stoppage here for the Roos. Goldstein slapping it down. Steele will get it off hands and clear for the Saints. Out towards half back, and Core comes up, juggles it. Paid the mark for the Roos.
Who's the
Mark
kicker
set,
coming
52 out. McDonald receives the handball.
Not
Kicks
in.
a shocker. Goes 30 metres sideways. No one able to mark it, so a live ball inside 50 for the Roos. Clark diving on top of it. Might have dragged it in. Umpire holding the ball. Hunter Clark pinged. And the free kick will go to Liam Shields. The try kick. North Melbourne back out by 3 goals.
The Saints would have wanted to come out in this third quarter, like regroup at half-time, come out third quarter, play the way we want to play and get ourselves on the scoreboard, but they haven't. The Kangaroos haven't let them.
Triple premiership player at the Hawthorn Footy Club. Spinning the ball in his hands. Past the 50, all of the experience, and it's out to the right. I'll let off. 7-3-45 move north. St Kilda 4-8-32. 13 points the advantage.
They're good too, Shields. 14 possessions, 7 tackles. You know, that's his bread and butter.
Sinclair short to Howard, right back pocket for the Saints. He goes short again to Battle, still inside defensive 50. North Melbourne set up well here. It's going to be 50. And Battle just kicked it, probably not realising he had the 50, and Harvey can't believe that he's been pinged. So this is going to move play all the way up to the wing. Bit of a let-off there for St Kilda. Pass inside from Battle, goes to Sinclair, inside the centre square, to half forward, nice pass. Now the money kick for Bytel. Can he find someone? That's a better pass inside 50. Wood got separation on his opponent and takes it on his chest. He'll line up from 50 out, slide angle to the left.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he was actually aiming for Wood then. I reckon he might have been going for Mitch Owens coming out of the square and Woods jumped in front of him. But either way, crucial kick for goal, this one.
So Mason Wood to kick from right on 50 to bring the margin back. It's a low kick. It was almost a slice off the boot. It was always out to the left for one behind. Haven't had their kicking boots on the Saints. 4-9-33, plays 7-3-45.
Sheasel, dangerous kick in, but it finds Core, gets it back, moves it to McDonald, kicks to the wing. Thomas in between 3 or 4 Saints, and the Saints win it in the middle. Wilkie away to Jones, who will kick laterally, and Spot up. Out there, a teammate in Sharman. Here comes infield back to Wilkie. Now Wanganeen Malera. Forward handball to Jones, nearly run down. Pressured on the kick, it spills out towards Sheasel. And they come away with it, North Melbourne. The handball there from Phillips, dodgy. Saints with it again. Here's Windhager. Long kick inside 50 towards the pocket. Sherry spoils it away. Out of play. And a throw in at right half forward now for St Kilda. North still by 12 points, 13 minutes played in the third.
Ball to be thrown in. Right forward pocket here. Chance again for St Kilda. Margin 2 straight kicks. Thrown in. Sherry reached over the top. Now chance for Billings, who runs onto it at the back of the pack to the top of the square. Snapping ball. Caminiti almost onto it. Mackay had a fumble at the most inconvenient moment. Out to Jones. Snap across the face. Another behind for St Kilda, and their fans are starting to get frustrated. 4-10-34. Play 7-3-45. Margin 11 points in favour of North.
Ross Lyon getting a little frustrated as well. Trevor, go and watch in the box with Ross Borley.
Did I go and watch, or did I sit in the box?
Sit in the box.
Neither. No.
From the kick in, core out towards the wing. Battle able to get it off the deck. Shovel a handball forward for St Kilda, but onto it. Shields for the Roos. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Good kick. Mark taken by Taylor for North.
We've got to go quick.
Gives it off to Sheasel, running the edge of the square. Kicks inside 50. Looking for Larkey right there with him. Dougal Howard. Out the back it goes. Webster. Run down by Harvey. Umpire lets him get rid of it. And St Kilda will be able to repel with a kick to the wing from Jones.
North fans absolutely spewing over that one. Big spoil coming from McDonald over the top of Butler. He forces the boundary throw in between wing and half forward for the Roos.
Play on, probably the right call. Yeah, it was a nice chase down tackle from young Harvey, but no prior opportunity.
Did extremely well to get his boot to ball too, Webster, while lying on the ground. Meanwhile, the clearance for Howe slams the ball forward. It was an awkward one. Windhager onto it for the Saints. He shoved over the boundary line. Ball with him. And they'll have another ball in. A little net gain there for the Roos of about 30 metres. Still 70 out from their goal.
Back to your question, Benny. I don't think there's any, maybe with the exception of Lenny Hayes, no players going anywhere near Ross Lyon's coach's box.
Thrown back into play. Sharman waited for it, still went and got it, was tapped out of his hands by Thomas. It's an awkward looking hand pass to Phillips, who had a fumble himself. Now Thomas goes back to help, works the 1-2. Phillips tries to spin out of a tackle and might have just dropped his knees and got one high there, so a lucky free kick. Crouch is fuming as he gets to his feet on the mark, and Phillips has it a couple of kicks from goal.
Phillips will wheel around. Look inside 50, long kick, Goldstein and Larkey there, massive pack, spills out the side, Scott Rose dribbles and misses.
Just rushed it, didn't he? He could have taken an extra step.
Guilted chance there for North.
Oh, it's the method though, isn't it? The Saints getting numbers back. They've got great aerial contests, the Kangaroos. Goldstein was there that time as well. If you're a Kangaroo small forward, get to the spot. You know, it's very predictable. We know where it's going to drop.
North by 12.
Luke Ball and Nathan Burke, your experts here on Grandstand AFL this afternoon. Big kick from defence, spoiled by Call, looking for the boundary line, and he finds it as well. So they're starting to get a couple of repeat inside 50s here, the Roos. Set up quite well behind the ball. Andrew Mays and Ben Cameron calling the action for you this afternoon. Just Webster on the boundary. Thrown back into play. Sherry works his way to the front. Bursting through was Howe, got boot to ball, but straight into an opponent. Sharman kicked it away from the danger zone. Now onto it, Owens. Gathered it beautifully. Turned inside. Hand pass was good too. To Caminiti, who didn't quite know where to go. Now Owens, was he grabbed without the ball? Afterwards he was. It probably...
umpire.
So the Saints kept going there.
It's going to be a 50 or...
Now Owens was called back. Surely that's the sort of tackling after you give the hand pass away. The Gary Ablett rule, as we call it, should be 50. That one only makes an appearance randomly every 3 weeks. So Owens with the free kick, but unfortunately for Saints fans, pretty much every player on the ground in front of him. So it's a packed forward line. He goes short to Windhager, who stabs a short pass, still straight up the middle. And he finds Steele, who's 60 from goal. Looking for space inside a very crowded attacking 50. Goes to the pocket. Caminiti up high. Punched away from him by Core, who was about third in line and out next to the right hand behind post.
And the difference there is that ball's kicked